Chapter 201. Clank. I slid the doors that led to the balcony. How annoying. After the match with Harris, I left immediately. With everyone distracted by Kevin's match, I took the opportunity to slip out and go back to my dorm. Like that, I avoided most reporters. Furthermore, apart from electives, there were no other lectures today. Therefore, I was naturally free. Regarding Kevin's match, he naturally won. I was not sure about how many times he got challenged, but it was probably more than 5. What should I do now? A lot of my plans had changed because of what had happened in the most recent days. My plans of laying low were pretty much scrapped. Were they? Now that I thought about it, although I could no longer remain as hidden as before, nothing prevented me from building my forces secretly. I guess you could say that I was now operating in both the light and the dark. In a way this was good. A lot of my plans would speed up as a result of this. I did not need to be as cautious as before and could be more brazen about it. Should I create an alias? By creating an alias I could still operate more secretly. On one hand, I would be this talented individual that studies in the lock. On the other hand, I would use my other alias to operate my mercenary group and company. That would be ideal. But who knows? I needed more time to think about this. After what had happened a couple of days ago, I found my confidence shatter into pieces. Anytime I came up with a plan, I felt paranoid. What if this happened? What if that happened? What if a meteorite suddenly fell from the sky and destroyed my company? With my recent successes piling up, I had become arrogant and complacent. I needed to stop thinking that I had everything in my control. Nothing was ever in my control. Just like Everblood, there were things that I could not account for. I needed to knock this into my skull. I was so sure that everything was going according to my plans before. And guess what? Everblood showed up. Someone who I did not properly account for. There is that fucker too. There was also Matthew. I would never have expected him to go public with the incident. If I could have, I would have immediately told Irene the truth. The truth about the fact that he was a villain. Sadly, I could not. With Matthew knowing that I had a way to cure the Mindbreaker curse, I knew that I could not touch him at the moment. If such news were to be revealed to the world, not only would I become the #1 target of the demons, I would also be targeted by other people who were desperate for the cure. Fortunately, since I could reveal that he was contracted to a demon, he also could not reveal what he knew. We were currently at a stalemate. Damn it, I need to be stronger. I clenched my teeth hard and glared at the scenery outside of the balcony. I had to get stronger quicker. I cannot let this go on. Taking out the diary that contained all of the information about the novel, I quickly flipped through its pages. Flip. Where is it? Since I knew I had to get stronger, I naturally had to see what I could do to make myself stronger. The book in my hand had the answer. This should be the page. Stopping at a certain page, I frowned. Flip. Licking the tip of my finger, I flipped to the next page. My eyes constantly moved from the left to the right. I needed to look for anything in the novel that could be useful for me in the future. An ideal item would be one that would help me pass lie detectors. Those were a problem. If not for Irene being able to detect lies, none of this would have happened. Fortunately, there was an item that could help me with regards to that. Plap. A couple of minutes after, I closed the book and exhaled. I knew what I had to do now. After taking a proper look at the book, I had a general idea of my next course of action. Even though it would cause some trouble to some people in the future, I no longer cared as much. Right now all I wanted to do was get stronger. Ding. At that moment, my phone suddenly rang. They agreed to listen to you. It was Amanda. Her message was vague yet I instantly understood what she meant. Demon Hunter. They agreed. Yes. When? I needed to know the time. Since this was a formal meeting, I needed to prepare in full. Just one mistake and the deal could fall through. Next week, a day after the banquet. I understand. I will get everything ready by then. Okay. After that, Amanda no longer messaged me. Since I knew her personality, I was not bothered. Alright, this is good. Securing this deal would take a load off of my back. Not only would I secure a long-term money system, but create a connection with the Demon Hunter Guild as well. Naturally, the reason why I stood out so much today was because of this. The more talented I appeared, the greater the appeal of the project. They were not just investing in the magic card system, but in me too. This was what I wanted. I guess that is sorted for now. Also, there is that too. Looking towards my wrist, I stared at the bracelet in my hand. I still had not checked the extra items I got from Imra. With everything that had happened recently, I did not have enough time to properly check my spoils. Perhaps there was something interesting mixed in there. Before that, guess it is time to annoy Melissa. I took out my phone and quickly typed a message. Yo, Melissa, about the potion. When? My arm still hurt after all. At the same time, inside a white laboratory space. Clank. The heavy sound of machinery moving items to and fro resounded across the white laboratory space. Large metallic arms moved around the asphalt pavement carrying different-sized boxes. Inside of them were spare robotic parts or different-colored potions. Boom. Suddenly a large explosion rang inside of the lab. Inside of a white confined room that could be seen through a rectangular glass, fire spread everywhere as it enveloped the whole room. Not long after, the fire died down, and a red card held by 2 pincers was revealed. A cold and mechanical voice rang. Experiment log, 598. Mana lingering in room, 49%. Standing opposite to the glass, a beautiful girl inwardly muttered. Another failure. After countless trials, Melissa still could not quite synchronize the mana inputted in the card with the right pistons. Despite the fact that the current magic circle installed in the card was a simple fireball, occasionally a couple of other scions that were not flame scions would enter the system, resulting in a large loss of efficiency. Just what am I missing? Compared to when she had just started, there were a lot of improvements. However, this was not enough. In order for the card to be commercially viable, Melissa needed to have only a 30% efficiency loss. Any more than that, and there was no point in using the card. At the moment her efficiency loss was 49%. Still a far cry from her goal. Melissa, you have got a message. Suddenly, a crisp voice called out for her from the other side of the room. A cheerful girl walked in Melissa's direction. Rosie. Who would message me at the moment? With her right hand on her white lab coat, Melissa took the phone. Instantly her brows knit. Yo, Melissa, about the potion. When? This bastard. Melissa's clenched the side of the phone. She was already busy enough with the magic card concept, and now he wanted him to make him an advanced potion. Fuck that. Rosie, order an advanced potion off the market. Turning to her assistant, she quickly ordered. She could not be bothered to make a potion herself, so might as well just order one from the market and pretend that it was from her. An advanced potion. Yes. What about the quality? Make it the lowest. No, scratch that. Make it the highest quality you can find. Melissa was originally tempted to just give Ren the lowest quality potion. However, she suddenly realized that it would be unrealistic. How could she, Melissa Hall, make such a low-quality potion? Impossible. Her pride would not allow her to do that. It is around 40 million you, that okay? 40 million. Yeah. Secretly gritting her teeth, Melissa nodded. Calm down, Melissa. You can secretly strangle him in your sleep. Once she developed the magic card system, money will start coming in. Compared to what she usually spent on experiments each day, 40 million could be considered spare change for the likes of her. Ding. Hello, anybody there? I can tell that you have seen the message. I cannot believe you are ghosting me. What a rude. Before she could finish reading the message, Melissa's veins were already bulging from her forehead. I swear to God. Trying her best to suppress her rage, she typed. I humbly apologize for the inconvenience. This slave will quickly get your potion done in record time just for you. Not like she is busy with real life, which is something someone else does not seem to have. Perhaps you would want a massage right after I deliver the potion. That would actually be quite nice, not gonna lie. Moments after she sent her reply, she got a reply. Staring at the reply, Melissa smiled. The smile was so terrifying that Rosie, who was not so far from her, had to take a couple of steps back. All she saw was death. Ren Dover, Northern District. Inside a medium-sized mansion, a childish voice rang out. Wah, where is Pudding? Calm down, Nola. Pudding will come back soon. She is probably taking a stroll around the compounds. Taking Nola in her arms, Samantha Dover quickly tried to calm Nola down. She was used to such scenes. Occasionally Pudding would sneak out from the house for prolonged periods of time, causing Nola to be upset. Samantha did text Ren about this problem, to which he replied, "It is fine, she will return soon. She does this from time to time." And it was true. Not long after, Pudding would quickly return to the house. Naturally, from there Samantha no longer worried about her disappearance. The only problem was Nola. While we wait for Pudding, why don't you play with Mama for now? NWO. Pudding is better. Oh my. Inside of a secluded space, the figure of a beautiful woman could be seen sitting with her legs crossed. After moving away from Ren's house, Angelica managed to find a rather safe and secluded location where she started her breakthrough. Even though her breakthrough would not cause a large commotion, she naturally wanted to be on the safer side. That's why she chose a secluded space. After this I should be able to break through. Angelica exhaled and looked at her hand. A black fruit that pulsated a red hue appeared. Staring at the fruit, her face was solemn. This was it. With the aid of the fruit, she will finally break through to Viscount rank. A long-cherished dream of hers. From this moment forward she will be known as Viscount von Doya. Gulp. Swallowing a mouthful of saliva, Angelica brought the fruit closer to her face. Here goes nothing. Crunch. Angelica took a bite of the fruit. Chapter 202. Click. What do you think? Inside of a pitch-black room, on a long and round table, sat multiple obscured individuals. Displayed before them was a projection of youth with jet black hair and deep blue eyes standing on what seemed to be an arena ground. Out of all the figures sitting, only one stood up, a relatively old man who had long gray hair and a thin mustache on his face. Judging from how respectful the individuals in the room were towards him, it could be inferred that he was a relatively important figure. As the clip played, the youth's eyes slowly turned dull gray. Not long after, the match ended. It was one-sided. The youth not once moved from his spot. After the clip ended, silence prevailed over the room, as no one spoke. What skill was that? After a while, one of the figures broke the silence and spoke. His eyes remained fixed on the youth displayed on the screen. I am not sure as well. The old man shook his head. He too was not too sure about what had happened. Despite being one of the strongest people in the human domain, he was not omnipotent. He did not know everything. Could it be a fear-inducing skill? A figure interjected. I doubt it. I have seen similar skills, but none of them even comes close to this one. Then what do you think? I am also not sure. Another figure spoke. Then could it just be the youth's power? That is right, from what I have read he was ranked E+, it could very well be just his aura. Instantly the room was filled with discussions as more and more people joined in. Suddenly, as everyone was speaking, one of the figures sitting in the room spoke up as he looked at the old man. Sir, I do not understand. Why did we have to go public with his information? If we wanted to protect him, would it not have been better if we did not disclose his information? Instantly the room turned silent. Everyone stared at the old man. They too were curious. Feeling the stares directed in his direction, the old man shook his head. Highs. Unfortunately, because of the pressure coming from the guilds, we had to reveal the information. The old man truly felt that it was a pity. With the world still following a capitalist principle, talented youth were treated as prize pieces for the top guilds to own for the sake of their honor. If there was ever a chance that a talented youth was found, they were to immediately report it to them. This was so that they could nurture them into future powerhouses for the sake of humanity. The old man knew that this was bullshit. Despite the fact that humans were facing the threat of extinction, instead of being united, humans still segregated themselves into different factions with the idea of wanting more power. I guess there is no end to human greediness. Once again the old man shook his head. He originally wanted to keep the youth's rank and talent sealed, but with the pressure coming from all sides, he had to give in. After all, he was responsible for thousands of people's jobs. Even though he was strong, he was only one man. Tell the lock to take care of him. Oh, and make sure you warn Maximus. I will not tolerate another one of his son's blunders. If push comes to shove, even a mosquito sting can be devastating. This time he was serious. What had happened to Kevin not long ago truly sent him into a fit of rage. If not for the fact that Gilbert had not killed Kevin, he would have personally have taken action. A talent like Kevin could not die. I hope I will not have to take action. Calming down, the man sighed. This was the best he could do for the youth at the moment. He really hoped he would give him a pleasant surprise in the future. The world needed talented youths more than ever, especially since they were currently facing the threat of extinction. Understood. Staring at the old man, everyone shouted in unison. The meeting ended after that. Lock, 7:50 a.m. Class A25. Having set an impression during my sparring session yesterday, no one approached me. Morning. No one besides Kevin, of course. Taking out his tablet, Kevin sat down. Used to Kevin now sitting next to me, I did not mind his presence. Haha, check this out. Scrolling through his tablet, Kevin laughed out loud and handed me his tablet. Curious, I took it and read what was written on it. Shocking display of might coming from Kevin Voss and Ren. Bah, do not show me this crap. Tossing the tablet back to Kevin, I rolled my eyes. I had seen enough articles talking about me. Every time I saw an article about me I ended up cringing hard. Fortunately, I knew that with given time, they would slowly decrease in number. Oh right, has your suit arrived? Putting his tablet down, Kevin suddenly thought of something. My suit. Yeah, the one we bought a couple of days ago. It did. I was honestly surprised by how efficient the tailors were. Within one day the suit was already sent and delivered to my apartment. I have not tried the suit, but from the outside, it looked pretty good. Not sure whether it was comfortable though. Looked pretty tight. So what about it? What about what? What about the suit I mean? Do you like what we choose? I guess it is alright. What do you mean alright? I choose the suit. Of course it is good. As Kevin and I were talking, Emma suddenly interrupted. It was evident that she was eavesdropping on our conversation. Ignoring her blatant attempt at joining the conversation without looking like she was eavesdropping, I responded. Is it really? To me, it just looked like a regular suit. Though it looked good, nothing about it stood out. This guy is hopeless. And what are you doing here? Leaning back, I crossed my arms. What about me? What are you doing here? Go back to your own seat. Does this seat have your name on it? Looking around, Emma pointed at the seat she was in. Frowning, I shook my head. No. Then sit here I shall. Smiling, she sat down. No words escaped from my mouth. She was doing this on purpose, was she not? Ren, it is useless. Once Emma sets her mind on something, there is no convincing her. Sitting next to me, Kevin shook his head. He had been through this multiple times. I knew that. That is why I was speechless. Oh, Amanda, sit here too. Right before I was about to rebuke, spotting Amanda entering the classroom, Emma waved at her. Staring in Emma's direction, Amanda's eyes were hazy. She was not a morning person. Why? Just come. Do not leave me here alone with those two. Then why do you not just leave? I quickly retorted. If she did not want to seat next to me, she could just move. No one was forcing her to stay with me and Kevin. Emma ignored me and kept pestering Amanda. In the end, still lethargic due to having just woken up, Amanda gave in and sat next to her, a row ahead of where I was sitting. Great, just when I thought it could not get any worse. It is okay. Patting me on the shoulder, Kevin consoled me. This is practically your fault. If Kevin had never sat next to me, this would have never have happened. If before a lot of the students were staring in my direction, now practically everyone was staring in my general direction. Kevin was enough, but now Emma and Amanda too. Are you kidding me? All right, Kevin, what time are you going to the banquet next week? Turning around, Emma asked. Around 7 p.m. I see. Why are you asking? Nothing. Turning her head around, Emma avoided the question. Her voice had a hint of disappointment. Noticing this, I rolled my eyes. Just tell him that you want to go with him already. Emma was obviously trying to ask Kevin to go with her. Unfortunately for her, Kevin was dense. Unless she told him right in his face, he would never pick up the hint. What about you, Ren? Unaware of this, Kevin asked me the same question, to which I vaguely responded. Whenever. That was a lie. I was in fact going to go 1 hour earlier than Kevin. There was a reason for that. It was to stop something that will eventually happen at the party. Although the plotline was different from what I remembered, the events at the lock should still somewhat be the same, right? I was not sure. That is why I wanted to go early and check. Alright, Kevin, by the way, did you hear about the... Quickly recovering, Emma turned around and asked. Shush. Class is starting. Cutting Emma mid-sentence, I put my finger on my lips. A second after, the door of the classroom opened up and Donna walked in. Checking the time, 8 a.m., I muttered. Punctual as usual, not even a second late. Late that night. Bang. Emma slammed the door to her room close, then jumped on her bed. Dense bastard. For the past day, Emma had tried dropping as many hints as she could to Kevin. She wanted him to accompany her to the banquet. The reason was simple. Given how popular she was, she would naturally attract the attention of a lot of boys. This has happened to her multiple times in the past. Knowing this, she wanted Kevin to act as her shield. As long as she was with him, no one would dare bother her. Unfortunately, how can he spend so much time with that fucker? Ever since last week, Ren and Kevin had almost been inseparable. They were almost always together. He even changed seats to sit next to him. In fact, Emma understood why Kevin was interested in Ren. She too was slightly interested in him. Ever since watching him fight, Emma's interest in him peaked. Especially after she saw him fight Harris. She did not know what he did that day, but he was scary. In fact, the moment she saw him in the arena, she was reminded of the time back in Hallberg. Back when he was strangling Jin. They had the same vibe, cold and vicious. That is beside the point. Emma shook her head and dismissed such thoughts from her head. There was a more pressing issue. To her, the way Kevin and Ren became so close to each other was just so fast. Within a couple of days, and they were suddenly best friends. Who would buy that? Emma did not. Just what could have happened between them during such a period of time? Could he be? Suddenly she had a thought, her body shuddered as a result. She quickly shook her head. No, 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 get your mind out of the gutter. There is no way Kevin is like that. Maybe Ren, but not Kevin. But what if? Falling deep into her delusion, Emma bounced around on her bed while striking it repeatedly. The next day, Emma attended the lectures with glaring black circles beneath her eyes. Monday 6 p.m. A week had passed and finally, the day of the banquet arrived. As usual, I attended the morning and afternoon lectures. Apart from the unusual stares which I was starting to get used to, nothing in particular happened. Having set an impression during my fight last week, no one approached me, be it the 5 tyrants, the factions, or the professors. This was understandable. They all wanted to observe me first before approaching me. What I had done back in the arena grounds sort of made most people apprehensive. In fact, not a lot was known about me. My background was also unknown. The extent of my abilities was unknown. Apart from the one which no one knew anything about, everything about me was unknown. Therefore, without getting a proper read on me, no one would naturally approach me. So for the past week, it was pretty chill. Not sure about the future. Is it this way? No, this way, right? At the moment I was currently looking at myself in the mirror, wearing a slick deep blue suit that complemented my eyes and perfectly outlined the outlines of my body. I tried to put on my tie. Unfortunately, having only worn a suit on a couple of occasions in the past, I had no clue on how to proceed. I did look at the web, but it was easier said than done. Screw this crap, if only they allowed me to take the Hawaiian shirt. Eventually, out of frustration, I threw my tie on the floor. I regretted not taking the Hawaiian shirt. Would have been much easier. Ding. Suddenly my door rang. Walking towards the door, I opened it and found a package on the ground. Oh, just in time. My eyes lit up. The sender was Melissa. Taking the package into my room and closing the door, I ripped the package open. Ripe. Opening the package and looking through its contents, my hand froze. Blinking a couple of times to make sure I was not seeing wrong, I was left speechless. Are you serious? The potion was there all right. There was just one problem. It was the fact that there was a glaring sticker with the words W.V Pharmaceuticals engraved on it. Ha. Pinching the middle of my brows, I exhaled. You could have at least removed the tag. I shook my head. Melissa probably forgot to specify this to her assistant when she gave her the orders. Click. Taking out my phone, I took a selfie. I made sure to emphasize the sticker by the side of the potion. Thank you for the wonderful potion you made. Typing some words of appreciation, I sent Melissa the photo. Serves you right. For all those horrible days, it was about time I made you suffer. Ding. Suddenly my phone rang. Leo was the sender. Ren, where are you? I had promised him and Pram that I would go with them. Thinking about them, a smile appeared on my face. Despite what had happened these past few days, they treated me the same. Unlike the others, they were not scared of me. From there I knew that they were truly good friends. Coming. Trying my best to fix my tie, I typed back. We are waiting for you on the bottom floor. All right, give me a minute, I will be right there. Plaque. Checking myself once again in the mirror, I turned off the light and headed downstairs. It was time for the banquet to begin. Chapter 203. Looking good, Ren. Sharp. With my tie still crooked, I headed towards the lobby of the Manticore building. With me, Leo, and Pram heading 1 hour earlier than the others, the lobby of the building was relatively deserted. It was evident that everyone was still busy dressing up for tonight. Cannot say the same about you guys though. Pulling the side of my collar, I took a look at Leo and Pram and shook my head. Leo's suit was too big for him, and Pram's suit was a bit too tight for him. They looked ridiculous. Are you sure you guys did not swap suits? If they swapped suits they would probably look normal. Leo and Pram's smiles instantly froze. Their faces turned red. Says the guy that does not even know how to put on his tie. Is this what you say after we compliment you? Hooking my arms around them I laughed. Haha, I am kidding, let us go get a taxi. The ride is going to take some time. The banquet was not held at the academy. In fact, it was located in a separate private establishment quite far from the academy. Le Manoir Vert. The owners of the establishment were of French descent, and naturally, it had a French ambient because of it. The establishment was fairly popular, as most wealthy individuals in Ashton City knew of its name. Thank you. Clank. Exiting the taxi, with Leo and Pram in tow, we headed towards the mansion. Observing the mansion from afar, I muttered, "We are finally here." After 30 minutes, we had finally arrived at our destination. Sitting at the center of a small hill, the mansion looked spectacular. Built using white-colored brick, the house's visual perfectly complemented the greenery that surrounded it. The tall, rectangular windows by the side of the house added an overall posh and sophisticated look to the mansion. At the roof of the mansion was a tall, dark blue sloping roof that was nicely hipped. Damn, this is fancier than I expected. Recovering from his stupor, Leo exclaimed. I agree. Yep, I agree. How about we go in? I suggested, to which Leo and Pram replied with a nod. Once again fixing my collar, I walked towards the entrance of the mansion. Out of spite, due to what I had said before, Leo and Pram did not help me fix my tie. Petty bastards. Ticket please. In front of the mansion, we were stopped by a tall bodyguard in black. He had a thick French accent. Here you go. Here. Taking out our phones, we showed the guards our tickets. Scanning our tickets, the guard nodded his head and let us in. With a smile, he welcomed us. Welcome to Le Manoir Vert. We hope you have a nice stay. Thank you. Thanks. Thanking the guard, we entered the mansion and walked through a long and expansive corridor. As we walked through the corridor, a nice lavender scent invaded my nostrils. Right after, we heard the sound of chatter in the distance. I guess we were not the only ones that decided to come early. Turning right of the corridor, we arrived before a large hall that was lit by an enormous golden chandelier that hung from the ceiling. Oh wow, I like the ambience of this place. Leo and Pram looked at the hall in surprise. It was evident that they had not frequented such places before. I too was the same. Recovering from our slight stupor, we walked in together. The inside of the hall was just as gorgeous as the outside. A calming classical piece flowed beautifully, while each and every decoration was delicate and elegant. It is Mozart. I instantly recognized the piece that was being played. Turkish March by Mozart. With me being a fanatic of classical music, I naturally knew what they were playing. Do you know who that is, Leo? No clue. Never heard of such guy before. No words came out of my mouth. I was having second thoughts. Perhaps I should not have befriended them. Oh look, is that not Professor Romhaus? Professor Thabat is here too. Pointing towards the end of the hall, Leo exclaimed. Standing on the other hand of the hall, Professor Romhaus conversed with Professor Thabat. Both had a glass of Prosecco in their hand. It is them. I squinted my eyes. I naturally recognized both of them. Professor Romhaus was the guy who kept pestering me at the beginning of the year with regards to the mana poisoning theory. With regards to that, after I had told him the theory, he did not pester me again. He was busy researching. He should be close now. No. With almost a year passing, he should soon be able to prove the theory that I put forward. That would cause quite the annoyance. I made a mental note to myself. I have got to tell him not to include my name in the final thesis. Taking my eyes off of Professor Romhaus, my eyes soon paused on Professor Thabat. My eyes became cold. He was one of the people I had to look out for today. That was because he had a major role in today's incident. What should we do now? We are still a bit early. Looking at me, Leo asked. Snapping out of it, I held up my watch and looked at the time, 6:15 p.m. I then turned around. I have got to go to the bathroom. I will be back in a minute. All right. Take your time. We will go try some appetizers whilst we are at it. Go ahead, I will be back in 10. Distancing myself from Leo and Pram, I took the stairs and led to the second floor bathroom. In any case, today my job was simple. Check if everything was progressing as it was in the story. I wanted to see the extent that my actions had on the plot. Regardless, even if the story was progressing as it should, I was intent on interfering a little bit. The reason was simple. For the first time in the novel, villains would make an appearance. Their plan was to kill a few of the transfer students. With the Lock being responsible for hosting the party, they would naturally take part of the blame for the incident. That was what the villains wanted. They wanted to create conflicts between the 4 great academies and the Lock. In the story, the villains almost succeeded. Unfortunately, someone known as Kevin existed. With his plot armor and protagonist halo, he quickly foiled their plans and resolved the situation. That was what was supposed to happen. My interference should make his life a little bit easier. Will the incident be the same as in the novel? I was not sure. In any case, if something did go wrong, I still had the book with me. Which one is it? Entering the bathroom, 5 wooden cubicles appeared before me. After musing for a bit, I went for the 5th. Since my favorite number was 5, it should naturally be in the 5th. Clank. There. I was right. Opening the lid of the toilet, I sighed in relief. I guess I still have some leeway to work with. 7 p.m. The air had started to chill as the sun slowly made its way towards the horizon. The world became dyed in the color orange. A slick black sedan parked before the mansion, and 2 individuals got off. Emma and Kevin arrived at the banquet. Fully adorned in party clothes, their perfect figures shone brilliantly. They instantly attracted the eyes of everyone present. After days of continuous hints, and seeing that she was not going anywhere, Emma chose to be upfront about it and asked Kevin to accompany her directly. After listening to her reasoning, Kevin naturally did not refuse. What a fancy place. Looking at the mansion, Kevin's voice carried a hint of awe. I have actually been here before. Flicking her hair to the side, Emma took a quick glance at the mansion. She was not amused. Oh, how is it? It is pretty good. Their service is not half bad. Not half bad. I have had better before. Emma seriously nodded her head. She had been here multiple times in the past. Their service was quite good. However, compared to other places she had been to, this place was only decent. Sure. Once again, Kevin was reminded of how rich Emma was. If this pace was all right, what was good in her books? Kevin wanted to know. Shall we? Okay. Shaking his head, Kevin offered his arm. Emma smiled back and did not refuse. Like that, under everyone's watch, they entered the mansion. Young miss, we have arrived. 10 minutes after Kevin and Emma arrived, another car stopped right before the mansion. Wearing a black shimmering dress, Amanda stepped out of the car. Just like Kevin and Emma, she also attracted the attention of everyone nearby. Wow, she is so beautiful. Who is she? Clank. Ignoring the stares, Amanda closed the car door. She was used to such attention. Screech. Suddenly, another car stopped right next to Amanda. Exiting the vehicle, wearing a white one-piece dress, Melissa exited the vehicle. She was currently not wearing any glasses. Closing the doors of the car shut, she angrily muttered, "Wait until I get a piece of you." Glancing at Amanda standing next to her, Melissa nodded her head. Amanda nodded back. Holding onto a small white handbag, Melissa grumpily headed towards the venue hall. She seemed to be in a bit of a bad mood. Staring at Melissa's departing figure, Amanda had a thought. Perhaps someone offended her. Inside of the large hall, 7:30 a.m. In our academy, we have a specialized course designed to make the life of students. With a glass of wine in her hand, Donna calmly listened to the professors from the other academies speak. The hall was filled to the brim with students and professors coming from either the Locke or the 4 grade academies. And so we believe that separating courses into smaller time periods is better. Haha, that does seem effective. However, at the moment, Donna was listening to the conversation of a couple of the professors coming from the other academies. They were obviously boasting about their academies. Even then, it was interesting to Donna. Listening to them discuss their educational system and how their academies differed from the Locke interested Donna a lot. Despite being strict, Donna really cared for her job. She naturally strived to become a better teacher. Such conversations were useful for her, especially since the ones talking were experienced professors who had been at it for years. "Excuse me, Miss Longburn, may I apologize." Out of all the people present at the banquet, Donna was the youngest. Aside from her, there were only a few that were a few years older than her. Naturally, attracted by her beauty, a lot of the younger professors tried to strike up a conversation with her. With her beauty and fame, who would not want to be with such a girl? Used to this, Donna merely shook them off with a smile. All it took was a calm smile. After that, all her pursuers as if in a trance calmly walked back from where they came from. What happened? What was I doing? A minute after they would snap out of it and find themselves with no recollection of what had happened moments prior. After shaking off another one of the people that tried to flirt with her, Donna suddenly frowned. Strange. Generally, once someone reaches S rank, their senses became much stronger. They were naturally much more sensitive to energy fluctuations. As long as it was not too far, they could feel it. This was especially true for someone like Donna, who was the strongest person present in the venue. At this moment, Donna's senses told her that something was happening towards the upper floor of the mansion. "Excuse me for a minute, I am going to check on something." Without a second thought, she excused herself. With her brows knit, she decided to investigate. Chapter 204, Le Manoir Vert, 3rd floor. Moving forwards, Donna felt the thread of energy lingering in the air become thicker. Her brows were fully knit. Donna stopped in front of a room. This should be the place. That was where she felt the thread of energy was coming from. Crap. Suddenly, Donna opened her eyes wide. Bam. Without a second thought, she broke the door open. After she got close enough, she understood what the thread of energy meant. A portal. Someone was trying to open a portal. I knew that something was odd. Only demons and villains could make such portals. Even among villains, one had to be contracted with a powerful demon in order to do this. "Oh, it seems like you have found me." On the other side of the room, a skinny individual with sunken cheeks stood up. Behind him, a translucent black portal appeared. "It has been a while, Calamity Witch Donna Longburn." Edmund. Donna's face became complicated. Edmund Rice, rank 198 of the villain ranking, an ex-classmate of Donna. Her impression of him was faint. He was a loner. He never interacted with others. Naturally, because of this, she did not know much about him. All she knew was that one day he had disappeared and reappeared as a notorious villain a few years later. Deranged Reaper. That was his nickname. "What happened to you? Why did you turn out this way?" "Ah well, shit happens, you know." Edmund shrugged his shoulders. Looking at Donna, he smiled. How long has it been since we last saw each other? 5 years. 7 years. It has been so long. I will give you one warning. Stop whatever you are doing, else. Wing. A black whip suddenly appeared in Donna's hand. Her amethyst-colored eyes lit up. It is too late. I am already done. Edmund smiled. 2 daggers appeared in his hands. Without wasting any time, he pounced on Donna. Kaka. You. Like a snake, Donna's whip suddenly flew and headed in Edmund's direction. At the same time, her eyes lit up even more. It is useless. Clank. Crossing his 2 daggers into an X position, Donna's whip and Edmund's daggers clashed. The loud sound of metal clashing resounded across the place. Taking a step back, Edmund closed his eyes. Regardless of how much you try, you will not be able to tempt me with your art. As long as he did not look into Donna's eyes, Donna's art would not be able to affect him. Let us see how long you can keep that act for. Enraged, Donna's whip struck down repeatedly. Each time her whip clashed with Edmund's dagger, sparks flickered. Clank, clank. Like that, unbeknownst to anyone, a fight amongst S-ranked individuals began on the 3rd floor. Back at the main hall. Yo, I am back. I took out a mint and ate it. After that, I waved at Leo and Pram in the distance. Ren, what took you so long? What do you mean? You were gone for like an hour. Turning his wrist, Leo checked his watch and responded. I was actually lost. Ended up in the upstairs bathroom. After that, I took a number 2. I scratched the back of my head. In all fairness, taking care of the business took a lot longer than I had expected. Dude, there is like a toilet sign over there. Oops. Seriously. Enough about that. What have you guys been doing in the meantime? Switching the conversation, I looked at the plates in their hands. It was filled with all sorts of delicious food. Definitely need to try those. Nothing much. We have been talking about the exchange students. What about them? After having researched every single one of them, I had a general idea of almost every exchange student. We are just talking about who we should be looking out for in the tournament. Oh, who caught your interest? So far, the Lean Fall twins from Ludwig Academy, John Burson from Kusk Academy, Eleanor Gray from Velen Academy, and lastly Aaron Rhinestone from Theodora Academy. Musing for a bit, Pram responded. From what he could tell, those were the highest-ranked individuals of each academy. You are spot on. I nodded my head. Those were indeed the people that they should look out for in the inter-academy tournament. They were the most outstanding individuals from the other academies, with Aaron from Theodora Academy being the villain of that arc. Do not get me wrong, he was not a villain in the literal sense, but he was the antagonist. In the novel, he did give Kevin a run for his money. In terms of strength, he was stronger than Jin. He does not seem to be here. Aside from them, there was another individual that people had to look out for. Unfortunately, he did not attend the banquet. Ren, there you are. Suddenly, I heard a crisp voice in the distance. Instantly I had an ominous premonition. Melissa. Why are you talking to me? Oh, do not be silly, Ren. As your business partner, I naturally have to say hello to you. Melissa waved her hand. A sweet smile appeared on her face. Hold on. Wait, what are you doing? Acting coquettishly, Melissa pulled my wrist and dragged me away from Leo and Pram. Shivers ran down my spine. I remember Melissa acting like this once in the novel. Not good. Without hesitation, I tried to get away. Unfortunately for you, Melissa, I already have plans. Leo, Pramlet. The moment I turned around, Leo and Pram were already gone. Once again, they betrayed me. What plans? I massaged my forehead. I will remember this. How about I fix that for you? Looking at my crooked tie, Melissa offered to fix it. I instantly refused. I would have normally said yes, but your smile does not look. Coo. Before I could finish talking, Melissa grabbed my tie and tightened it. I tapped her hand. Coo. Melissa, that is a bit too tight. Ho, it is okay, leave it to me. Trust me, I know how to tie a tie. Melissa laughed. Her smile became even sweeter. To me, it looked like the smile of a devil. At the same time, not far from where Ren was, with a glass of wine in their hands, Emma, Amanda, and Kevin conversed with each other. From what I remember, if we go to excuse. From time to time, some people would try to join in on their conversation, cutting them off. Whenever this happened, Emma responded with a glare. Can you not see that we are talking? Sorry. How many is that? Kevin looked at Emma. That was about the 4th person that approached them. More specifically Amanda. 4. Tapping her foot on the ground, Emma bitterly raised 4 fingers. She then looked at Amanda, who was next to her. Amanda, you should have done something similar to me. What do you mean? You should have had someone escort you. Emma pointed at Kevin. With him there, no one dared to approach her. Unfortunately, Amanda was alone. Naturally, a lot of people tried to approach her. But who? I dunno. Jin. No, probably not him. What about Ren? Emma's eyes lit up. Ren. Yes, he would have made a great escort. Although she hated to admit it, he could have been a great escort. Though he was not as handsome as Kevin, with his current fame, he would have made a nice deterrent for the others. Actually, where is he at? Thinking of a brilliant idea, she looked around the hall. Suddenly, her eyes opened widely. She then pointed towards the distance. Aren't those Ren and Melissa? What? Where? Over there. Looking in the direction of where Emma pointed at, Kevin soon spotted Ren. He and Melissa were currently standing very close to each other. They looked very close. In fact, it looked like Melissa was helping Ren put on his tie. Since when have Ren and Melissa been so close? Is he perhaps escorting Melissa? But I have never seen Melissa smile like that. Emma muttered. She was taken aback. She had never seen Melissa smile like that before. Originally, Emma had thought Melissa hated Ren with a passion. But from how things looked, that did not seem to be the case. Unless Melissa was putting on an act. Looking at Emma, Kevin wanted to say something. In the end, he chose not to. After observing more carefully, to him, it looked like Melissa was strangling Ren. From the way his face was turning red, this seemed to be the case. I do not know. I am not good at judging this kind of stuff. He shook his head. Perhaps his judgment was wrong. He was not very good at this kind of stuff. On the other hand, staring at the scene from the distance, Amanda's brows knit for a split second. It came as fast as it went. Watching Ren and Melissa interact in the distance, for a short second, Amanda felt a sense of discomfort. What happened? Because of how fast it came and disappeared, Amanda could not quite put a grasp on what she felt. After a while, she shook her head. Perhaps the sense of discomfort is because of all the people that are approaching me. This was the only plausible explanation Amanda could think of. Damned witch. After freeing myself from Melissa's grasps, I headed towards the drink section. I needed some wine. My tie was in a worse state than before. If you try to help, at least help. Fortunately, with this being a public space, Melissa did not go overboard. After ruining my tie even further, she directly left. I will definitely get her back for that. I made a mental note to myself. Turning my wrist, I checked my watch. My brow soon raised. Oh, I guess it is about time the main event kicks in. After checking my book, I knew the approximate time of when the event was about to start. It should start any second now. Right on cue. Kaboom! A large explosion resounded across the space, and the mansion shook. Startled screams echoed around the mansion. When the dust cleared, Donna's figure appeared. On her hand, a long black whip gently touched the wooden floor. Her eyes at the moment shone brilliantly as her body pulsated a purple hue. Before her was a lanky individual whose cheeks were sunken. He looked malnourished. I instantly recognized him. Villain rank 198, Edmund Rice, the deranged reaper. He looked exactly as I had described him in the novel. Basically like a starved malnourished adult with sunken eyes and cheekbones. Kinda creepy. Suddenly, Edmund screamed. Now, right before the explosion resounded, in a rather inconspicuous corner of the hall, Professor Thabot calmly looked at his watch. Should be soon. Kaboom! Suddenly an explosion rang in the distance, and dust and debris spread everywhere. Enveloping his body was a thin transparent membrane. Professor Thabot tensed. It was almost his turn. The dust settled down, and the features of the two individuals were revealed. Smiling widely, Edmund screamed. Now, out of thin air, Professor Thabot sneakily took out a remote controller. Without hesitation, he pressed the button. Click. Seconds passed and nothing happened. What is going on? No. Tap, tap. With nothing happening, Professor Thabot frowned. His heart raced. Did it perhaps malfunction? This cannot be happening. Professor Thabot turned the device upside down and tapped the back of it repeatedly. After a while, he tried again. Results were the same. Nothing happened. Damn it, work. Out of desperation, Professor Thabot smacked the back of the controller repeatedly. If the plan failed, he was done for. In the distance, a youth with deep blue eyes leisurely swirled the wine cup in his hand. That someone, Ren Dover, had a thin smile on his face. Pitifully looking at Professor Thabot's panicked figure in the distance, Ren leisurely played with a small metallic orb in his hand. Oh my, the device does not work. I wonder what happened. He had no idea. Not like this had anything to do with him. Chapter 205. Boom. As the dust cleared and Donna's and Edmund's features were revealed for everyone to see, silence prevailed over the surroundings. The silence was short-lived as Edmund's hoarse voice echoed across the space. Now, unfortunately, seconds after his voice resounded, nothing happened. Confusion spread amongst the guests inside of the hall. What is going on? What happened? Is that not Miss Longburn? Who is the other guy? Taking a look at her surroundings, Donna's eyes were sharp. Turning her attention back to Edmund, a faint smile appeared on her lips. It looks like whatever you were planning did not work. Edmund's face was expressionless. From the corner of his eyes, he saw Thabot's panicked expression. Instantly, he knew that something had gone wrong. That is Edmund Rice. Villain rank 198. Recognizing Edmund, one student shouted out loud. Following this, the previous somewhat calm atmosphere tensed. What? What do we do? I do not want to die. Several students turned pale from fright, whilst others outright shook. Despite the professor's attempt at calming down their students, more and more students were starting to panic. It had to be noted that there were far fewer professors than students. Calm down, everybody. Don't forget who you are. Noticing that the situation was getting out of control, with her eyes shining, Donna shouted. Hearing her voice, as if in a trace, everyone instantly calmed down. That is right. Who were they? They were the proud students of the world's best academies. The first thing they learned from the academy was that they always had to remain cool-headed. Panic did not help anyone. Moments after, everyone finally completely calmed down. A solemn expression appeared on everyone's faces. We are currently under attack. Get your weapons out and watch over your surroundings. Satisfied with the result, with her eyes focused on Edmund, she continued. Wing. Without being told what to do, everyone instantly brandished their weapons and cautiously looked towards their surroundings. Brilliantly done. Staring at Donna, Edmund complimented. To have calmed everyone down in a matter of seconds, Edmund was impressed. I suggest you give up. With her brows knit, Donna's remained fixed on Edmund. She could not carelessly attack. She was currently surrounded by students. Given her power, the aftershocks of her and Edmund's attack could potentially lead to students getting hurt. Fortunately, by some stroke of luck, Edmund's plans seemed to have failed. If not, Donna could not have imagined how the situation would be. She needed to stall for time. At least not until the other professors sorted out the students and checked the perimeter. She was not the only S-ranked individual present. As long as nothing unexpected happened, they would be able to quickly resolve this issue. I guess we will make do with what we have. Seeing that things were not going his way, Edmund put his daggers away. Edmund smiled, subsequently his body shook. Suddenly the lights of the hall flickered, and his figure melted with the darkness. Guess I will have to initiate Plan B. No, you do not. With her full attention on Edmund throughout the whole time, as soon as he moved, she moved. Raising her hand, like a lightning bolt, her whip appeared on the spot he was standing. Staring at the incoming whip, Edmund smiled. Passing through his body, the tip of the whip landed on the spot where he was standing. Kaka. The loud cracking sound of the whip resounded across the hall. The wooden floor split apart. Smiling, Edmund's voice contained a trace of pity. It is really unfortunate that things did not work out as I had originally envisioned. Noticing that her attack had failed, Donna cursed. Damn it. Even though Edmund was weaker than her, he was notorious for his ability to melt with the shadows. For a short period of time, he could also make his body immune to physical attacks. Just like now. This was why, despite the fact that they were fighting for a good bit upstairs, she still could not harm him. He was the perfect counter for her. Slippery bastard. His ability to escape tight situations was the reason why he was put so high up in the rankings. If not, he might have not even made it to the rankings. Quang. At the exact moment Donna's whip hit the ground and Edmund's body disappeared, the hall shook and the windows of the building broke. Crash. Crash. Countless black figures emanating strong energy appeared. Villains. We are under attack. Sensing the erratic mana that was mixed with a hint of demonic one emanating from the bodies of the figures, everyone was instantly able to tell who they were. They were villains. Thump. Thump. Landing on the ground, multiple figures appeared in the main hall of the mansion. If not for the hint of demonic energy lingering in their bodies, no one would have been able to tell them apart from regular people. Stepping out was a Caucasian-looking villain. Holding on to a dagger, he smiled crazily. Unfortunately for you lot, we have been ordered to kill you also. They were originally supposed to appear once everyone was in a panic, but because the plan failed they could only directly attack. Even if a part of their plan was thwarted, their goals did not change. Kill the transfer students. Attack. Everyone, get ready to fight back. Stepping in front of the students, the professors brandished their weapons. Different colored hues emanated from their bodies. Group up together and cover each other's back. They are coming. Hold your ground. Boom. Soon explosions rang across the building, as many different colors flickered in the hall. The fight had officially started. Meanwhile, in the drinking section of the hall, clank, clank. With fights happening all around me, I was probably the only one that was still relaxing in the corner of the hall. Perhaps it was because of the chaos, but no one noticed me. I knew this would not last for long though. I would eventually get spotted. Oh. Suddenly, from the corner of my eyes, I spotted Professor Thabot trying to escape the hall. I quickly downed the drink in my hand. Ha. Welp, looks like it is my turn to move. With Professor Thabot failing the only job he had, it was only natural that he made a run for it. The monolith would surely send someone to take care of him due to his failure. Despite his merits, Professor Thabot was not someone very important. His strength was only D- rank, and agents, managers could be easily replaced. Thabot knew this, and hence why he made a run for it. Unfortunately for him, he had something I wanted. And sent. Putting the empty wine cup on the table, I took out my phone and sent Kevin a quick message. Guess it was about time I caught the rat. Spurt. Extracting his sword from the body of a villain, Kevin's face was cold. He had no idea of what was happening, but he knew that at the moment, he had to do his best to relieve the pressure off of the professors, especially since most of the stronger professors were outside the venue fighting against the stronger villains. Ha. Taking a step to the side, Kevin narrowly avoided an incoming blade. With one smooth swing, Kevin traced his sword upwards and blood spilled everywhere. Spurt. His cold and red eyes brilliantly complemented the blood that spilled in the air. Without wasting time, he moved towards another villain close to him. A red hue enveloped his sword. Raising his sword, he prepared to slash down. Sheeing. Suddenly, before Kevin's sword could pierce through the back of the villain, a shadow quickly appeared. Following this, the villain Kevin was targeting collapsed. Thump. Appearing on top of the corpse of the villain was a pale youth. The youth had bright blue eyes and long black hair that cascaded all the way down to his shoulders. He had an air of elegance about him. Staring at Kevin, the corner of his lips tugged upwards. He too slow. Kevin frowned. Catching a glimpse of the youth before him, he muttered, Aaron Rhinestone. In the flesh. Taking a glimpse of Kevin before him, and looking at the corpse on the floor, Aaron calmly observed Kevin's figure. After a couple of seconds, he shook his head. So you are Kevin, ha? Only so, sweesh. Before Kevin could reply, Aaron's figure disappeared. As expected, he had heard a little bit about Aaron Rhinestone before. This was natural. In the news his name often tended to come out a lot. Oftentimes, the two were compared to each other. Kevin never paid attention to him as he did not care about such stuff. He did recall Emma talking about him in the past. With her father being an important figure, she had naturally met him. From what he heard from her, He was very arrogant, and it seems like she dislikes him a lot. Two-faced bastard was what she nicknamed him. Observing him firsthand, it seems like what Emma had said was true. Sheeing. Suddenly, Kevin bent down. A cold blade pierced through the air. Twisting his body, holding the sword as if it was a dagger, Kevin stabbed behind him. Spurt. Blood splattered everywhere, and a body fell. Closing his eyes, Kevin wiped some of the blood that had splattered on his face and stood up. Turning around, Kevin's attention was drawn towards the distance, where he spotted two silver streaks reaping through the lives of some of the weaker villains. Who is that? Squinting his eyes, Kevin was able to see two individuals moving around each other reaping through the lives of the villains near them. The way they moved perfectly synchronized with the other. If not for the blood spilling in the air, someone could have easily mistaken what they were doing for a performance. Ah, I see, they must be the Lean Fall twins. After getting a closer look, Kevin instantly recognized them. With their platinum-colored hair, it was not that hard for him to recognize them. Kevin. Suddenly someone called his name. Kevin looked towards where the voice came from. Emma. Ha, ha, I finally found you. At the moment, despite the fact that Emma's dress was still perfectly fine, Emma's hair was disheveled and her breathing was rugged. It seems like she had a rough time. What is wrong? Catching her breath, Emma said, Ha, let us stick together. I do not think I can do this by myself. Sure. Kevin naturally did not refuse. With someone watching his back, he could act more freely. Ding. Suddenly Kevin's watch vibrated. It was Ren. Second floor of the mansion. There should be a D-ranked villain over there setting up a portal. If you do not want people to die, kill him. Reading the message, Kevin frowned. He quickly typed back. What about you? I have got other things to do. I will see you later. Alright, make sure you bring Donna with you. Donna. Yep, tell her Edmund is there. Alright, I really have to go now. Who was that? A sigh escaped from Kevin's lips. He then proceeded to shake his head. Ah, nothing. Let us go. Where? Looking up, he responded. To the second floor. Why? Just follow me. Even though Kevin had many questions, given the situation, he knew that now was not the time. Following Ren's instructions, he quickly moved to where Donna was. I hope you are right. Chapter 206. Spurt. Extracting the tip of her spear out of the corpse of a villain, Melissa cursed. This was the fifth person she had killed. With combat not being her forte, Melissa was obviously easily tired. Her breathing was rugged. If not for her spear, she would have been in deep trouble. Name: Bloodline Spear. Rank: D. Skill: Bloodlust Control. Description: helps users identify if there is any bloodlust directed towards them. With the effect of the spear, by feeling their bloodlust, Melissa was less prone to sneak attacks. This was specially made for her since she did not have a battle instinct as others did. With her spending most part of the day inside of a lab, it was only natural that she did not have a battle instinct. Battle senses could only be developed through experience. Without experience, such a thing was not possible. Shua. Suddenly, Melissa's spear vibrated. Leaning back, the sharp tip of a reaper passed by her, grazing the side of her cheek. Hup. Turning around, Melissa took a step back and swung the spear horizontally, creating a beautiful arc. Spurt. Blood spilled everywhere, and a female villain fell to the ground. Ignoring the corpse, Melissa wiped the side of her cheek and muttered, Ha. That's the sixth. Aside from the effect of the skill, the spear was extremely sharp, giving her an advantage over opponents of the same level. As long as her opponent was not a lot stronger than her, she could hold her own. Ha. Before she could relax, a large blade slashed in her direction. Feeling the bloodlust, Melissa instinctively straightened her spear and blocked the attack. Clank. Loud sparks flew everywhere, and Melissa took 10 steps back. Damn it, he is stronger than me. From the initial exchange, she knew that her opponent was stronger than her. She might be in trouble this time. Swoosh. Ha. Without giving Melissa any time to think, her opponent slashed vertically towards her. Once again, Melissa straightened her spear. Damn it. Spurt. Just as Melissa was about to block the attack, a silver streak brushed past her and impaled the man in the head. Blood spilled everywhere. Ha. Ha. Thanks. Sighing in relief, Melissa turned around and nodded her head. In the distance, Amanda held her bow and repeatedly shot arrows, supporting anyone she could. Her cold eyes surveilled the perimeter like a hawk. Nothing escaped her vision. Standing in front of her, multiple students formed a protective shield. Like this, Amanda reaped through the lives of multiple villains. Naturally, she attracted the attention of a lot of villains as well. Stop her. Attack her. Wing. Distracted by Amanda for a moment, a whistling sound arose next to Melissa. Despite her spear warnings, the attack was too fast. Crap. With her eyes wide open, the back of Melissa's hair raised. She knew that she was in trouble. Spurt. However, right when she thought she was going to die, she heard a splattering sound. Turning her head around, she spotted Jin silently standing on top of the corpse of an Asian-looking man. Taking his eyes off of the corpse, Jin coldly looked at Melissa for a moment before he disappeared. Shiik. He then reappeared behind a Caucasian-looking villain a couple of meters away from her. Slitting his throat, the villain instantly died. Ha. Ha. Recovering from the shock of almost dying, Melissa's breathing was extremely rugged. Staring at Jin's cold face in the distance, Melissa thought, is he on his period? Ha. Ha. This should be far enough. Leaning against a tree, Professor Thabot caught his breath. In a matter of minutes, he had run very far from the establishment. Approximately 5 kilometers. I am screwed. Despite having run so far, he knew that his days were numbered. With the plan failing, he knew that all responsibility would befall him. Fuck, what went wrong? He did everything according to the plan. He came in early and installed all of the devices that he was given. Nothing should have gone wrong. Moreover, how could the blame fall on him if the devices malfunctioned? He was a manager, not a technical expert. Who is there? Sensing something, Thibaut's head snapped towards the distance. A blue hue mixed with black threads emanated from his body. Whoa, I come in peace. Suddenly a youth with deep blue eyes appeared 50 meters away from Professor Thibaut. Scratching the back of his head, the youth awkwardly said, "Fancy seeing you here, Professor. You also running away?" The youth was in fact me. Catching up to Professor Thibaut was not actually that hard. Despite its flaws, drifting steps was a movement art that was perfect for chasing someone. Knowing the general direction of where Professor Thibaut ran, I caught up to him in no time. Though I do have to say that the mana consumption of drifting steps was no joke. About 1/6 of my mana was gone. Ha, who are you? Startled, the hue around Professor Thibaut intensified. Alarm bells rang in his mind. Who was he? How did he find me? He looks like a student. That hurts. It is me, Professor. Ren Dover. A hurt look appeared on my face. I have been attending his classes for 8 months and he completely forgot everything about me. Was my charm still not high enough? Squinting his eyes and getting a closer look, Professor Thibaut suddenly remembered. That is right, is he not the youth that appeared all over the news? The one that the higher-ups told me to take a closer look at. Wait. Professor Thibaut suddenly flashed a brilliant smile. Ah, it is you. What are you doing here? Running, of course. It would be stupid of me if I did not run after what I witnessed. Secretly disgusted by his smile, I shrugged my shoulder and casually answered. That's so. You came at just the right time. Staring at me, a thought struck Professor Thibaut. What if I killed him? Would the higher-ups pardon me for today's blunder? This seemed plausible. In fact, the more Professor Thibaut thought about it, the more convinced he was about his conjunction. A trace of hope appeared in his eyes. Yes, if I kill him, there is a chance that I not only will get pardoned but awarded too. With the death of such high-profile talent, the monolith would surely reward him. Recalling something, Professor Thibaut subtly turned his watch. Target. Name. Ren Dover. Rank. E+. Age. 16. Status. Dead or alive. Reward. 5,000 merit points. Opening the bounty list and staring at the reward list, Professor Thibaut's heart raced. 5,000 merit points? Yes, this should be enough to save my life. Since cash was traceable, the monolith used a system called merit points. With them, all members of the monolith could exchange the points for items and artifacts. At that moment, Professor Thibaut saw a ray of hope. 5,000 merit points was more than enough to save his life. He had to seize this chance at all costs. Cum. Professor, what are you doing? Perfectly reading Professor Thibaut's thoughts, I coughed. At least hide that smile off of your face. Me? Nothing. Snapping out of it, Professor Thibaut smiled savagely. Sheeing. Without answering my question, Professor Thibaut pulled out a saber from his dimensional space. Having never seen Professor Thibaut fight before, he looked a bit funny holding onto the saber. Still, the pressure coming from his body was nothing to scoff at. Wait, you are a professor. You need to be more civil about things. Let us talk things out. I raised my hands and protested. Why must people always fight during conflicts? Words worked just as well. Shut up and die. Professor Thibaut sneered and imbued his saber with magic power. Weeing. Just like a laser, a horizontal blade of magic power shot up from the tip of the saber. But that only lasted for a second. The sword's blade flickered, then disappeared, following which it appeared a couple of meters before me. Staring at the incoming energy slash, I calmly placed my hand on the sheath of my sword. I guess he is not someone that likes to talk. Here goes nothing. Click. Tapping onto the grip of my sword, a subtle clicking sound resounded across the area. Bang. Impossible. A figure crashed against the side of the walls. Cracks appeared everywhere. It is no use, Edmund. Calmly walking forward, Donna's whip gently caressed the ground. Stopping a couple of meters before Edmund, Donna triumphantly smiled. You have already used your skill before. You will not be able to use it anytime soon. Depending on skills, generally, there was a cooldown time. Edmund's skill also had one, hence why once Donna found him, she easily took him down. Coo. How did you know I was here? With his legs broken and his arms dislocated, Edmund knew that he was finished. At this moment he only had one thought in his mind. How could this have happened? He made sure to cover his traces perfectly when moving to the second floor. Donna should not have been able to sense him. It was understandable before since he purposely leaked out some of his energy. But he had not leaked anything out this time. This should not have been possible. How you say? In fact, Donna was just as shocked to have found Edmund here. If not for Kevin's persistence, she would have never been able to find him. Thinking of Kevin, Donna frowned. Just how did he know? Kaka. Staring at Donna waiting for an answer. Instead of an answer, Edmund suddenly saw a black streak flash past his eyes. A cracking sound followed suit and his vision turned black. Thump. His unconscious body leaned to the side. Like I would let you buy time. With a lot of experience under her belt, Donna did not waste any time. Extending her hand, a cracking sound resounded across the space, and she knocked Edmund out. Why talk to him now when she could talk to him during questioning? Bang. Suddenly another explosion rang from the distance. Taking a peek, Donna smiled. Waving at Donna, Kevin shouted, Miss Longburn, we are done on our side too. Holding on to the head of a blonde individual, Kevin's chest heaved up and down unevenly. Apart from his hair and clothes being a mess, he looked perfectly fine. Whiz, whiz, done here as well. Behind him, a black portal slowly shrank. Emma patted her hands in satisfaction. Donna took care of Edmund, Kevin took care of the villain, and Emma took care of the portal. That was the plan. Though close, Kevin was able to overpower the villain, and the plan succeeded. With Edmund caught and the portal broken, Kevin knew that everything was over. Good job. Donna also knew this, hence why she was happy. What could have been a terrible situation was resolved quite easily. I guess today is my lucky day. Chapter 207. Ha, ha. I guess this is the level I am currently at. Taking a deep breath, I sat down on the bench near the villa. Sirens rang everywhere, and the colors red and blue flashed everywhere. Wow, wow, coo. Suddenly, I felt a sharp pain by the side of my abdomen. My face scrunched up, and a bitter smile appeared on my face. I guess fighting without using Monarch's indifference, and the one is still a bit tough for me, I thought. Since Professor Thibaut's strength and mine were quite similar, I decided to fight him using my skills only. I was not too keen on losing another arm. Plus, depending on the opponent, there was a chance that the one would not work. I needed to know the extent of my abilities without the use of my skills. The result: a deep gash on the side of the abdomen. Coo. Still, I guess all of my efforts were not for nothing. Ignoring the pain, I took out two things from my pocket: a black smartwatch and a ring. Alphonse Thibaut. Time: 21:39. Messages: 69. Calls: 2. Mail: 987. Well, looks like someone does not check their mail. Booting up the smartwatch, I quickly looked through Professor Thibaut's watch. Noticing the 987 unopened messages, I shook my head. What an irresponsible man. If I am not wrong, it should be this. Yup. Opening the setting function of the watch, I scrolled down, pressed software update, and rebooted the watch. Moments after, the interface of the watch changed. Instead of the usual colorful interface, one with a darker tone appeared. Success. Successfully entering the database, I clenched my fists. 4 apps appeared on the screen: bounties, announcements, merits, missions. At the moment, I was in the Monolith main database system. It was something that every member of the Monolith had. With it, I could check the different bounties, announcements, and missions that they had up during a certain period of time. This was key information for me as it would help me avoid a lot of trouble. Playing with the watch in my hand, I smiled. Fortunately, it has no tracking device installed. For obvious reasons, all the watches were anonymous without any tracking devices installed in them. No one in the Monolith trusted each other. If there was a tracking system installed in the watch, chances were that none of the villains would wear it. This was especially so since most villains like to operate alone. Who would want someone to keep watch of their movement? Even worse, what if the Union suddenly hacked their system? Would that not expose the location of all their members? Ding. Ren, we are done here. Where are you? Suddenly my watch rang. It was Kevin. Putting the other watch by my side, I responded. Just resting. Where exactly? Taking my eyes off of my watch, I looked around. It appeared to me that I was on a bench in the backyard of the mansion. Looks like the backyard of the mansion. Ah, if you are thinking of looking for me, curb such thought from your mind. Why? Because I want to be in peace. Kevin was the main star of the show today. Defeating a D-ranked villain, whilst simultaneously preventing the portal from being created, a lot of the attention right now was drawn towards him. This was one of the reasons why I chose to interfere. To increase his shine. Though not exactly a solution, it somewhat diluted the amount of attention I was getting. Alright, if you say so. By the way, thanks for the information. Do not mention it. I should be the one thanking you. Alright, I will contact you later. See you. Ha. This is tiring. Typing goodbye, I turned off my watch and laid back on the bench. Frowning slightly, I took out a potion and quickly downed it. Gulp. Instantly, the wounds on my body started recovering. Unfortunately, because the potion was a low-leveled one, the rate at which my wounds were healing was slow. Feeling the stinging sensation coming from my wounds slowly disappearing, a thought suddenly struck me. Actually, what is the bounty on Kevin at the moment? Turning on Professor Thibaut's watch again, I clicked on the bounty section and clicked on Kevin's profile. 12,000 merit points. Tis. Instantly, I hissed. That was a lot more than I had expected. Out of curiosity, I clicked on my profile as well. 5,000. That is alright. Though a lot, it was less than half of Kevin's. Good enough. Alright, that seems to be all. Aside from mine and Kevin's, I checked the others' bounty as well. In general, mine was in the same range as Amanda's and the others. This watch sure is handy. I had to say, getting the watch was a good idea. With it, I could more or less avoid possible dangers. I was also glad that I was the author. Usually, the watches would self-destruct as soon as the owner died. This method was created with the purpose of not allowing the Union, or the central government, to get access to the information. Unfortunately for them, because I was the author, I naturally knew of a way to bypass this system. At the back of the watch, there was a small crystal. The function of the crystal was simple: act as a detonating switch that would destroy the watch once it no longer felt demonic energy being transmitted to it. Knowing this, before I killed Professor Thibaut, I took out the crystal and quickly put it in my dimensional space. With time and space frozen in my dimensional space, the watch did not self-destruct. The solution was so simple yet so difficult at the same time. With not much known about the crystal, it was only natural that the Union had a hard time getting their hands on the watch. In fact, Even the monolith had no idea about this flaw. It was only later in the story that Kevin found this trick. There is also this. Putting the watch away, I took out a ring. Playing with the ring in my hand, I caressed it with my thumb. The monolith ring. The ring in my hand was the primary reason why I decided to kill Professor Thibaut. Its function was simple yet extremely important. It allowed me to create a portal to direct me to the headquarters of the monolith. With Professor Thibaut being an agent, he naturally had this. This item was so rare that only a select few had this. Professor Thibaut was one as he operated in the lock. Unfortunately for them, it fell into my hands. Well, I did promise Small Snake. Part of the reason I did this was also for Small Snake. With him being haunted by them, I naturally had to help him as I promised him. Aside from that, I also had other plans. But that was well off into the future. Leaning against the bench, I inwardly muttered. Future aside, right now I need my well-deserved rest. Exhausted from my fight, I was indeed in need of some nice rest. Ah, life sure is not easy. At the front of the mansion, a black agent stood before a beautiful young girl, wearing a black dress that perfectly complemented her obsidian eyes and hair. So you are saying that right after the calamity? I mean Miss Longburn appeared, the attack started? Coughing, the agent corrected himself mid-sentence. It was quite well known that Donna hated her nickname. With her in the vicinity, it was best not to mention it. Yes, that is what happened. Amanda's reply was short and to the point. For the past 20 minutes, Amanda had been asked many different questions. She naturally did her best to answer them. Having played a major role in today's event, a lot of attention was on her, from both reporters and agents. Fortunately, the agents working for the central government were keeping the reporters in check, or the situation would have turned out extremely troublesome. I understand. Is this everything? Okay, give me a second. Taking out a tablet, the agent tapped on the screen. After a couple of seconds, he nodded his head. All right, that is enough for now. We will contact you later for further inquiries. Thank you. Thanking the agent, Amanda was finally free. Looking around, Amanda decided to move away from the scene. She wanted a quiet space to rest. Having used a lot of energy, it was only natural for her to want to rest. Plus, she disliked noisy places. She preferred quiet ones. Clink. Turning off his watch, Kevin raised his right hand. Two hands covered with blue rubber gloves patted the arm. At the moment, Kevin was being examined by a doctor. This was standard procedure. All right, we are done. Thoroughly checking Kevin, the doctor in charge of Kevin took out a pen. Taking out a clipboard, he proceeded to check a few boxes. Okay, everything seems to be in check. Completed with the check, the doctor dismissed Kevin. Apart from a few superficial wounds, there is nothing particularly worrying. Just take a potion and you will be fine. You may go. Thank you. Jumping off the stretcher, Kevin thanked the doctor. Staring at Kevin's departing figure, the doctor muttered, "What a talented youth." Despite having fought against a similarly leveled villain, Kevin came out on top with only minor injuries. The doctor was impressed. Kevin, you are done? Exiting the tent, Kevin met Emma. It seems like her checkup was also done. Yeah, how are you doing? I am good. I did not really have to fight, so nothing on my side. You, however. Checking Kevin, who only had minor injuries on his body, Emma shook her head. She had seen him fight against the villain firsthand. His opponent was nothing to scoff at, and yet he was unharmed. Emma shook her head helplessly. When will I ever catch up to him? She naturally did not say this out loud. Slapping Kevin in the back, she rolled her eyes. Whatever, just thinking about you makes me jealous. You will get there eventually. Kevin tried to comfort Emma, only to have his hand smacked away. Piss off. Recalling something, Emma suddenly asked, "Oh, by the way, you seen Ren?" Ren. Ah, he is apparently resting. An odd look appeared on Kevin's face. That is what Ren told him in the message. Whether it was true, he did not know. Resting. Like I will believe that. I did not see him at the scene at all. He must have run. I do not think so. Kevin quickly shook his head. Emma's brows knit in response. Why are you defending him? This was definitely suspicious. Her eyes narrowed. Are you and Ren perhaps? Before she could finish, Kevin quickly waved his hands. No, do not get me wrong. I also did not see him do anything, but what? With a complicated look, Kevin responded. He is the one who told me to go to the second floor. At the same time, in the backyard of the villa, Ren, sitting on the bench with my eyes closed, I suddenly heard someone call out my name. My brows knit together. Great, just when I wanted to be left alone. Opening my eyes, I was taken aback. Amanda? What was she doing here? From what I remembered, she should be warned by agents and reporters. Did she perhaps slip out? Looking at the bench I was sitting on, Amanda softly asked. May I sit down? Oh, you want to sit? Sure. Nodding my head, I scooched over the side. Since it was Amanda, it was fine. Had it been anyone, Kevin or the others, I would have had a headache. They talked too much. Sitting down, an awkward silence enveloped the area we were in. Not minding it, Amanda suddenly looked at me, pointing towards my right abdomen, her brows knit. You are hurt. This, just a scratch. I casually waved it off. It was not that bad. To be honest, the fact that my suit is torn pains me more. Looking at my suit, a pained expression appeared on my face. That was 100,000 U. Even though it was not a lot compared to the money I spent on potions, 100,000 U was still a lot of money. Fortunately, I had a warranty. Thank God for the warranty. Does it hurt? Nah, I took a potion. I no longer feel any pain. 10 minutes had passed since I took the potion. I pretty much no longer feel any pain. I see. Hearing this, Amanda nodded her head. Suddenly her eyes landed on my neck. May I? May I what? Ha, what the? Before I knew it, Amanda leaned closer to me and grabbed my tie. I reflexively flinched. Flashbacks of what happened with Melissa replayed in my mind. Noticing my reaction, Amanda's brows slightly knit. In a soft voice she said, "Do not move." Okay. Nodding my head, I stood frozen like a statue. I had no idea how to react at the moment. Amanda had a mild case of OCD. She disliked unorganized things. At the moment, the reason why she was fixing my tie was probably due to this, but our faces were only a couple of inches from each other. I could feel her warm breath next to my face. Fortunately, this did not last for long. Within a couple of seconds, Amanda took her hands off of my tie. Done. Staring at my tie, I was at a loss for words. It was perfect. I quickly thanked her. "Thank you. No problem." After that, silence once again descended the area we were in. This time, it was not as uncomfortable as before. Turning my head to the side, I looked at Amanda. With the moonlight directly shining on her figure, she looked breathtaking. I did not stare for long. However, the short moment I looked at her felt like a long time. She looked really beautiful. Blinking a couple of times, I quickly snapped out of my delusions. What is wrong with me? Had this been the usual me, I would have never acted like this. The exhaustion must be catching up to me. Yeah, it is definitely cause I am tired. I once again reassured myself that this was all fruit of my exhaustion. I am going to go, good night. See you. It was only after 5 more minutes had passed that Amanda finally stood up. Turning around, she waved at me slightly. I waved back. Ha. Staring at Amanda's parting figure, I recollected myself. Taking a deep breath, I put my arms around the bench and relaxed. Looking at my tie, I thought, what am I supposed to do now? Had this been right before the party, I would have been extremely happy, but the thing was, the party was already over. What did I need my tie fixed for? Chapter 208. Clank. Ha. I'm finally free. Entering her office, Donna shut the door behind her. Slumping on her chair, she exhaled. Despite the fact that she was a ranked hero, even she wasn't exempted from the questioning. The fact that she had caught Edmund Rice also didn't help. He was a high-profile target after all. In the end, after more than 5 hours of questioning, she was finally set free. What time is it? 3 a.m. Turning her wrist, Donna checked the time. Time sure flew by. Leaning on her chair, she decided to take a quick rest. Ring, ring. Now what? Right before she could close her eyes, her phone rang. Annoyed, Donna picked up the phone and looked at the caller ID. Oh God. It was Monica, ranked 27 in the hero ranking, and an ex-classmate of hers. Someone that she couldn't handle. Ding. Frowning, whilst contemplating whether she should pick up the call or not, a message popped up on her screen. Donna, if you don't pick up the phone, I'm going to go to you directly. Right now. Without hesitation, Donna picked up the call. Hello, Monica. Is that you? Humph, I knew you'd pick up once I sent you that text. Monica's high-pitched voice echoed from Donna's phone speaker. Judging from the tone of her voice, she seemed to be sulking. What are you talking about? Donna feigned ignorance. You think I'm stupid? You picked up as soon as I sent you that text. What does that tell me? Ha. Is this the reason you called me? Covering her face, Donna sighed. She was too tired to deal with her at the moment. Ah, no. Of course not. Then get to the point. Sheesh. Talk about petty. All right, to put it simply, the union wants a detailed report from you about the incident. Now? No, but by this week. Donna closed her eyes. She was visibly annoyed. You calling me at this hour just to tell me this? I've already spent 5 hours answering most of the questions. I can do that. She still agreed in the end. Not like she had a choice. It was her duty as a ranked hero. Great, love you lots. Oh right, before I forget. Congratulations. For what? For your rank increase. Since you caught Edmund, at the end of the year when the ranks will be redone, you'll definitely rise. More money for you. Oh, that does indeed sound good. Donna's mood improved a bit. Every 4 years the hero rankings would be refreshed. By calculating the achievements of the top heroes, the ranking would be renewed with some increasing their ranks and some falling off the rankings. Naturally, the higher the rank the more financial support from the union and central government. Donna was naturally happy. Monica teased. How about you buy me dinner at a fancy place once you get your paycheck? Are you finished? Donna rolled her eyes. Monica's rank was higher than hers, and so was her salary. She should be the one buying her dinner. Oh, I also wanted to check out that other student of yours. Who? Donna's eyes squinted. She was quite protective of her students. She was naturally prepared to refuse Monica. The one that I met at back in Hallberg. What was he called again? Ah, he was on the news. The one in the news. Ren? Instantly the image of a student popped into Donna's mind. She did remember seeing Monica checking Ren out back in Hallberg. He also appeared on the news recently. Who else could it be but him? He checked all of the boxes. Yes, that guy. I knew that there was something up with him back in Hallberg. Hee hee, my instincts never lie. That's good for you. Donna also remembered dragging her away that day. Unfortunately, the effort was still futile. Ren had still caught Monica's interest. How about I come to the lock as a guest lecturer for a month? Suddenly Monica dropped a bombshell. Donna's eyes shot up. Guest lecturer you? She couldn't believe it. Monica as a teacher? That would be disastrous. Sensing the disbelief in Donna's tone, Monica was offended. What? Do you think I won't be able to handle it? You won't be able to handle it. Donna quickly shot her down. Given her personality, She really couldn't be trusted with students. Monica became even more offended. You, just watch me. Humph, humph, humph. Wait, are you actually being serious? Of course I am. What about the union? Monica was an important member of the union. She couldn't just leave her post whenever she wanted. They won't mind since they also want me to keep a check on Kevin. What Maximus's son pulled off last time didn't sit well with some of the heads. With Kevin once again affirming himself as one of the most talented humans out there, the union decided to put even more emphasis on him. They naturally wouldn't let an incident like last time happen again. Donna naturally understood this. However, she was still apprehensive about the idea of having Monica teach at the lock. Do I have a right to say no? Nope, I've already made an application. I'll see you in a week's time. Love you. Before Donna could respond, Monica hung up. Tack. Ha. This bitch. To think she's applying for a guest lecturer role. Clenching her phone, Donna cursed. Given Monica's ranking and high position in the union, the academy would naturally not refuse. This troubled Donna quite a bit. Just when she thought she got rid of her back, when they separated from the academy, she once again found a way to annoy her. Donna massaged her forehead. Just when I thought it was my lucky day. The incident at the banquet was a plan that was carefully instigated by the monolith. Their goal was to create minor conflicts amongst the 4 great academies and the lock. In the novel, they almost succeeded. Unfortunately for them, thanks to Kevin's efforts, the animosity between the academy and the lock did not reach an all-time high. There still was some though. This time, however, it was safe to say that the situation was handled correctly. There was no animosity between the academies. In fact, it was quite the opposite. According to the report, only about 30 people died. Compared to the over 100 people that were supposed to die, this was a lot less than in the original storyline. Moreover, it was later found that most of the casualties came from the professors from the lock who tried to protect the students. This naturally made the 4 great academies see the lock in a more favorable light, sacrificing for the sake of their students. To the 4 great academies, the lock looked even more majestic. Thus, the monolith's plans were thwarted. Unfortunately, this was merely one of 3 events that would take place in the upcoming months. Their real goal was in fact the Inter-Academy Exchange, an event that was watched by the whole human domain. The grander the stage, the grander the impact. If you wanted to make a statement, you had to do it in the grandest event possible. Now that they had failed this one, I wasn't sure how the future would pan out. But if there was one thing I was sure about, it was about the fact that they wouldn't stop there. How'd they go about things in the future? Even I didn't know. But I sure as heck would do my best to be prepared. Currently, it was 8 a.m. in the morning. I was waiting for class to start. At the moment, most of the class's attention was drawn towards my general direction. To more be precise, towards Kevin who sat next to me. Without a second thought, I scooched over to the next seat. Everyone looked at Kevin with a mixture of different emotions. Envy, jealousy, admiration, and respect. Most of it was respect. With him being critical in defeating the villain and destroying the portal, this was only natural. He saved quite a lot of lives. Yes, keep shining like that. The more he shined, the better my situation became. Although I had made a statement before with my fight against that unknown extra whose name I had already forgotten, I was bound to be challenged once again in the near future. With Kevin taking most of the attention off of me, those chances had now reduced. Ren, why are you sitting that far? Suddenly Kevin called out for me. I feigned ignorance and looked at the front of the classroom. Kevin's eyes narrowed. Ren, I know that you heard me. Well, how should I say this? I've got a fever? My mouth twitched. You'd think I'd believe that? Right, fevers don't really exist anymore. Should have thought of something better. Haha, well you see. I have contracted something very infectious. You better stay away from me for the next few days. Kevin squinted his eyes. Just what are you trying to pull? A thought struck him. Don't tell me you're avoiding me because of all the attention. That's precisely it, so stay away from me. My reply was blunt. Might as well let him know. In response, Kevin smirked and raised his voice. That's a pity. I just really wanted to thank you for helping me out yesterday. Opening my eyes wide, I pounced Kevin and hurriedly covered Kevin's mouth. This bastard. He was planning on letting me sink with him. Like hell, I would let him do that. Do not say another word. Thank you so MHMHM. I put more pressure on my hands. Help. Finn. In the end, seeing Kevin's persistence, I could only give up. Taking my hands off of his mouth, I raised my hands in defeat. Kevin smiled triumphantly. All right, I give up. I won't avoid you. Suspicious. Suddenly, I heard a soft voice from the side. It was Emma. Her eyes were squinted, and her face alternated between Kevin and me. What is going on between you two? Oh, Emma. Good morning. Pushing me away, Kevin greeted Emma with a brilliant smile. Looking at his smile, Emma fell into a slight daze. She quickly recovered and switched the topic. Morning. You still haven't answered me. What were you guys doing? Nothing. We were just having fun. Having fun? Was having Ren practically hugging you count as having fun? Emma thought. She naturally didn't voice this out. In the end, she quietly sat down on her seat. As she sat down, Emma suddenly recalled Kevin's words. He's the one who told to go to the second floor. Turning around, she took a peek at Ren. His face was quite dark at the moment. He looked pretty annoyed. Her brows knit. Was this true? Did he really tell Kevin about the portal and the villain on the second floor? Emma, are you okay? Hearing Kevin's concerned voice, Emma snapped out of it. She quickly waved her hand. Nothing. I'm just feeling a little off since it's early in the morning. Oh, I see, then I won't disturb you. Dense as always, Kevin bought the excuse. Thanks. Turning her attention back towards the front of the classroom, Emma's face became solemn. Just how did he know? Chapter 209. All right, everyone please be quiet. Clank. Suddenly the doors of the classroom opened up, and Donna entered. Her crisp voice traveled through everyone's ears. Instantly the classroom quieted down. Putting her hands on the podium, she solemnly looked at everyone present. Okay, have you all received the message? The one about the morning ceremony for tomorrow. Announcement to all students, due to what happened yesterday at the banquet, Wednesday, from the times 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. the Academy has decided to. Turning my wrist slightly, I pressed on the foremost notification. I quickly skimmed through the long text. I see. Despite what happened yesterday, classes resumed as usual. Originally there should have been a week break, but because the incident was handled so cleanly and swiftly, there was no break. Regarding the fallen professors and students, a morning ceremony would be held tomorrow night. That was what the current announcement was about. As most of you have been informed, there have been 31 confirmed deaths from yesterday's accident, 15 of which were our very own Academy professors. I would like for you all to attend tomorrow, as a form of respect for those that have sacrificed their lives for you. It is the least you could do. Donna's face was solemn. Even if she was used to death, such announcements were never easy, especially since some of the people that died were people that she had talked to as recently as yesterday. It truly was depressing. Enough of that for now. Finished with all of the depressing stuff, Donna's tone became lighter. Brushing her hair to the side, she checked her watch. All right, with that out of the way, it is now time that I introduced you to your new classmates. They should be here soon. Knock. Knock. Right on cue, the doors of the classroom opened and around 20 youths came in. They all wore different uniforms. Instantly the classroom became noisy. Sitting next to me, Kevin's eyes squinted. It is that guy. Who? Curious, Emma turned around and looked at Kevin. With his eyes narrowed, Kevin softly said, Aaron, you have met him. Emma's brows raised. She had met Aaron a couple of times in the past. She had the worst impression of him. To think that Kevin went through a similar situation as her. Yes, at the banquet. He came at me from out of nowhere. If I do not remember wrong, he said something along the lines of you are only so-so or something of the sorts. That does indeed sound like him. I have had a similar situation happen to me. Whilst Emma and Kevin were busy talking, I stared at the incoming students. My eyes instantly paused on a certain few individuals. 5 to be exact. The Leanfall twins, John Burson, Eleanor Gray, and the man in question, Aaron Rhinestone. The strongest first years of each respective academy. Nothing much needed to be said about the Leanfall twins. With their platinum blonde hair, they were easily recognizable. Moreover, their flawless teamwork was what made them so famous. The same went for Aaron. Long black hair and deep blue eyes. His fame and skill were already documented for everyone to see. John Burson, on the other hand, had a sturdy build with short brown hair. His stature resembled that of Arnold's, however. He was much more intimidating than Arnold. Now that I think about it, he shares quite a lot of similarities with Arnold. Build aside, both of them used a shield. If not for John being stronger, I could have easily mistaken the duo for a pair of siblings. Lastly, there was Eleanor. She had short black hair and an oval-shaped face. Though she was not ugly, compared to the likes of Amanda, Melissa, and the others, she was average. Despite this, her skills were undeniable, especially since she was a combat mage, someone who specialized in casting spells. That should be it. Apart from them, everyone was pretty much an extra. I obviously knew who they were, but in general, those 5 people were the ones I had to watch out for. As most of you know from the recent banquet, for the following 2 months, exchange students will be joining us in our classes. Snapping me out of my thoughts was Donna's voice. Turning around, she stared at the 20 students next to her. Sensing the air of confidence and aura coming from certain individuals, Donna nodded her head in satisfaction. They were definitely on par with the student at the lock. To her, regardless of the fact that they were from the lock or not, it was always gratifying to know that such talented humans existed. Taking a step to the side, she smiled. I do not think you need me to introduce them, as most of you have already met at the banquet or known each other beforehand. In fact, some of them are so famous that they even appear on TV. After a brief introduction, Donna stopped. Redirecting her attention back to the exchange students, she smiled. So how about you guys find yourself a seat? Just sit wherever you like. Sure, thank you. Thanking Donna, the exchange students split into many different groups. Many choose to sit towards separate areas of the classroom, whilst others sat at the front or back. Ignoring the commotion, I suddenly found 2 shadows cast over me. Turning my head around, I found the Leanfall twins looking in my general direction. At times they would take glimpses of Kevin and the others. May we sit here? Sure. I naturally did not refuse. After all, that would be quite rude of me. Plus, they merely just wanted to sit with Kevin and the others. Since I was the one that led them around the academy, they found it easier to just ask me. After I gave them the green light, the twins quickly sat down. Extending his hand, the older brother introduced himself to everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Nicholas Leanfall, and this is my twin sister. Whilst twins introduced themselves to Kevin and the others, I leaned against the table and massaged my forehead. Ha, what the hell is going on? I suddenly realized something. What was supposed to be my secluded seat far from the prying eyes of others turned out to be the place with the most attention in the class. Just where did I go wrong? Inside of a shabby 3-bedroom apartment. Is he not the person that came to our door last time? Sitting on a worn-down couch, a lady in her mid-30s pointed towards the TV screen standing opposite to her, following up the investigation on the student. On it, a TV anchor relayed the news. Besides him, a picture of youth with jet black hair and deep blue eyes appeared. Hearing what the anchor had to say about him, the lady looked quite surprised. Oh my, it seems like he was quite a talented youth. To think that he was from the lock, no wonder he was so strong. Turning towards her son, the lady excitedly pointed at the screen. Ryan, it was him that came to our house, was it not? I am sure of it. It was. Playing with 2 plastic toy cars in his hands, Ryan looked up to his mom. Blinking innocently and looking at the TV for a couple of seconds, Ryan nodded his head. Wow, to think that we would be meeting someone so important. I cannot believe it. Getting confirmation from Ryan, his mom became quite excited. She had met such an outstanding figure. How could she not be excited? Taking her controller, she raised the volume. Clank, clank. Ignoring his mother, Ryan kept playing with his toys. Suddenly, his mom turned around and scolded him. Ryan, why do you not go play with the toys in mom's bedroom? Mom wants to watch the TV. With him playing so loudly, she could barely hear what they were saying. Okay, I am sorry. Stopping whatever he was doing, Ryan lowered his head. Taking his toys, he obeyed his mom. Thank you, Ryan. No problem. He moved away from the living room. Turning right into his mother's bedroom, he quickly moved towards her drawer and opened it. Without hesitation, he took out a large file and schemed through it. This should be it. Stopping on a certain point of the page, he took his mother's phone and dialed a number. I hope I am making the right call. It is so hot. Covering my eyes, I stood under the blazing sun and the blue sky, enjoying the clear and warm Ashton city weather. With summer around the corner, the temperatures were steadily rising. I was currently waiting at the front of the academy. You are finally here. After waiting for approximately 5 minutes, Melissa's figure appeared in the distance. Wearing a long white blouse coupled with matching black pants, Melissa calmly walked in my direction. Not that I think about it. I usually see Melissa in either a lab coat or school uniform. She looks kinda weird. I was not used to this. Sort of felt out of place. Seen enough. Heeding her steps, Melissa's face darkened a little. I nodded in response and quickly switched topics. Plenty. By the way, did you get everything? I spent the last couple of hours adding some finishing touches. It should be good for now. Rolling her eyes, Melissa took out a hard drive. On it was a detailed report about the project. The presentation as well as the data. You are giving this to me. Cannot you just keep it? My eyes shot wide open. She was giving me such important information. Melissa shook her head. She had a reason for doing this. I have got a spare. I am just giving this to you in case something happens to mine. Though the chances of such things happening were extremely low, Melissa did not like to take any risk. Thus, she made a spare one for me. That is fair. Though I was not sure what could happen, I still naturally accepted the hard drive. Putting the hard drive in my dimensional space, I covered my face with my hand to avoid the sun. Turning around, I asked, so, when is the ride coming? I do not know, should be soon. I have already been standing under this heat for too long. It was currently 5 p.m., and it was naturally the time of the day when the sun was most active. Despite my superhuman abilities, I still could not combat the heat. Melissa seemed to feel the same way as droplets of sweat appeared by the side of her cheek. Suck it up. Stop being extra. Stop pretending. I know you are just as tired as me. Another sigh escaped from my mouth. Right now, Melissa and I were headed to the Demon Hunter headquarters. Today was the day that we would pitch our magic card concept. Right after the lectures ended, I quickly headed back to my room to get changed. An hour after getting changed, I directly went to the entrance of the academy. Looking at the sun, I muttered, this heat sure is something. It is here. Snapping me out of it. Suddenly, a black limousine stopped in front of us. It was a long, luxurious limousine that I only thought existed in the movies. Exiting the front doors of the limousine, a man dressed in black opened the door for us. He wore white gloves. Please get in. I got inside the limousine with Melissa and quickly sat down. Sitting on it made me recall the time I was traveling to Hallberg. If not for Melissa, I would have probably moaned out loud. Is everything all right? Turning around, the driver checked on us. Melissa nodded her head in confirmation. At Melissa's confirmation, the driver put his foot on the pedal and drove off. Throughout the journey, the limousine moved without shaking in the slightest. It was so smooth that I thought we were not moving at all. Before long, we arrived at Demon Hunter's headquarters. As expected of the world's #1 ranked guild, taking a step out of the limousine, I was left in awe by the building before me. The first thing I thought once I looked at the building was, is that not the shard from London back on Earth? Honestly, it looked amazing. Each part seemed to have been designed carefully as the building looked both beautiful and geometrically marvelous. This tall building was undoubtedly built using cutting-edge magic engineering and technology. It looked flawless. Shua. Suddenly the transparent doors of the building opened up. Wearing a neat black suit, Amanda greeted us. Welcome to the Demon Hunter Guild. Chapter 210. After we met with Amanda, we directly entered the building. Instantly I was left speechless by the grandeur of the place. The place reminded me of my parents' guild lobby, but a lot more spacious and luxurious. Standing at the front of a lobby, a young man that looked to be in his mid-30s came to greet us. Maxwell Benson, Amanda's personal assistant. Spotting me, he held out his hand with a warm smile. He gave off a good first impression, like an older brother next door. Competency aside, it was because of the impression he gave off that he was chosen to be Amanda's assistant. Ren Dover, right? Yes. I shook his hand. And I'm sure I don't need to introduce myself to Melissa, right? Melissa smiled at Maxwell's words. She had already met him before. Turning his attention back to Amanda, he offered. Young miss, shall I give the two a tour? Nah, I'm good. I've already been here before. Plus, we've got more important things to do. Before Amanda could respond, Melissa instantly refused. Maxwell smiled at her response. Very well, then I shall escort you to the meeting place. Hey wait, I didn't say I didn't want to hear about this place. I immediately protested. Unlike her, this was my first time here. No one asked you. Unfortunately, I was immediately cut off by Melissa, who quickly moved towards the elevator area. Out of pity, Maxwell briefly introduced me to the place. Together with Melissa and Amanda, we stood in front of the elevator. The first and second floor, as you can see, are the areas which we attend and greet our guests. From the second floor up, there are the offices for the contracted heroes that are currently working under us. Ding. The elevator then arrived, and Maxwell hopped in and pressed the button that led to the 5th floor. Amanda, who was next to him, pressed another button. She had other things to do, and so she couldn't stay with us. She only came to the bottom floor to greet us. Ding. 5th floor. After a brief moment, the elevator arrived on the 5th floor. Bidding Amanda goodbye and exiting the elevator, I saw a large circle-shaped lobby and office doors spaced out along the wall. Navigating through the 5th floor, Maxwell guided me and Melissa to a rather spacious office. A large round table stood in the middle with special triangular-shaped devices in front of each seat. Standing by the side of the office, Maxwell politely smiled. Please make yourself comfortable. This is where the meeting will be held. Briefly, the master will contact you. In the meantime, whilst you're waiting for the master and the elders to attend, I'd suggest you set up your presentation. Aside from that, you can contact me if you need anything else. Maxwell turned his head left and right and checked the room. Seeing that everything was set up, he bid farewell. It seems like there's nothing left for me to do here. If you need anything else, please let me know. If you'll excuse me now, I must leave. I understand, thank you. Nodding my head, I politely bid Maxwell goodbye. Entering the office, heeding his suggestion, Melissa and I got quick to work. We quickly inserted the USB inside of the projector and loaded the presentation up. After a while, I clapped my hand in satisfaction. Turning the projector on, I curiously asked Melissa, "Is it ready?" "Should be. Do you remember your lines?" Prior to today, I had memorized my lines. This was so that I wouldn't screw it up. What lines? I don't do lines. Oh right. It was then that I remembered that Melissa was the one who built the project from scratch. She didn't need to remember any lines. Ping, ping, ping. Suddenly, the triangular-shaped devices resting on the table lit up. One after another, different types of holograms popped up from the devices. A total of 12 holograms appeared before us, depicting men and women of various ages. In a matter of seconds, all the devices apart from one lit up. Like a zoo animal, I felt all eyes directed towards me. With keen interest in their eyes, the people behind the hologram scrutinized me from head to toe. How young. So you must be the ones that we are meeting today. I wonder what they will be presenting us. Ping. At last, the device at the head of the table lit up. A middle-aged man with obsidian black eyes and a black hair appeared. Instantly the atmosphere inside of the room changed. Everyone on the table looked at the man with hints of respect and awe. This was Edward Stern, the Demon Hunter Guild Master, and Amanda's father, one of the most powerful figures in the human domain. Smiling amiably, Edward Stern looked at me and Melissa before apologizing. I instantly waved it off. Sorry for not being able to see you personally. It's okay, we understand. I wasn't offended in the slightest. In fact, I was delighted. This put a lot less pressure on me when presenting. Plus, this situation was understandable. With each and every member present here being an extremely influential person, they weren't always going to be at the guild. Just the fact that they had made time for me and Melissa was enough. Directing his attention towards the presentation behind us, Edward Stern kicked off the meeting. All right, let's not waste any time. Since we are all busy, let's get straight to the point. Please introduce us to your concept. Very well. Melissa stepped up, pressing onto a small stick in her hand. The PowerPoint slide switched. Today we are going to be presenting you a new concept. It's a new external mana system that can be used to integrate magic circles ranging from. Melissa's words flowed like water. They were crisp and pleasant to the ear. Everything that she said was clear and concise, and with the aid of the presentation, even I could easily understand what she was talking about. Listening to her, I just stood beside her with a plain smile. On a couple of occasions, I would nod my head. She's good, I hope I don't screw it up. What I was in charge of speaking was more on the business aspect of the deal. I was in charge of talking about who our target customers were, what type of strategy we would use to combat competitors, the longevity of the product, how we would expand in the future, and so on. Fortunately, I had come prepared. Once it was my turn, to my surprise, I didn't stutter once. Another positive point was that I was comfortably able to answer most of the questions thrown at me by the elders. The longer I spoke, the more confident I got. In less than 10 minutes, I finished the presentation. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you. After a while, with satisfied looks on their faces, the elders whispered amongst each other. Judging from how reverent their discussions seemed, their interest was piqued. Watching this scene, Edward Stern suddenly raised his hand and everyone instantly stopped talking. Turning his attention back to us, he smiled kindly. All right, thank you very much for the presentation. We will contact you shortly after a brief discussion amongst ourselves. Sure, I naturally didn't mind this. Given how big the investment was, it was only natural that they talked over this. Thank you, I'll let you know as soon as possible. Ping. His hologram soon disappeared. Ping, ping, ping. Following his hologram, one after the other holograms disappeared. At the same time, the last floor of the Demon Hunter Guild. Amanda sat down and looked at the presentation displayed on a large monitor before her. Displayed on it were Ren and Melissa presenting. Melissa's presentation was spotless. Her points were clear and easy to understand. Amanda couldn't find any faults with anything she said. On the other hand, there was Ren. Although he started roughly, by the end of the presentation he managed to get every single point across perfectly. It was quite good in Amanda's opinion. Cling. After a while, the monitor switched, and 13 different screens appeared on her monitor. For a brief moment of time, no one spoke. What do you guys think? Edward Stern was the first one to break the silence. He wanted to hear the other's opinion before voicing his. Instantly one of the elders spoke up. The concept itself is revolutionary. If we were to do as they proposed in the presentation, we would surely make a lot of money. In fact, this could probably help us widen the gap with Starlight Guild. But what if the project fails? If it fails, won't we be losing a lot of money? An elder interrupted. Although they were rich, they couldn't just freely give money away. They had to be wise. That is true. If it fails, we could potentially be losing more than what it's worth. What is there to worry about? His daughter is here. Suddenly another elder spoke up. This time, no one followed up. When the words his daughter fell from the elders' mouths, the room's mood became somber. Even Edward Stern's expression couldn't help but change. Everyone inside of the room knew who he was referring to. It was Melissa's father, an existence that everyone feared, Edward Stern included. After a while, Edward Stern shook his head. Let's take him out of the picture for a moment. Melissa is in fact a very capable person. She alone is worth the investment. As long as we don't do anything that is out of the line, he won't move. Once the elders heard this, the discussions resumed. One after the other, the elders offered their opinions. I agree. If we offset the pressure that will come from the other guilds, and perhaps the union, I can see a lot of profit being generated in the long term. If we play our cards right, we may be able to cement ourselves to the top. This is a valid point indeed. Once again, the problem is, what if the project fails? It just means we lose money. If we keep this project under wraps, all that we lose is money. Plus, there's also that youth. Ah, that's right. If we manage to recruit him, even if the project fails, it might be worth the loss. Ren Dover. He was one of the main reasons why they chose to listen to the presentation. Despite him being so young, he showed extreme signs of promise. With them being the #1 guild, they naturally knew a lot more about him than the others. Like the fact that the talent assessment orb doesn't work on him. This point alone was enough to garner the attention of everyone present. I agree, if we manage to bring him under our wing then it might be worth the loss. But won't the lock interfere? It's fine, we can sign a pre-agreement that will only come into effect once he graduates. If we do that, the lock won't argue. Silently listening to the conversation, Edward Stern had a thought. Amanda, what do you think? As her father's words fell, the whole room became quiet. Everyone's attention shifted towards Amanda. That's right, let's hear Amanda's opinion. Yes, young Mrs. opinion is important. I agree. Despite being young, Amanda was quite smart. Moreover, with her possibly being the next guild master, it was detrimental to know her opinion and thought process. Subjected by such intense stares, Amanda was unfazed. With her brows knit, Amanda thought of her words carefully. After a while, she opened her mouth. That was tiring. A couple of minutes after finishing the presentation, I slumped onto one of the chairs in the room. This was much more mentally draining than I thought. Reminded me of the days where I had to go to endless amounts of interviews just to apply for one job. To think I would go through such a situation again. Get up, they are going to finish up soon. I don't want them to see your incompetence. Turning my head to face Melissa, I rebuked her. Excuse me, I'm the one who dragged this team up. If not for me, you would have never been able to come up with the concept. Piffed, let's not joke around. Who said I was joking? Without me, she would have never been able to come up with the concept until well off into the future. I was the reason why she was able to even touch such a topic so early. If it wasn't for my idea, you would have never been able to get to where you are now. Melissa rolled her eyes and retorted. Do you want me to show you the so-called concept you showed me? Compared to now, it's merely some random gibberish you wrote on a piece of paper. In fact, if it weren't for my genius, it would have probably taken someone else another 10 years to decipher what you wrote. What are you on about? I muttered, but Melissa looked at me with meaningful eyes, then snickered. I instantly had an ominous premonition. Kiam. Interrupting me, a cough resounded inside of the room. Turning around, my mouth twitched. How long has he been there? Sitting on the head of the table was Edward Stern. He was obviously still in his hologram form. He had a friendly smile on his face. I scratched the back of my head awkwardly. I presume that the meeting has come to an end. I wasn't sure for how long he was in the room, but I hoped he didn't overhear any of our conversations. Yes, the meeting came to an end, and we've come to a decision. After I talked it through with the elders, we chose to accept your offer, however. Edward suddenly paused. With a solemn expression, he continued. We would like to renegotiate the terms of the deal. Silence prevailed over the room. Melissa turned her attention back towards me. Interlocking my hands together, I propped my chin up. With a solemn expression on my face, I pretended to look troubled. I see, I understand, let me think. Inwardly I smiled. I was prepared for this from the very start. There was no way such a big guild wouldn't try to negotiate for more favorable terms. The more profit the better. That's how big guilds operated. Brushing my hair to the side, I thought, I guess it's time for the negotiations to start. After a minute of silence, I turned my attention back to Edward Stern. Very well, let's listen to what your terms are. Chapter 211. 5th floor, Demon Hunter Guild. Inside an office space. Tap, tap. The rhythmical tapping sound of my fingers echoed across the office space. Opposite to me was Edward Stern's holographic image. Neither one of us spoke. What you proposed is 15% on all profits with no shares, am I correct? He was the first to break the silence. That is my initial proposal. I nodded my head in confirmation. Isn't that a bit too low? I believe 15% is extremely fair, given that we are just borrowing your name for protection. Throughout the exchange, neither mine nor Edward's expression changed. To be a good negotiator, one needed to be a good actor. That was what I had learned throughout my life. If the other party knew about what you were aiming for, things became much easier for them. Only through deception and indifference could one make a great negotiator. That is true, but we would also be the ones facing the backlash from this situation. Edward Stern calmly rebutted. What might you be referring to? Hearing his response, my brows knit for a split second. I then proceeded to feign ignorance. The slight twitch in my brows did not go unnoticed. Edward caught that. Whether he thought I was acting or not, I did not know. Let's not play dumb. We can all tell the potential of this magic card system of yours. However, despite its perks, it also comes with its downsides. Like for example making an enemy of all lower-tiered mages. Wouldn't the money you make up for the hate you accumulate? I quickly rebutted. With enough money, what did it matter if the lower-ranked mages left? They could easily replace them. We are a guild. We can't just screw over our own members like that. Plus, we also need to talk long-term. What if a competitor pops up on the market? Or what if the cards do not function as well as you presented them to be? Edward Stern shook his head at my response. With no emotions on my face, I calmly nodded my head. Yes, but I have also offered a discount just for your guild members on all magic cards. Even if you are hated by the lower-tiered mages, you would make up for it with the cheaper prices for the cards. What is the discount? Selling at market price? In a pinching motion, a small gap appeared between my thumb and index finger, just a tad bit above market price. You know that is already fair. Given the high demand coming from you guys, if we go market price we might make a loss since you would be taking most of the production. Edward Stern shook his head. That is not good enough. Raise the profit to 17% and we have got a deal. 17%. I instantly shook my head. No, that is too much. I believe it is fair given all the backlash we will receive from this deal. Adjusting the hologram angle, Edward Stern proceeded to explain. Despite being ranked number 1 amongst the other guilds, if we suddenly come up with such a revolutionary product, the other diamond-graded guilds will not hesitate to band together to stop us. You of all people should know how the world works. Everyone is full of jealousy. Once we cement ourselves as the number 1 guild, I do not doubt that the other diamond-graded guilds would sit still and do nothing. Hearing Edward's analysis, a troubled look appeared on my face. Glancing at Edward Stern for a short moment, I massaged my forehead. I understand your troubles, but the highest I can do is 16%. Edward Stern frowned in response. This was merely acting though. In reality, he was already fine with 15%. He originally wanted to test the waters to see if he could increase the profit. It looks like he succeeded. He is still a little bit wet in the ears. Not that it was bad. He was 16 after all. 16%? Is that all? I shook my head. No, there is another condition. Another condition? What is it? Edward Stern this time frowned for real. Another condition? I want you to protect a couple of people. After a short pause, I went straight to the point. Protect? Yes, I want you to use your guild resources to protect my parents. 24/7, at all times. With the best possible security available. I made sure to emphasize the words best possible security available. Couldn't be having useless bodyguards protecting my parents. That aside, this was my main objective in this negotiation. From the very beginning, I was prepared to concede 1% for this. Despite Angelica being with my parents at the moment, she could not stay with them all the time. I needed her. With Everblood and Matthew still at large, I knew that my parents were not safe. Even worse, now that the monolith was also targeting me, I knew that my parents were walking on thin ice. This deal was crucial, and I knew it. So you want the guild to protect your parents? Yes. Hearing my blunt reply, on the hologram opposite to me, Edward Stern suddenly smiled. He instantly understood everything. So he purposely baited me, not bad. To think that he purposely enticed him to ask for more profit. It seems like the flow of the conversation was not on his side. Not bad at all. In fact, he was impressed. 16% plus protection? That can be done. I smiled. Then we have got a deal. Well, that worked out somehow. 10 minutes after coming to an agreement on the terms of the deal, Melissa and I got out of the office. Can't believe you pulled it off. I guess you are not as useless as you seem. She murmured in a soft voice. She was legitimately surprised. She did not know that I was quite talented at negotiating. That is because I was never useless, to begin with, I softly muttered. I did not say it too loud as I was not really too keen on arguing with her. Fortunately for me, she did not hear. Ding. Stopping at the elevator, I pressed the button that led to the first floor. Suddenly, a thought struck me. I quickly turned to Melissa. By the way, how long do you estimate you would finish the product by? Melissa mused a little bit as she stared at me. If nothing goes wrong by the end of the second year. If there are complications, I would say beginning or end of the third year. I see. This seemed to be within my estimation. Given her current rate of improvement, I would say I would still have to wait around a year or two before the card would officially be commercially usable for the market. As long as she could solve the efficiency loss problem, the rest was a breeze. Unfortunately for her, I did not know this, hence why she was on her own. Fortunately, thanks to today's deal, Melissa was able to procure enough funds to push the project forward. It was sort of a bonus that she got to increase the pace of the development of the product. Ding. Exiting the elevator, Melissa and I quickly got out of the building. Waiting for us outside was the same limousine as before. We quickly got on it and headed back to the academy. Like that, the negotiations came to an end. Demon Hunter Guild, top floor, Guild Master office. Amanda sat on her father's office chair. Before her stood her father's holographic image. You sure have some peculiar classmates. In response to her father's words, Amanda nodded her head slightly. He was not wrong. Are you not going to say goodbye to them? No. She shook her head. She would meet them tomorrow. There was no point. That is fair. I am sorry I cannot be there with you again. After Amanda's reply, for a brief moment, there was an awkward silence between the two. In response, Edward Stern quickly changed the topic. You know, with a new S-ranked dungeon appearing in one of our areas, we have no choice but to keep guard of it. It is okay, I understand. I am used to it. A bitter smile appeared on Edward's face as he heard his daughter's response. If only I had more time. Good daughter. I will sort out the situation by the end of the month. When I come, let us have some father-daughter bonding time, okay? Great, that is great. Ha, the gate is showing signs of opening. Amanda, baby, Daddy has to leave. I will contact you soon. Yes, I am coming, love you. Love. Clink. Before she could reply, her father hung up. Silence descended the office space. Neatly putting her phone to the side, Amanda slumped on her chair and blankly stared at the ceiling. How many days was it that she had last seen her father? 50? 100? 200? A year? No matter how much Amanda thought about it, she did not know. She had already lost count. Undisclosed location, far from Ashton City. Wah, wah, wah. Waves of magic energy spread across a flat field. Not minding the pressure one bit, standing not so far from the enormous gate that seemed to be the size of a large house, was Edward Stern, Guild Master of the Demon Hunter Guild. Holding onto his phone carefully, he spoke in a soft tone. When I come back, let us have some father-daughter bonding time, okay? Sir, there seem to be fluctuations coming from the gate. It is spiking up repeatedly. Mid-call, an urgent voice called for him in the distance. Great, that is great. Ha, the fluctuations coming from the gate are spiking up repeatedly. Edward quickly put his hand on the speaker of the phone. He did not want to worry his daughter. Turning around, he looked at the worker who had just spoken. What is the situation now? With a tablet in his hand, the worker's pupils dilated. Yes, sir. The measurement seems to be rising again. Oh my God, it is getting worse. Sensing the urgency of the matter, Edward Stern knew that he had to step in. Removing his hand from the phone, he bid Amanda farewell. Amanda, baby, Daddy has to leave. I will contact you soon. Sir, it has risen once again. This time more than double. Once again the worker spoke. This time his whole body was shaking. Wah, wah. The magical energy that was being emitted from the portal quickly spread within the vicinity. Yes, I am coming. Sensing the changes within the environment, Edward Stern knew that he had to act fast. If the energy of the gate became too high, then the environment around them would become impossible to live in. The magical energy alone in the area would be too strong for anyone to live in, and the area would soon be turned into a no-man's land. Love you. Clink. Left with no choice, Edward had to cut the conversation with his daughter quickly. He quickly hung up. Show me the data now. Without wasting any seconds, he quickly appeared before the worker, who was startled by his sudden appearance. Shit, this is a lot worse than expected. Staring at the data on the tablet, Edward knew that he had to act fast. He quickly put on his suit and moved to the entrance of the dungeon. He was going to dive in. Chapter 212. Bang. A pained groan escaped from my lips as I crashed against the side of the wall. I opened my eyes with some difficulty. My entire body ached. Not bad, you lasted one more minute compared to last time. On the other side of the room, Donna tied up her hair. Staring at me, she smacked her lips. It was a habit of hers that came out whenever she was satisfied. Miss, what do you suggest is the best way I can improve my strength faster? Recovering a little, I sat up and spoke up. After the fight with the bot back at the banquet, I had come to a powerful realization. I was weak. Purely based on my fighting strength alone, I was far from where I should be. I urgently needed to improve the mastery of my arts. They were the foundation of my strength. Unfortunately, I did not have a lot of time. With everything that I needed to do, I couldn't focus as much on training as I used to. From handling the mercenary group stuff, the company, studying for classes, and the many other things, I couldn't train as hard as before. I needed to increase my efficiency. I needed to find a way to train faster. Unaware of my circumstances, Donna thought for a moment before speaking up. Train faster. You're already improving much faster than other people at the moment. Why do you want to improve faster? If you want to increase your rank, take a potion or an earthly treasure. Donna paused and shook her head. Walking over to the side of the room, Donna took a white towel and sat down. However, I suggest against doing so. For one, it's really expensive, and two, it can only be used on rare occasions. There's a chance you might get a backlash, or it could even stunt your talent limit. If too many potions and natural treasures were consumed, there was a chance that they could permanently damage someone's body beyond repair. If such a situation happened, then there was no longer a chance for them to become stronger. That was why most people didn't just stuff themselves with potions and earthly treasures. It did more harm than good. If you're looking at it purely from a skill perspective, then the answer is easy. Just go to the time regressor machine and hone your skills there. It's the perfect place to practice your skills. Ah, that. My mouth twitched. I almost forgot about this. With me being so busy, and those bastards monopolizing the place, I still did not have a chance to use that place. Had I been able to use that place, then perhaps I would have been stronger than now. You better get going. Classes will start in half an hour. Checking her watch, Donna spoke up. It was already 9:30 a.m., and classes were about to start soon. In response, I stood up and patted my clothes. Fair enough. Oh right, before you go, I've got some good news for you. Suddenly, Donna recalled something. Tapping on her watch, she scrolled through a couple of files. After a few scrolls, she stopped at a specific file. Good news. My interest instantly piqued. Who didn't like good news? Congratulations. Congratulations, for what? I was instantly confused. Did I win something? I don't recall ever doing something that warranted an award. Noticing my confusion, Donna shook her head and explained. You have been accepted to the Leviathan building. You can move in by as soon as next week. Leviathan building, next week. I was instantly taken aback. Though I did expect this to happen, I didn't expect for me to move in so fast. Somehow you don't seem as enthusiastic as I thought. At my response, Donna raised her brow. Normally, when someone was given the opportunity to enter the Leviathan building, they would be jumping up and down with joy. Yet here I was completely unfazed by the news. No, don't get me wrong, I am indeed really happy. I raised my hands in defeat. I wasn't lying when I said I was happy. Problem was that I had a lot of unfinished things back in the Manticore building. Furthermore, despite its flaws, it really was a nice place, especially since Leo and Pram were there. The more I thought about it, the more melancholic I became. Was that sarcasm? You know that you have every right to refuse to move, right? No, I'll go. I helplessly shook my head. I would be stupid to refuse such a place, especially since the equipment there was far more advanced. Stumbling a couple of steps, I made my way towards the exit of the training grounds. Looks like I'll have to hasten my plans. I guess I needed to push up my plans to clear up the Manticore building soon. Before I could start that, I had to wait for Angelica to be back on my side. Since the deal with the Demon Hunter Guild was finalized, I no longer had to worry about my parents as much. Angelica could now return and join me once again. I needed her for the next part of my plans. She was crucial. See you, miss. Waving Donna goodbye and dragging my tired body away, I inwardly muttered, looks like I have to start doing some revision. Inside of a large office space decorated in gold with fine paintings all over the beige walls, in front of a large desk, sat a man. Though he did not look any older than 40, the man's hair had a mixture of black and white hair. On his face was a black goatee that reached halfway through his neck. Despite his looks, an air of elegance and authority exuded from him. Clink. Suddenly, the man tapped on his phone and dialed a number. Tut. Not long after, someone picked up. The man instantly greeted him. His voice carried a hint of respect. It's been a while, Michael. Have you been doing well? Jasper Rochfide. Why have you contacted me? After a short pause, an imposing and authoritative voice rang out from the speaker of the phone. In response, a faint smile appeared on Jasper's lips. Stop playing dumb. I know a man of your caliber knows exactly why I contacted you. So you want my aid? There was a brief pause that stemmed from Jasper's voice. Not long after, the man named Michael once again responded. Jasper smiled at the response. An enemy of my enemy is my friend. Isn't that what they all say these days? What do you propose? Got him. Jasper clenched his fists underneath the table. He knew that he had caught Michael Parker's interest. Without skipping a beat, he went straight to the point. Let's form a partnership. A partnership? Yes, help me get rid of my niece. Oh, so you want me to do your dirty work? Jasper rubbed his chin and pondered. His lips curled up even more. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to word it, but yes. That's precisely it. Jasper's goal was to get rid of Emma. Despite being the current head, he had no real power. Only his brother had that authority. Jasper hated that. He also carried the Rochfield family blood. What made them so different? Jasper secretly clenched his fists beneath the desk, as he thought, it doesn't matter anymore. With his brother missing, Jasper knew that he had a chance to turn the tables in his favor. He had to deal his brother a blow now that the opportunity presented itself. This was why he called Michael Parker his brother's enemy. If I agree to this deal, what do I stand to gain from this? Throughout the whole conversation, Michael Parker's voice remained stoic. However, despite it being that way, there was no denying that he was interested. Jasper could feel it. Thus, he explained, you'll obviously get a chance to deal a big impact on my big brother. I thought you hated him, didn't you? Plus, you'll be directly removing a thorn known as my niece from your sight. Given how talented she is. Suddenly Jasper's eyes became cold. If she's allowed to grow any further, we both know how things will turn out for the both of us, right? With me aiding you from the inside, handling her shouldn't pose a problem for you. I see. What about you? What do you stand to gain from this deal? The phone became silent for a couple of minutes before Michael Parker once again spoke. Me. Jasper smiled. My son's future. Despite the Lock being the #1 academy in the human domain, they did not have access to a lot of dungeons, as most of them were under different guilds' jurisdiction. Fortunately, the Lock could make up for it with its expansive connection. With many students graduating each year, they had many various connections that spanned all over the human domain. At the moment, over 1,000 students stood outside an enormous gate. In front of it were multiple men and women dressed in black with all sorts of devices in front of them. How is the energy level? Everything seems in check. Are the preparations done? With the men and women in black busily talking amongst each other, an instructor wearing a Lock uniform stood before us. With his sharp eyes that were faintly hidden beneath a pair of sunglasses, the instructor looked at every student present before him. Courtesy of Liamen Guild, today, you'll all be entering the dungeon in teams, he said as he took off his sunglasses. The teams will be selected at random, and once you enter the dungeon you will be directly spawned into the environment with your team. You will all be on the same map at the same time and, listening to the instructor, I nodded my head. Today we were going to have a real dungeon experience. Students would form a team of 6 and experience a real dungeon for the first time in their life. Not the school dungeon, but a real functioning dungeon. With the connections the Lock had, it wasn't hard for them to rent out a dungeon from the Liamen Guild. A small gold-graded guild. Alright, I'll send you the team list now. 10 minutes in, the instructor finished talking. Taking out his tablet, the instructor tapped on the screen. Instantly the sound of smartwatches vibrating echoed across the area. Ding, ding, ding. Turning my wrist, I pressed on the foremost notification. Team 4, Amanda Stern, Emma Rochefield, Eleanor Gray. Team 7, Erin Leinful, John Burson, Ren Dover. Team 15, Kevin Voss, Melissa Hall. Team 23, Jin Horton, Aaron Rhinestone. Ha, give me a break. Checking my team list, I covered my face with my hand. To think that I would be in the same group as 2 new exchange students. Suddenly, skimming through the list, one of the teams caught my interest. Ha, Jin is with Aaron. I caressed my chin. Right, there was something like this back in my novel. I almost forgot. This was the event that would lead to Aaron proving a statement. In this event, Aaron would cement himself as the main antagonist of the tournament arc by humiliating Jin. Wasn't sure now though. Turning my head, I looked in their direction. Aaron had a provoking look on his face as he looked at Jin in the distance. On the other hand, Jin just stood motionlessly. He seemed completely unfazed by the provocation. In fact, I don't even think he knew who his teammates were. He sure changed a lot. Had it been the old Jin, he would have immediately checked the watch and tried to establish his dominance. This time, he treated Aaron like air. This obviously didn't sit well with him as his face soon became dark. Looking at the duo, my interest peaked. I wonder what will happen between the two now. Chapter 213. Upon entering the dungeon, each respective team would be summoned to different areas of it. The goal of this trial was to accumulate as many points as possible. Status: G grade, 1 point. F grade, 2 points. E grade, 3 points. D grade, 4 points. Boss monster, 1,000 points. This dungeon only had one boss monster. As such, once it was slain, that was it. The team with the most points at the end would win, and the reward for the best teams was extra credits for their courses. Naturally, there were also additional rewards, but those were not disclosed. They were a surprise. The moment our teams were announced, I grouped up with the other members of our team. Since Erin and I had already met beforehand, there was no need for us to introduce ourselves. We just simply nodded at each other. Nice to see you again. You too. Haha. Nice to meet you. Suddenly a bulky figure approached us with a hearty laugh. It was John Burson, our other teammate, and another person I had to look out for. He had a generic Western look with brown eyes and a tall nose. Despite knowing that he was tall, I only truly realized how tall he was once he was only a few meters away from me. I had to tilt my head upwards in order to look at him properly. You must be Erin. It is great meeting you. I have heard a lot about you. Ah, yes, nice to meet you. Spotting Erin, John held out his hand in a friendly manner. She nodded her head expressionlessly. Watching the exchange, I wondered if Erin would shake someone's hand in her first meeting. From my impression of her, she seemed to be rather cold and distant, so I wanted to know. My answer was soon answered as she shook it. You must be the famous John Burson. Haha. In the flesh. Being recognized, John once again heartily laughed. I have already met with our other teammates. They are Asim, Melody, and Du-Yoon. Letting go of her hand, John calmed down. He then turned around and introduced her to the other teammates which he seemed to have met along the way. Asim here is A. As John was introducing the other teammates to Erin, standing by the side, I could not help but realize how much of an extrovert John was. Only a minute had passed since the team announcements, and it seemed as though he was on friendly terms with everyone. He seemed to get along well with everyone he talked to, or so I thought. Hello. I am also here. It was only after a minute that I realized that I was being completely ignored. To make matters worse, I was not an unknown extra like before. My name was pretty much all over the news. There was no way John did not hear about me. If before I could have understood, but now, it had to be on purpose. Did I perhaps offend him somehow? Recalling my previous exchanges with John, I discarded such a notion. I did not interact with him once. He also lived in a different city. How could I have offended him? Then a thought suddenly struck me. Perhaps he was too excited with the prospect of meeting Erin that he completely forgot about me. Right, this seemed plausible at the moment. Now that I took a closer look at Erin, she was in fact quite beautiful. One could argue that her looks could rival that of Amanda and the others. If it is that way, it sort of made sense. John was essentially trying to establish his alpha position by ignoring me. Since he knew about my fame, he must have done this on purpose to make himself look like the most reliable person here. Just the thought made me cringe. Hello, I am Ren. Nice to meet you. Holding back the cringe, I extended my hand and introduced myself. I was not that immature. Hello, I am John. John shook my hand unenthusiastically. Right after shaking my hand, he continued chatting with Erin. His eyes were full of affection. So as I was saying, I believe that we should. Being blatantly ignored, I found my mouth slightly twitching. But that was just about it. In fact, a trace of pity flashed across my eyes as I stared at him trying to talk to Erin. He may not know, but I knew. Such a pity, truly. I secretly shook my head. Unfortunately for him, Erin was created by me. I naturally knew a lot about her. She is a bro-con. A pretty big one at that. He had no hopes of courting her. After a brief chat with the team regarding the overall plans and approach of the dungeon, we quickly entered the dungeon. Right before entering the dungeon, the other three teammates, Asim, Melody, and Duyun, did a quick introduction. Hi, I am Asim and I am a martial artist. Hello, I am Melody and I am a spear user. Nice to meet you. I am Duyun and I am a swordsman. Hi, I am Ren and I am a swordsman. I naturally introduced myself as well. Despite my fame, no one actually knew how I fought. There were rarely any videos of me properly fighting with a sword. Thus I did a quick introduction of myself. After we introduced ourselves and got a general idea of the others' weapons and strength, we quickly got into formation. The current formation was John at the front, Erin in the middle, and me at the back. By the side were the other three teammates. Like that we entered the dungeon. After walking for a while, John's footsteps halted. A massive barren field appeared before us. What should we do now? John spoke up. He subconsciously acted as the leader. No one protested. I could not be bothered to protest myself as I would stand to gain nothing from it. What was the point? What else is there to do aside from killing monsters? Turning my head, I responded. To which he rebuked. Yeah, but where are the monsters? He had a point. There were no monsters before us. All that I saw was a barren land with nothing within sight. Just when we thought that there were no monsters, Melody stepped up. I may be able to help. You? Yes, I have got special skills that allow me to detect any living form within a given radius. Melody calmly nodded her head. An air of confidence rose from her body. John was naturally elated by the news. Really? Okay, try it. Will do. Right after her words fell, her blonde hair stood up slightly, and her eyes shone a blue hue. Shua. Instantly I felt a gush of wind brush past me. Strange. A minute after, a frown appeared on Melody's brows. Pointing towards the distance, Melody's voice became grave. There are 15 monsters within our vicinity. What? 15? I cannot see them. John exclaimed, to which Melody politely responded. That is because they are currently hiding, waiting for us to ambush them. Out of curiosity, I interrupted and asked, what type of monsters are they? I am sorry, but my skill only allows me to locate the general direction of monsters nearby. I cannot really tell what type of monster they are. That is fair. In response to my question, Melody shook her head. I nodded back in understanding. If she could, the skill would be quite broken. It would without a doubt be a skill that I would covet. Would make my life a lot easier. Too bad I do not recall ever giving Kevin one. So what do we do now? Hearing about a large number of monsters within the vicinity, everyone grew weary and took out their weapons. Throughout the whole time, the only one that remained calm was Erin, who responded. I suggest we hunt the nearest monster together. Once we get the general idea of what monster is present, we can split up and work individually to gain points. If the monster is too strong for all of us to handle individually, then we should work together. If not, we can split up. Since the one who spoke was Erin, John naturally agreed. Turning around, he asked. That sounds fair. Let us go with this idea. Is that okay with you all? Yes, yes, yes. Everyone nodded in agreement. I naturally did not disagree. This plan was reasonable. Great. Seeing this, John's confidence rose. All right, then let us do it this way. Following this, we all steadily and cautiously moved towards one of the boulders in the distance. According to Melody's skill, there should be a monster near there. Halting his steps, John took a deep breath. Following this, his body shone, and a large translucent shield appeared before him. Turning around and looking at everyone, he solemnly said, "Let us go." In a different area of the dungeon, Kwang. A large explosion rang across the desolate space, and a large creature fell on the ground. Standing on top of the corpse was an arrogant young man. With the air slightly blowing on his features, he looked quite handsome and dashing. Beneath him were 5 people. Ping. Moments after the young man killed the monster, everyone's watch vibrated. Points awarded. 3. Checking his watch, Aaron turned around and looked at his group, more specifically towards a certain someone within the group. He tried to provoke him. At this point, I am practically doing everything. Help this one out, okay? We do not need baggage in our team. Despite Aaron's provocations, all Jin did was spare him a glance. Just one glance. He did nothing else. Occasionally he would appear behind a monster and quickly finish it. But in general, that was all he did. This obviously did not sit well with Aaron. Was he not supposed to be someone whose talent rivals that of Kevin? What happened to him? From what he read from his information, Jin was extremely talented and arrogant. He was someone who could compete with the likes of Kevin. His main target, he wanted to use this opportunity to bury Jin in hopes of provoking Kevin, but things did not seem as he had originally envisioned. From the very beginning, his target had not once acknowledged his existence. This angered Aaron to no end. Pointing at him, he raised his voice. Hey, cannot you at least help, or do something like that? Shush. Placing his finger on his mouth, Jin looked towards the distance. Before giving Aaron another chance to speak, Jin coldly said, "The boss monster is near here, in a different section of the dungeon." Bam. Spurt. Key. Ha. That is the 15th. Blue blood sprayed everywhere, and a large thud resounded across the area. Standing next to the corpse was Kevin's cold and indifferent figure. Ping. Moments after killing the monster, Kevin's watch vibrated. Used to such a thing, he did not even bother checking it as he turned to face another monster in the distance. Putting his hand on his face, he squinted his eyes and softly mumbled, "I see the next one. Looks like another F-ranked monster." Spurt. Extracting the sword from the corpse of the monster beneath him, Kevin prepared to attack the other monster. However, wow, Kevin, you are so great. With eyes full of affection and adoration, a girl suddenly attached herself to him. A helpless expression appeared on Kevin's face as he tried to shake her off, only to be completely ignored. "Please let go of me." That monster was so ugly and scary that I did not know what to do. Despite Kevin's attempts at shaking the girl off, they were all in vain. Regardless of what he did, she would come to him even more strongly. "Your figure whilst fighting the monster was so dashing that I was entranced by it completely. God, how can you be so strong and handsome at the same time?" The girl's name was Jessica Pavard, and ever since spotting Kevin within the group, she never once let go of him. Whenever Kevin killed a monster, she would shout and cheer him continuously. It was as though she was looking at her favorite idol. What the fuck is going on? Standing by the side, Melissa's mouth twitched. What was this crap? Whatever Kevin did, Jessica would quickly go over to him and praise him endlessly. Be it breathing, brushing his hair, or just anything of the sort, Jessica would immediately attach herself to him like a deranged fan. Staring at Jessica in the distance, Melissa took off her glasses and massaged her forehead. She hated to admit it, but this girl was more annoying than Ren, something Melissa had never thought was humanly possible. Ren, you have found an opponent. Chapter 214. If I'm not wrong, those are black-shelled scorpions, John pointed out as he looked into the distance. I nodded my head. They indeed seemed to be black-shelled scorpions. Black-shelled scorpions were E-ranked monsters. They were named as such because of the black shell that coated their outer layer. They were generally the size of an adult's thigh, and they were renowned for their powerful stingers that had a strong paralyzing effect. How many points was that again? Should be about 3 per kill. Standing by the side, Asim responded. Nodding his head, John looked at Melody, who was next to Erin. How many monsters within the vicinity? Closing her eyes, using her skill, Melody calmly responded. I only feel 12 entities in front of us. So, they should all be black-shelled scorpions. Great, then that means we can secure 36 points. Yup. So how should we go about this? The black-shelled scorpions' method of attack was quite simple. Incapacitate the prey with their stinger, and then kill them with their sharp claws. What made them especially troublesome was their tough outer layer that was hard to crack. In short, within a short period of time, they couldn't be killed easily. Fortunately, we had John with us. He was a great meat shield. As long as he tanked, given enough time, we could easily crack the outer layer. And John knew this. I'll do the tanking, you guys get rid of them. He then patted his chest. I can more or less resist poisons. Having trained for all sorts of situations like this, John was indeed immune to most poisons. Unless they were extremely strong ones, he could continue defending without needing to worry about getting poisoned. I see. As long as we keep the scorpions in check, we shouldn't be able to face any problems. Erin nodded in agreement. She also believed this was the best strategy. No, this strategy won't work. After subtly touching my chin, I shook my head. We 6 were definitely enough to kill a black-shelled scorpion. But what worried me was the fact that there wasn't just one scorpion. Can I say something? What? After a bit of thought, I decided to voice out my concern. Instantly everyone's attention was gathered towards me. Frankly speaking, if we follow this strategy, we are going to die. With a solemn face, I broke the news. Though we wouldn't die literally since the academy professors were hiding in the distance, we'd fail the class. Simply put, this strategy was not going to work. Ha, do you even pay attention in class? If you properly paid attention, you'd know that this is the best possible strategy. Hearing what I had to say, Erin and Melody aside, everyone's faces became dark. What are you talking about? If you want to say something, at least say something useful. No, I get that, but haven't you guys noticed? Noticed what? I shook my head and pointed in the distance, towards where the scorpions were located. I then elaborated that the scorpions aren't too far from each other. Once we create enough of a commotion, when attacking one scorpion, we'll attract the other scorpions, and our situation will turn into a 6 versus 12. Not that I doubt any of your abilities, but we can't handle 12 ranked monsters at the same time. Silence fell. Everyone's previous thoughts of fighting the scorpion disappeared. The ones who were trying to argue with me before didn't even look me in the eyes. Then what do you suggest? The first to break the silence was Erin, to which I calmly responded. Actually, we can still follow the previous plan, but we'd need to target each scorpion individually. In short, we need to lure them to us instead of us going to them. With John tanking at the front and the others supporting, killing a scorpion was easy. As long as they weren't grouped together, this was going to be a breeze for us. But who's gonna bait them? Falling into thought, Erin lifted her head. Actually, I can do that. Placing my hand on the sheath of my sword, I raised my hand. In terms of crowd controlling and baiting, there was no better sword art than Ring of Vindication, which I still, unfortunately, have not managed to increase to the greater realm of mastery. I was missing the crucial step which I did not know the answer to. I did try asking Donna, but she told me she couldn't help me with regards to this matter, as it did not involve sins. She did however tell me that she knew someone who could help me. That was about a week ago. In the end, I was still unable to break through, but that was fine, since my current level was good enough for now. You can do that? Yes, I can. Okay, then let's go with that. Erin came to a decision. Standing by the side, John's eyes narrowed slightly before he nodded his head too. Following John, everyone else also agreed. I'm okay with that too. Nothing to complain. Bunch of asslickers. I instantly rolled my eyes. Despite my current fame, I was still not as famous as Erin and John, who had been there for a long time. It was only natural that they paid more attention to their words. Ha. Alright, let's start. Swoosh. I took out my sword and drew 3 circles in the air. Instantly, 3 translucent rings appeared before me. Noticing the rings, the others started discussing. What's that? Is that a skill, or you sword art? It's obviously a sword art. Amongst the ones discussing, Erin and John weren't part of them. Their attention was directed towards the rings. With me being one of the people who they had to look out for, they naturally had to pay extra attention. Noticing their solemn expression from the corner of my eyes, my lips tugged upwards. If only they knew that this was just merely a fraction of what I could do. Hap. Moving my finger upwards, the rings shot towards the scorpion in the distance. Watching my rings fly towards the nearest scorpion, I turned my head. Does anyone have a long-range attacking method? I do. The one to step up was Erin. Unsheathing her rapier, she asked, what do you need me to do? Nothing much, I just want you to startle the scorpion. Very well. Erin took a stance. Hew. Pulling her rapier backward, Erin exhaled slightly. Her platinum blonde hair fluttered slightly, and her rapier became dyed in green. She then thrust it forward. Hi-ay. Weeing. Like a lightsaber, the rapier became dyed completely in green. Following her shout, a beam of light shot towards the scorpion in the distance. In a matter of seconds, it arrived before the scorpion and directly hit it in its outer shell. A muffled explosion rang, and the scorpion's enraged roar resounded across the plain. Scree. This naturally startled the other scorpions in the vicinity, but after not spotting anything nearby, they proceeded to ignore the rampaging scorpion. Ha. Ha. Was that good enough? Sure. Turning my head to the side, I nodded my head. Inwardly I was shaking my head. At the moment Erin's complexion was pale and her breathing was rugged. She looked exhausted. Do you think you can fool me? I obviously could tell that she was acting. Despite her ragged breathing and slightly pale face, she didn't actually use that much energy in that last attack. She just wanted to make herself look weaker. Mind games. Erin, are you okay? Are you exhausted? Let me do the rest. It's okay, I'm fine. Spotting the exhausted Erin, John naturally tried to comfort her. To that, Erin put on a brave face and reassured him she was fine. My mouth twitched at their display. Seriously? Swoosh. Moving my finger, I proceeded to ignore them and directly moved my rings around the scorpion. Scree. Spotting the rings, the scorpion became even more enraged. Swinging its claws and tails, it tried to attack the rings. Not that I'll let you. Moving my finger upwards, I'd command the rings to dodge the attacks quickly. Only when the scorpion was running in the opposite direction that I wanted it to go would I actually not avoid the scorpion, resulting in it directly hitting my ring. Scree. As soon as the scorpion hit the ring instantly broke. But it achieved its purpose as the scorpion quickly turned towards the opposite direction. Every time a ring broke, drawing a circle in the air, I replaced it. This repeated 3 times until the scorpion was finally within 10 meters of where we were hiding. Turning my head to the side, I whispered, ready? Yes. Nodding their heads, everyone took a battle position. We had dragged the scorpion far enough from the other one, so we no longer needed to worry about creating a commotion. Go. The first one to move was John. With a massive translucent shield before him, he jumped up and tackled the scorpion. Yup. Scree. Caught off guard and colliding with the scorpion, John managed to push it back a couple of meters. Support me. With the attention of the scorpion on him, John took a knee and shouted. Everyone moved. Tackle its weak points, the joints. Like a streak of light, Erin dashed before the scorpion and stabbed towards one of its joints. Asim and the others followed her example and tacked the joints. Scree. Coordinating with one another, Everyone moved around the scorpion and tackled its joints. The scorpion shrieked in pain and became enraged. Its pincers and claws widely attacked everything in its vicinity. The battle strategy was simple. John aggroed the scorpion, whilst the others attacked its joints to hinder its movements. Wasn't the fastest method, but it was the most efficient one. Swoosh. Clank. Thanks. No prob, I've got you. Leisurely standing by the side, I naturally just used my rings to support them. Whenever they were in trouble, I'd aid them. That was just about all I did. Such carefree life, I love it. Helping by the side like an orchestra conductor. I really liked this life. Ha. Thud. Finally, after 2 minutes of arduous fighting, the scorpion fell on the ground with a large thud. Erin was the one who took the last hit. Phew, that was a tougher opponent than I thought. Keep with the great acting. Watching from the side, I clicked my tongue. The monster was only E-ranked. Erin and John alone could have taken care of it. The only reason it took 2 minutes was that everyone held back. I did too, so I couldn't really complain. Ping. Points awarded. 3. Everyone's watches vibrated, and a notification appeared. Briefly glancing at his watch, John clapped his hands. All right, I guess we have to do this 11 more times. 3 hours passed since then. Thud. With a large thud, a monster fell onto the ground, and Erin calmly extracted her rapier from the body of the monster. By her side, John approached her. How many does that make? I can't remember. Is that so? That was great. Let's go to the next monster. At the rate we are going, we might get the first place. Let's do that. Sheathing her rapier, Erin calmly nodded her head and headed in the direction of the next monster. Next to her were her teammates. Erin, you were so amazing. As expected of you. John too, although I knew you were strong, I thought it was an exaggeration. Right after every fight, everyone would start complimenting her and John. The two biggest contributors. Erin kept an indifferent face throughout the whole time. She was used to such behavior. The only one that stood out to her was the last youth in the group. Standing leisurely with his hands on his head, a youth with blue eyes walked towards the scorpion corpse. Rendover was it? Despite having seen him on the news, she didn't know too much about it. She did see him during the fight a couple of days ago, but that was just about all she could recall about him. It was a shocking fight that only made him more mysterious in the eyes of others. Was he strong or not? Apart from doing a couple of minor things with the rings, he did nothing shocking. The others did more. Nothing that would warrant his current fame. Should I just talk to him? Perhaps if she talked to him directly could figure something out. Right before entering, her brother told her to keep a close watch on John and Ren. This was partly why she didn't ignore John's annoying and blatant approaches. If not, she would have already dug her rapier into his skull. Yeah, I can't let my brother do all of the work. Just as Erin firmed herself to approach him, next to the scorpion, Ren's eyes lit up as he looked into the distance. It looks like the other teams are already fighting the boss monster. Chapter 215. Five-tusked mammoth. How can we defeat that? Kevin and his team looked down below them. An enormous elephant-looking creature, with 5 tusks extending from its mouth, leisurely walked across the area below them. Five-tusked mammoth, a D-ranked creature famous for its tremendous strength and tough outer layer. That is the boss monster, is it not? Standing beside Kevin, a tall individual spoke. He had brown eyes and black hair. His name was Ray and he came from Ludwig Academy. It is. Feeling the tremendous pressure coming from the monster, Kevin knew without a doubt that that was the boss monster. Can I defeat it by myself? Despite being D-ranked himself, Kevin was unsure. Simply put, the pressure exuding from the monster was terrifying. Thinking along those lines, he decided to stay put. Let's wait for the other teams to come. Other teams? Yeah, at the moment, even if we can try to defeat the monster, without a doubt the other teams will come and may try to steal the kill from us. If once they were close to defeating the monster the other teams came and stole their kill, Kevin would be pretty pissed. Look, another team is here. Suddenly, Ray pointed out as he looked towards the distance. Turning around, Kevin looked towards the direction of where Ray was pointing. That is Jin. Oh, and him. Kevin instantly spotted Jin standing in the middle of the group. Besides him, was Aaron. Immediately his eyes narrowed. He did not have a good impression of Aaron. From the small interaction he had with him, Kevin knew that he was targeting him. On the opposite side, sensing something, Aaron turned his head around. A smile emerged on his lips. Look who we have got here. Aaron's and Kevin's eyes interlocked. Sparks flew in the air. The tension between the two rose. Oh, I definitely remember writing this part. Whilst Kevin and Aaron were busy looking at each other, on the opposite side, a black-haired blue-eyed youth looked at them with an amused expression. Writing what part? What? The. Startling Ren, Aaron appeared next to him. Placing his hand on his chest, Ren waved his hand. Jesus, do not scare people like that. I am sorry, but what were you talking about before? Oh, nothing. I was just referring to the notes I had made on the 5-tusked mammoth. Oh, what have you got? Aaron instantly got curious. From what she figured out so far regarding Ren after interacting with him for a bit during the dungeon run, was that he had good knowledge of the monsters within the dungeon, like their weaknesses and behavioral patterns. I forgot. In response to Aaron's question, Ren shook his head. Aaron was left speechless as a result. What? It does not really matter anyway. Noticing her reaction, Ren rolled his eyes. We are aiming to steal kill from the others. No point in fighting it ourselves. Jumping off the rock he was on, Ren quietly moved closer to where the boss monster was. For now, all we really have to do is pretend to attack the monster like the others. Since our goal is killing it, we should naturally hold back once attacking. Arriving before a rather secluded area, Ren sat down and waited for his team to catch up. The reason why he wasn't attacking the five-tusked mammoth now was because it would prove to be a fruitless endeavor. He had to wait for the other teams to gather before deciding on his next move. Fortunately, not long after, more and more teams had started to gather. The more teams gathered, the more the tensions grew. Staring at the five-tusked mammoth below, everyone had a similar goal in mind: kill the boss monster and emerge as number one. An hour had passed since then, and a large explosion shook the surroundings. Boom. Baruafa. Keh. Ghh. Dust and debris flew everywhere as the five-tusked mammoth flew into a fit of rage. Wherever it went, students would be sent flying. Shwup. Fortunately, whenever a student was injured severely, an instructor would quickly appear and take them away. Such scenes appeared everywhere. Everyone was given a special artifact beforehand, so in case they received a blow that could threaten their life, it would activate and protect them. Unfortunately, whenever this happened, 50 points were deducted from the overall team score. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. On top of a large rock stood Amanda with her bow drawn. Whenever she pulled the string of her bow back, a blue translucent arrow would appear. Like that, she aimed for the mammoth below. Amanda was currently aiming for its eyes. That was its main weakness. Letting go of the string, the arrow disappeared. It soon reappeared in front of the mammoth, who quickly closed its eyes. Clank. A large sound reverberated across the plain, and Amanda's arrow disintegrated. Unbothered by this, Amanda once again drew her bow. Once again she released the arrow. Swoosh. Below her, Emma and Eleanor worked together with the other teams to deal as much damage as possible. Emma used her short swords whilst Eleanor stood at the back, casting different types of spells. Back me up. Like you would need my help. All sorts of colorful yet devastating spells flew towards the mammoth in the distance as Eleanor cast spells as if she was a machine gun. Occasionally Emma and Eleanor would bicker, but they worked well together as Emma stood at the front and Eleanor helped at the back. Shing. Next to them, Aaron and Kevin swiftly and deftly moved around the mammoth's lower area. Whenever their swords slashed, blood spilled. They were aiming for the joints and legs of the monster. Unfortunately, due to how tough the outer layer of the monster was, the best they could do was cause the monster to bleed. But that was enough. Baruafa. Slowly but surely the mammoth was slowing down. Its movements had started to become more and more predictable. Everyone could feel it. They were close to killing it. Huey. Hup. Seeing this, everyone stopped holding back. Different colored hues enveloped the surroundings as everyone attacked more fiercely. Emma's attack became more fierce. Kevin's attack became more powerful. Amanda's arrow became faster. Everyone was going in for the kill. Standing not far from them, a faint smile appeared on my lips. Go on, keep lowering its health. Do the heavy job and leave the light work for me. Since the very beginning, I had not moved. There was a reason for this. It is because I had a plan. My plan was quite simple. Just when everyone was about to deal their last blow, I would quickly send a ring in front of them to block their attacks. Though it will not completely block their attacks, it would be enough to delay them. I would then swoop in and take the kill. Just imaging the faces of everyone once they see this makes me chuckle. The smile on my face deepened. Just thinking of Kevin's face once he realized that I stole his kill. I could not wait. It is almost dead. Amanda, use your strongest move. Eleanor, help me. Looking at the five-tusked mammoth and sensing something, Emma suddenly shouted. Following her call, the mammoth roared towards the sky as one of its legs gave out. Baruafa. Nodding her head, a tremendous amount of power gathered towards Amanda. Looking at each other, Eleanor and Emma quickly separated from each other. Where do you think you are going? What are you doing, Emma? Stopping before Kevin, Emma smiled sweetly. 2 short words appeared in her hands. Sorry, but I unfortunately have to hold you back here. How about this? I will let you go once Amanda is done. You okay with that? Is this how you want to play? Kevin instantly got the gist of the situation. They were trying to hold him back. Emma's smile deepened as she did not deny it. You sure got that right. You give me no choice. Instantly, Kevin's pressure intensified manifolds as the red hue around him shrouded everything within a 10-meter radius. Let's see for how long you can hold me back. Boom. Not far from Kevin and Emma, a similar situation was unfolding as Eleanor stood before Erin and her brother Nicholas. Sorry guys, but I will have to hold you back. Oh, so you are resorting to this trick as well? Stepping up, Nicholas smiled. Looking towards Kevin in the distance, he pretty much got the gist of the situation as well. In response to Nicholas's question, Eleanor nodded her head. Unfortunately, yes. She had discussed this with Emma beforehand. Aside from Kevin and Erin, the most threatening of all the people were the Leanfall twins. She opted to go for the Leanfall twins. Erin was too hard to handle for the current her. I see, so you want to let your partner take the shot whilst you hold back all the possible competitors. What an interesting plan. That is exactly it. So give it your best shot at getting through me. Staring at the Leanfall twins before her, Eleanor's hands became engulfed in flames. In response, the Leanfall twins took out their weapons and stood back to back with each other. A tremendous white hue emanated from their body. Well shit. Feeling the pressure from the twins, Eleanor was starting to regret her decision. Fortunately, she only had to hold them back. Thus, increasing the intensity of the flames in her hands, she attacked. What a sight. Within a 100-meter radius of the mammoth, similar situations were unfolding. Everyone tried to hold back the strongest person of the other group, whilst they had one member go for the kill. Fortunately, I was not one of those people targeted. Guess everyone thought I was not as high of a priority. Was slightly offended, but since it worked in my favor, I guess it was fine. Looks like it is about time I moved. Unsheathing my sword, I prepared to enact my plan to kill the mammoth. I was going for the kill. However, right before I could move, a silver streak of light dashed towards the five-tusked mammoth. It was so fast that barely anyone could detect it. Wing. Following this, a small hole appeared on the five-tusked mammoth. Thud. With a large thud, the mammoth fell to the ground. Silence prevailed over the surroundings as everyone stood motionless and stopped whatever they were doing, be it Aaron, Emma, Kevin, Amanda, or anyone present. Everyone stopped whatever they were doing. Instantly, everyone's eyes were directed towards one individual. Ha! Standing on top of the monster was Jin's cold figure. With a dagger still in his hand, Jin wiped the blood off of his face. Turning his head slightly, Jin hopped off Mamutha's corpse. Ping! Within the silence, the only sound that echoed was the sound of his smartwatch vibrating. Jin did not even bother looking at it. Without saying a word, he left. He came as fast as he went. Ah, what? Watching Jin's figure leave, I stood rooted on my spot. Multiple thoughts crossed my mind. When did he get so strong? And did he just steal my kill? Chapter 216. 12 p.m. outside of the portal gates of the dungeon trials. Beep. And that marks the end of the trial. With a stopwatch in his hand, the instructor in charge of the dungeon trials announced the ending of the class. Following this, all of the students inside of the dungeon stopped whatever they were doing and exited the dungeon. Whoosh. Whoosh. It was only after 10 minutes had passed that everyone had finally exited the dungeon. Doing a head count, the instructor nodded his head and tapped on the tablet in his hands. Alright, that seems to be everyone. I will quickly post the team results online. Ping. Ping. Instantly everyone's watch vibrated. First place, Team 23. Second place, Team 15. Third place, Team 7. Third place. Ha. Having just exited the portal, I suddenly felt my watch vibrate. Turning my wrist, I stared at the leaderboards. I was instantly surprised by my group standings. Despite not having killed the boss monster, we had actually managed to secure third place. Not bad. You have got third place? That is pretty good. Arriving next to me, Kevin looked at the rankings on his watch. His team got second. Not as good as you. You have got second place. It does not really matter since second place does not really get anything. Kevin shrugged his shoulders. Only first-placed individuals got the extra points. Second place and below only had boasting rights. Not that it mattered, since he was not someone that liked to boast. You are right. By the way, when did Jin become so strong? Suddenly Kevin switched the topic. Recalling the moment when Jin beat the five-tusked mammoth, Kevin's face could not help but become serious. During that moment, Kevin was actually able to see Jin's last attack. Albeit only slightly, he knew that Jin right now was leagues above the Jin of the past. Jin. Yeah, I feel like Jin has become incredibly strong somehow. Pausing, Kevin stared at Jin in the distance. I too looked at him. At this moment, Jin was the center of attention. Having killed the boss monster right under everyone's eyes without the use of any trickery, he naturally gathered a lot of the people's attention. He is completely different from how he was supposed to be. Despite all of the attention he was getting, he remained indifferent. From being this arrogant young master to this cold and indifferent one, it was safe to say the Jin from the novel was no longer here. The Jin right now was much stronger than back in the novel. In fact, not just by a little. No, he was leagues above the Jin from the novel. I was not the only one who felt Jin's incredible growth. Kevin felt this, and so did Aaron, who was supposed to have humiliated him during this trial. Despite Jin not having accumulated as many points as Aaron in the beginning, by killing the five-tusked mammoth, he left Aaron in the dust by gaining 1,000 plus points. Staring at Aaron, whose face was incomparably dark, I knew that he no longer cared about Kevin anymore. He had switched target. His target was now Jin. He wanted to repay him back for today's humiliation. Once again, another change occurred. Enough about Jin. Wanna grab some dinner? Suddenly, I felt a slight tap on my shoulder. It was Kevin. After a bit of thought, I nodded my head. Yeah, I might as well. Where to? Let's go to the school canteen. Sounds good. Despite my surprise, I was not unhappy with this development. No, it was quite the opposite, in fact. The stronger Jin became, the brighter the future was. He was after all one of the people that was supposed to defeat the Demon King in the future. Taking one last glance at Jin in the distance as I headed to the canteen with Kevin, I smiled in relief. This is not too bad. In a way, this eased some of the burdens I had. 11 p.m. inside of a private training area. Hugh, sitting crossed-legged in the middle of a training room, was Jin's topless figure. Closing his eyes, he exhaled, and turbid air escaped from his mouth. Everyone has tasted defeat in their life. Your father, your grandfather, the current strongest person in the human domain. No one in this world is exempt from defeat. A calm yet firm voice echoed inside of Jin's mind. It was his father's voice. Countless great warriors face defeat. What matters is not how they lose, it is how they react to the loss. Will they accept the defeat and move on? Or will they look back to that moment until the end of their life? Will you truly let that one defeat dictate your future? Like a morning alarm, the words rang inside of Jin's mind continuously. It was as though his mind had been smashed by a hammer repeatedly. His mind became completely numb. Do not let yourself drown in needless thoughts. Grow up more. Get up and move, as you always did. Although we put a lot of hope in you, What does it matter to you about what others think? It is your life to live, not ours nor the others. Stop being pathetic and realize that what truly matters is yourself, not the others. Your true opponent is not whoever beat you, but you yourself. If you cannot beat yourself, what does it matter if you beat every single person in the world? The words stopped there. Those were the words his father had told him once he had locked himself inside of the training room for 2 months straight without stopping. It was right after the Hallberg incident. At first, Jin did not really understand the true meaning behind those words. It was only after the Codebreaker trials that Jin truly understood what those words meant. Throughout the Codebreaker trails, the only thing he did was listen to Ren. Like a puppet, he moved as Ren had asked him. He could clearly remember how he felt during that time. It was as though he was trapped inside of a metal cage filled with water bound to thick metal chains. It felt suffocating. Listening to someone else's commands disgusted him to no end. It was against everything he had worked for since he was young. Yet, despite him knowing this, he did not protest once. He could not bring himself to protest against the one guy that had humiliated and defeated him in the past. It was then that Jin realized. The problem was not Ren, but him. There was nothing stopping him from rebuking Ren's orders, yet he did not. There was this seed that he had implanted inside of his mind that made him listen to whatever Ren said. After this, he finally understood. He had subconsciously placed himself below Ren. It was not Ren that had placed him below, but he himself. Jin Horton. Only after Jin came to such a realization that he was finally able to understand the meaning behind his father's words. Stop being pathetic and realize that what truly matters is yourself, not the others. Your true opponent is not whoever beat you, but you yourself. Like the morning bells of a church, the words continuously told inside of his mind. From that moment, Jin realized what he had to do. He had to stop giving a fuck. That is right. Who cares about Ren, Kevin, or anyone else? At the end of the day, everyone is different. Even if I am weaker now, it does not mean I will be weaker in the future. No longer did he care about Ren, Kevin, and the others. No longer did he waste needless time caring about his pride, or the nonsensical bubble he created around himself to make him feel superior to others. He just stopped caring. The only thing that mattered to him was he himself. As long as he kept increasing his strength, what did everything else matter? It was only after he realized this that his strength saw a significant rise. With his mind no longer clogged, Jin felt as though everything was clear to him. Training became less laborious, and everything started to flow more smoothly. He felt reborn. Ha! Suddenly, Jin opened his eyes. He screamed out loud, and a wave of air spread out from his body. Like a gust of wind, everything near him flew away. Swoosh! Suddenly, Jin's muscles bulged and hot steam escaped from his body. The room quickly became engulfed by the hot steam. Ha! Ha! Once the steam died down, Jin's topless figure stood in the middle of the room. His breathing was rugged and sweat dripped all over his body. Once his breathing calmed down, Jin slowly stood up and walked towards a nearby mirror. Staring at his body in the mirror, Jin brushed his damp hair up, revealing his 2 deep green eyes. Ha! Is this D- rank? After months of intensive training, Jin had finally broken through to D- rank. Oddly enough, he felt nothing. He knew that compared to moments before, his strength was superior, but it is all right, I guess. Without celebrating his breakthrough, Jin walked back to the training ground. Picking up 2 large metal bracelets, he put them on. Why would he celebrate for a measly D-rank promotion? Clank, clank, coo. The moment Jin put on the metal bracelets, his knees almost gave out. Clenching his teeth, Jin placed both of his hands on the ground and did a handstand. With firm eyes, Jin slowly lowered his body and counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He was to repeat this until his muscles gave out. This was what Jin had been doing for the past few months. Train, train, and train even more. There was no need to celebrate the fact that he had broken through to D rank. He had realized that only once he truly surpassed himself and reached the top he was allowed to celebrate. Before that, nothing else mattered. If the Jin of today was weaker than the Jin of yesterday, he had failed. Chapter 217. Saturday, 12 p.m. Standing in front of a large wooden door, with a smile on my face, I rang the doorbell. Ding, dong, coming. Instantly a crisp voice rang from the other side of the door. Not long after, a beautiful woman came to greet me at the door. Clank, Ren. Just as the door opened, without skipping a second, my mother instantly pounced me. KH. It is nice to see you, Mom. This time I was prepared. Tensing my quads, I withstood the impact that came from my mother's embrace. Patting my body all over, I was instantly bombarded with questions. Oh Ren, thank God you are okay. Is everything okay in the academy? Have any more demons come to harm you? Did they treat you well at the academy? How dare that vile demon? Suddenly my mother's face turned dark. Noticing this, I placed my hand on her shoulder and comforted her. Mom, it is okay. I am okay. It was only after the incident was spread on the news that my mother actually found out what had happened. Once she did, total chaos ensued. Every day she would continuously text me asking me if I was okay or not. At first it was okay, but after she started texting every hour, I became a little firmer on my stance. After a long struggle, we managed to settle to 1 text a day. Aside from that, she, like my dad, was extremely surprised about my rank assessment. Ever since my rank and talent were revealed to the world, the situation in Galaxicus stabilized considerably. My parents no longer faced as much pressure as before. In addition, as a result of this, everyone within the guild now tried to get on their good graces. Life was now good for my parents. I was happy. Why do you not come in, Ren? Sure. Snapping me out of my thoughts was my mother's warm voice. Nodding my head, I stepped into the house. Instantly I was left speechless by what I saw. Although they did mention that they were going to give my parents a house, I did not expect for it to be this big. Right after I made the deal with Amanda's father, the first thing he did was move my parents to a secure house. The reasoning behind this was so that he could keep better watch of them. I naturally agreed. As long as my parents were safe, I was fine with anything. My parents were shocked at first, but after I explained the situation to them, they naturally agreed, thus bringing me into this situation. What do you think? With a satisfied look on her face, my mother proudly showed off the house. Decorated with pictures and brand new furniture, the house looked fantastic. Large enormous windows appeared on the other side of the room, and beneath them, one could see the whole of Ashton City. White walls covered the place, and sleek and modern furniture that had a mix of wood and white appeared all over the house. Staring at the place, I could not help but nod in approval. It is quite nice, not going to lie. We are very proud of you. If not for you, we would have never have been able to live in such a place. In response to my compliment, my mother once again tried to hug me. However, just as my mother was about to hug me again, out of nowhere Nola came running in my direction. Squatting down, I opened my arms. Nola, Woodar, Hup. Jumping up, Nola fell into my arms and hugged me. Taking her into my arms, I lifted her in the air. Hee. With a smile on my face, I looked at Nola, who was giggling in my arms, and softly said, Nola, big brother has a gift for you. Gift. Hearing the word gift, Nola's interest peaked. Yes. Fwa. Ta-da. Smiling, 5 teddy bears appeared in my hand. Nola's eyes instantly shot wide open. After a couple of seconds, throwing her hands in the air, she instantly dashed towards the bears and hugged them. Wah. Teddy bears. So cute. Putting Nola down and watching her play with the bears, a faint smile appeared on my lips. This was nice. Human, you are back. Suddenly, I heard a crisp voice inside of my head. Walking in her cat form, Angelica calmly stood a few meters away from me. Surprised, I greeted her back. Hey, been a while since I last saw you. How have you been doing? Better before than now. That is a bit harsh, no? Talk about sassy. That was the first thing she said once she saw me. Ignoring me, Angelica snorted and turned her head around. Humph, I have broken through. Oh, you have reached the Viscount rank. That is right. Wow, congrats. Though I expected this, I was still pleasantly surprised. That was 1B ranked bodyguard. I meant partner for me. Come, Ren, lunch is ready. Whilst I was conversing with Angelica, I suddenly heard my mother's voice calling me from all the way down to the kitchen. Coming. With a smile on my face, I headed to the kitchen. Arriving at the kitchen, sitting at the kitchen table was my father reading the newspaper. Smiling at him, I greeted him, who greeted me back with a warm smile. Following this, I sat down and ate lunch with my parents. For the next few hours or so, we just talked and caught up. Manticore Building, Lock, 8 p.m. So you were saying that he contacted you? Standing by the edge of my balcony, I held my phone in my ear. Small Snake's voice rang out from the phone's speaker. Yes, he did. And, what did he say? He agreed. Agreed to the terms we offered in the contract. Pretty much. I see. I guess the fact that I was all over the news helped out in a way. Almost half a year had passed since I had last come into contact with Ryan. Finally, after patiently waiting for that long, he contacted us. With my face all over the news, and after having observed us for a while, Ryan had finally decided to accept the offer that I had proposed to him. When I said observed us, I meant what Small Snake allowed him to observe. Despite Ryan's genius, he was in no way capable of hacking our system. The only reason he could hack into our system before was because I had told Small Snake to go easy on him. Plus, he did not really have the best equipment to work with. It was not that hard for Small Snake to stop him. But we have got a problem. Unfortunately, right before I could rejoice, Small Snake poured cold water over me. As a result, my eyes narrowed. After a bit of thought, I instantly understood what problem Small Snake was referring to. It is his age, right? Yeah, he is a bit too young. Ashton City law says that he needs to be at least 14 before he can work. That indeed sounds like a problem. I placed my hand on my chin and fell into thought. His age was indeed going to be a problem since, according to the law in Ashton City, kids below the age of 14 could not legally work. With Ryan being 12, I knew that this was going to be a problem. I do have a solution though. Fortunately, Small Snake seems to have thought things through. My eyes lit up as a result. What do you suggest? Why do you not just take him in as a trainee? A trainee? Yes, we can use the excuse of teaching him how mercenary businesses work to bypass the law, at least until he turns 14. My brows knit. Indeed, if we took Ryan as a trainee instead of an official member, taking him under our wing would not be a problem. Furthermore, this worked in my favor since he still needed to learn a lot. I see, that makes sense. Regarding his payment, we can just set up a separate account with the money already inside. We can just give it to his mom, or let him have access to it. Since we could not directly give him the money, this was the most appropriate method. Super suspicious, but with Small Snake being the one who handled everything, there should not really be any problems. After all, I am sure he had his ways. I trusted him. Should I go ahead? Yes, go ahead. By the way, Small Snake, how much money do we have left in our funds? Vaguely nodding my head, I suddenly recalled something and asked him about the money situation. In response, Small Snake's voice became slightly troubled. Right, I almost forgot. we are almost out of money. Everything else aside, we have only got 5 million you left. I figured. I presume you have got this problem solved. No. Yeah, I in fact do have a solution to this problem. Great, whilst you figure the money thing out, I will settle the things with Ryan. Sure, tack. Pressing the red button on my screen, I hung up the call with Small Snake. Staring at the blue sky, I exhaled. Ha, I am poor again. After the trip to Amara, and after spending my money on a couple of other things, my bank account was almost empty. Just when I thought I had enough money, it quickly ran out. Suddenly, I looked at my bracelet inside. Right, I guess it is about time I sold the items I got from Imara. Walking back towards my room, I made my way towards my desk. Tapping onto my bracelet, multiple objects quickly appeared on the table. Phew, let us see. Overall, the number of items on my desk was quite a lot. I needed to carefully check the uses of each one of them through the status window before me. Clank, clank, useless, useless. This should be fine. Useless. Staring at the multiple items on the desk, I quickly separated the useful items from the useless items. Since some of the items could only be used by orcs, they were naturally useless for me. Phew, this should be it. After 10 minutes of sorting, I wiped the sweat that had accumulated on my forehead. At the moment, there were 3 different piles before me. The useful pile, the useless pile, and the I do not know pile. With the I do not know pile being the one that contained items, which I was not sure whether they could be useful for me or not. Clank. Quickly putting the useless and I do not know pile back in my bracelet, I stared at the last. Surprisingly, there were a lot more useful items than I had expected. However, despite this, they were still far less than the other 2 piles. At the moment, there were 12 items, of which 4 especially stood out to me. Status. Name. Hand of Malice. Rank. D. Description. A glove that enables the user to increase strength stat by 2 minor subranks. Status. Name. Mother's Kiss. Rank. N/A. Description. Powerful venom that is capable of dissolving the internal organs of the target upon ingestion. Can work on B-ranked creatures and below. Status. Name. Seduction Itcher. Rank. N/A. Description. Very powerful aphrodisiac. Can work on C-ranked creatures and below. Status. Name. Ring of Gravity. Rank. C. Description. A ring with 10 settings. Upon wearing the ring, body mass will double. Whenever the setting is changed, the mass will double with respect to setting chosen. Tis. Staring at the items, I drew a cold breath. If I had to be honest, I wanted them all. But I knew that I could not do that, especially since the next major event was happening soon. Ashton City Grand Annual Auction. Just 10 minutes ago, everyone in the academy received a message with an invitation to the auction. Being a part of the academy, I got one too. The Ashton City Grand Annual Auction was a massive event where all sorts of artifacts, skills, and arts were sold. Despite how tempting most of the items in front of me were, the auction that would be held in 2 weeks' time had far better items. Plus, that item is being auctioned there, is it not? There was one specific item that I really desired from the auction. The value of the item I wanted was quite expensive, but it would be all worth it. That one item alone could propel me to new levels. Well, if only it was that easy. There was just one slight problem with my plan. I did not have enough money to buy it. Hence why I had to resort to auctioning the items before me. Actually, could I maybe take one? According to my approximation, the item I wanted to buy was worth around 100 million U. The net worth of the items before me was around 150 million U. Perhaps I can take something. I quickly shook my head. Now was not the time to think of this. I still had 2 weeks to sort things out. If I was lucky enough, I could perhaps keep 2 items. Who knows? Ding. Suddenly my watch vibrated. It was Kevin. Hey, are you going to the auction? Well, that was fast. Taking my phone, I quickly typed back. Yes, I am going. Great, I am going with Emma and the others too. Wanna join us? No. I quickly refused. Rather go with Leo and Ram. Cool, I have just added you to the group chat. Does this guy not know that no means no? Ding. Auction chat. You have just been added to a group chat. Time 8:32 p.m. Kevin. Hey guys, Ren agreed to come with us. Melissa. What is this guy doing here? Emma. What? Kevin, I thought you said you were not going to invite any more people. Kevin. Sorry. Emma. What is the use of being sorry when you are not even sorry? Amanda. Wave emoji. Tack. Blankly staring at their conversation for a good minute, I threw my phone on the bed. I could not read any more of their chats spammed with emojis. Ha. Well, if I look at this on a positive note, at least this saves me a bit of trouble. With Emma and Melissa being VVIPs, I could naturally get a better seat and skip annoying lines and processes. In a way, this worked out in my favor. Closing my eyes, I massaged my forehead. A thought struck me. Hopefully, nothing goes wrong. I said hopefully, but I knew that something was definitely bound to happen. Regarding the auction in the novel, it was supposed to be the next event prior to the tournament arc. Well, at least should have. Leaning back on my chair, I crossed my legs. In theory, there should have been 2 more incidents before the tournament arc, but given that I had pretty much foiled the monolith's plans, I could not see how they were going to carry on with their original plans. The primary reason I was sure about this was because I had killed Professor Thibaut, the main initiator for all 3 events. With his death, the chances of the other events happening were almost slim to none. But still, just because I expected the events to not happen did not mean I would not make preparations for it. If there was one thing I learned from the Everblood incident, it was to always think that something will go wrong. Therefore, I quickly reminded myself to be on alert for the following weeks. Kriaik. Just as I was in the middle of my thoughts, suddenly the window of my room opened up revealing a black cat. My eyes instantly lit up. Oh, Angelica. Welcome back, you are already done. Yes. Leisurely walking into the room, Angelica nodded her head. Jumping on top of the bed, Angelica curled up and closed her eyes, completely disregarding my presence. Seeing this, the edges of my lips curled upwards. She is sad that she cannot see Nola again. Ever since returning from my parents' house, Angelica had been a bit moody. Though it could be from the fact that she was now seeing me again, I knew that it was because of Nola. Unfortunately for her, I needed her, and thanks to her, everything was now set. Placing my elbow on the armrest of my chair, I supported my chin. Staring at Angelica, who sat on the bed in her cat form, I lightly tapped on the other armrest of the chair. The edges of my lips curled even more. Tap, tap, tap. I could now finally finish what I had set to finish a long time ago. If this works out well, perhaps I do not really need to sell any of my artifacts. Thinking along those lines, I knew that I could not make any mistakes. It was cleanup time. Chapter 218. Gerard Lim, WV Pharmaceuticals chairman's son. Romila Connell. Both his parents are A-ranked heroes, and work under Platinum Rank Guild. Adria Fersetti, son of the elder of Gladiatore, Platinum Rank Guild. Jessica Pandef, daughter of one of the school instructors. Gabriella Lemus, daughter of branch manager of Ashton District Bank, one of the largest banks in the city. Plaque. I closed my notebook. In it were all my notes on the 5 tyrants. Well, things should work out for now. With Angelica's aid, I have already made my move. Now all I had to do was wait. Human. Suddenly, Angelica called out for me. With her body curled up and resting on the bed, Angelica looked quite cute from where I was sitting. Angelica, what is up? You still have not told me why you made me do all of that. All that. Right. Though I have made Angelica do all the work, I still had not told her the plan. Was not sure whether she would be interested or not. To be honest, it is not something you would find particularly interesting. Even then, do you still want to hear about it? No, never mind. Angelica quickly shook her head. Then why ask in the first place? Staring at Angelica curled up on my bed, I shook my head. To be honest, even if I had explained it to her, chances were that she would not have understood anything. My plan was to instigate internal conflicts amongst the tyrants. I mean, why fight them when they can just do it for me? Of course, it did not just amount to that much. If it was just that, it would not solve any of my problems. My real goal was to make everyone turn against Gerard, the one with the strongest backing, and the one I had to revolve my plans around. Only once everyone was against him would my plan finally begin. Tapping on my bracelet, a green card appeared in my hand. The timestamp. The card in my hand was why the 5 tyrants existed in the first place. If not for them, such a situation would have never have existed. After thinking about it for a long time, I realized that this was the key link between the 5 tyrants. That is when my plans started formulating. Having spent countless hours observing and researching each and every tyrant, I knew quite a bit about them. From their habits to their hobbies and basically anything that I needed to know about them. From there I was able to come up with a rough plan, which I enacted with the help of Angelica. Whether it worked or not, I will know by the end of the day. I am kinda sleepy. Lazily stretching my arms, a yawn escaped from my lips. Having spent the majority of the day revising the information I had acquired on the 5 tyrants, I was understandably tired. Making my way to bed, I looked at my room. A thought suddenly struck me. I should be moving out of this place soon, should I not? Right, I do recall Donna telling me that my room in the Leviathan building was just about done. Truly a pity. Just when I got used to this place and made a couple of friends, I had to leave. What a bummer. PAMF. Slumping on my bed, I turned off the lights and closed my eyes. Oh well, it is not like I can turn down the chance into going to the Leviathan building. I mean, we were talking about top-notch facilities with even bigger rooms and training grounds. No matter how much I liked this place, I would be stupid to refuse. Plus, having enacted my plan, everything would sort itself in this place. All that was left for me to do right now was wait. Wait for everything to fall into place. After an uneventful weekend passed, it was Monday, and the class ended at 5 p.m. like usual. Alright, that is it for today's class. Marking the end of the class, with a quick goodbye, the lecturer gathered his stuff and left the classroom. I am so tired. Stretching her arms, Emma lazily stood up and packed up her stuff. Next to her, Amanda did the same thing. Having spent the last 10 hours or so studying, everyone was understandably tired, me included. As she was packing up her stuff, Emma turned around and looked at Kevin. Hey Kevin, what are you going to do once you go back? Train. Putting his tablet back in his dimensional space, Kevin's reply was blunt. In response, Emma rolled her eyes and complained. GHH, do you do anything else apart from training? No, he is a muscle idiot. I quickly interjected. Elbowing me, Kevin glared at me. What did you just say? I apologize, I meant a deaf muscle idiot. Oi. Repeat that if you dare. Deaf muscle idiot. Fearlessly looking at Kevin, I repeated. Smiling, Kevin cracked his knuckles. Crack, crack. It seems like someone is itching for a beating. You cannot beat me. Oh, do you want to try? Now that I thought about it, if Kevin and I fought, who would win? Despite Kevin's absurd talent and higher rank, I was confident in defeating him. The reason for this was simple. I knew everything about Kevin, from how he fought and his weaknesses and weak points. Book aside, when designing his character I added several flaws in his form and strength at the beginning. These things would obviously no longer be something noteworthy by the end of the novel, but as of right now they were easily exploitable flaws that could give me an edge when fighting him in the future. Still, that was just speculation on my part. I was not actually keen on fighting Kevin, at least not now. As a result, I quickly denied Kevin's challenge. Nah, I do not want to fight you. Too bothersome. Sigh, I cannot deal with you guys. Staring at Kevin and I bickering, Emma's mouth twitched. Shaking her head, she took Amanda by the wrist and led her out of the class. Let's go, Amanda. Completely unfazed by everything, Amanda nodded her head. Turning my head and watching the two girls leave, I looked at Kevin and proposed. We should probably go too. Yeah. It was getting late. Probably should not waste too much time chatting in the classroom, especially now that I was so busy. What I should do next? I should probably TR/HM. Right as I was about to leave the classroom, I felt a tap on my shoulder. Turning around I noticed Kevin pointing towards the entrance of the classroom. Ren, there is a couple of people at the entrance for you. Oh, who? With me not having a lot of friends, this came as a surprise. Who could possibly be looking for me? I soon found out the answer. Leo, Ram. Standing at the entrance of the class were Leo and Ram. Noticing that I had noticed them, Leo was the first to speak. Ren, how are you so calm? My brows knit. What is wrong with you guys? Staring at their faces which were quite solemn, I felt that something was odd about them. Noticing the confusion on my face, Leo flashed his watch. Have you not seen the announcement? What announcement? Check your phone. Seeing how clueless I was, Leo sighed. Frowning, I turned on my watch and checked my notifications. Soon the edges of my lips curled upwards. I see, so it has started. To all those under Gerard's protection, after classes end today at 5, make your way to his room ASAP. If any of you are even a minute late, you will have to bear the consequences. Did you say something? Oops, I may have spoken out my true thoughts. Waving my hand I quickly tried to change the topic. Me and my tongue. Oh, nothing, what a shocker. What could have happened? With his arms crossed, Rim thoughtfully said, we do not know. Did we not just give them the timestamp yesterday? Why did they call for everyone? Perhaps something big happened. That does sound plausible. To Leo and Ram, the situation may seem extremely odd as it had never happened in the past. Unfortunately for them, this was the scenario that I was waiting for. Looks like everything is going according to plan, at least for now. Still, just because everything was going according to my plans, I was not going to let my guard down. Fortunately, with Angelica back with me, the chances of an external factor disrupting my plans were slim. Ren, what should we do? Rumbling for another minute, Leo nervously looked at me as he asked for advice. I shook my head in response. We do not have a choice but to go. But, let's go, I will protect you guys. You forgot who I am. Ah, that is right. How could we forget? Given my strength, I was actually amongst one of the strongest people in the Manticore building. There was nothing to really worry about. Don't get me wrong, it is not that the people in the Manticore building were weak. It is just that all the other strong people went to the other two buildings. Anyone that reached D rank was extremely talented and rich. The chances of staying in the Manticore building were low. Because of this, it meant that I was one of the strongest people in the building. Leo and Ram also realized this, hence why they sighed in relief. Alright, let's go. Sure, yeah. Right as I was about to leave with Leo and ran back to the Manticore building, I felt a slight tap on my shoulder. Turning around I realized it was Kevin. After having listened to our conversation, he more or less understood what was happening. Do you need help? Nah, I have got this. With a grin on my face, I shook my head. If Kevin joined, my plans would not work. I knew his character all too well. What I was about to do was not something he would have liked. You sure? If you need help just message me. I appreciate the thought, but it is not as bad as you think. Patting Kevin on the shoulder, I reassured him that everything was going to be fine. Staring at me in the eyes for a couple of seconds, Kevin eventually gave up. Alright, if you say so. I will message you if I really need help. Grinning, I flashed my phone. Sure. Alright, I will see you tomorrow. CYA. Waving Kevin goodbye, I hooked my arms around Leo and Ram and followed them back to the Manticore building. Chapter 219. Staring at his phone, Gerard's brows knit tightly. A minute after, he clenched his phone tightly and swore out loud. Damn it. Ever since a couple of days ago, a rift had started appearing amongst the 5 tyrants. Apparently, the timestamps that the other tyrants had gone missing. Oddly enough, his timestamps remained untouched. Can't these retards understand that the reason why my stuff is untouched is because whoever the thieves are, they fear me. Although the other tyrants had respectable backings, if they were to be compared to the likes of W.V. Pharmaceuticals, they were still a level below. To Gerard, it was clear as day that the thieves had specifically skipped him because they feared him. Unfortunately, the others didn't seem to understand this as they kept looking at him suspiciously. After a day and no news about the stolen timestamps, everyone forcefully convinced themselves that Gerard had played a part in the disappearance of the timestamps. Hence the current predicament. Without a doubt, they were going to target the people under his jurisdiction. They wanted to cut his timestamps supply. Damn greedy bastard. Clank. Gerard, everyone has gathered. Suddenly the door of Gerard's room opened, and Noah, one of his lackeys, called him. Fixing his collar, Gerard nodded his head. Everyone is already here. Okay, I'm coming. Walking out of his room, Gerard closed the door behind him. Entering the living room of his apartment, Gerard saw a crowd of students looking at him. Walking around the room, he was instantly able to pick up the awe and fear coming from some of the students' eyes. The corner of his lips tugged upwards as a result. Thank you for coming all the way here today. Stopping before the crowd, Gerard gave a brief rundown of the situations to the students. In short, he told them about how they might get targeted by the other factions, and that they needed to be extra careful. Where have I seen that guy? As he was talking, Gerard's eyes suddenly paused on a certain individual. Pale white skin and deep blue eyes. He seemed to have a faint recollection of such a student. Suddenly he remembered. Ren Dover, the talented youth who appeared all over the news. Right, he might be able to help me. An idea suddenly struck him. If he could get Ren on his side, he could quickly use him as a deterrent against the other tyrants. With him being one of the strongest people in the dorm, he could quickly crush all of his opposition. Without a second thought, Gerard pointed at Ren. You come with me. Me. Baffled, the youth named Ren pointed at himself. Raising his brow, Gerard nodded his head. Yes, who else am I pointing at? Follow me quickly, I don't have much time to waste. Okay. Flustered, Ren hurriedly followed him. Staring at Ren's flustered figure, Gerard secretly smirked. I guess it's true. He really has no backing. This was going to be easier than he thought. You take care of the situation while I take care of this one. Staring at Noah, Gerard quickly ordered. In response, Noah nodded his head. As you wish. Good. Clank. Closing the doors to his room, Gerard carefully scrutinized Ren before him. After seizing him up, with a satisfied nod, he got straight to the point. How about you work for me? Work for you? Yes, I've investigated you a little bit. This is only natural. After receiving news about your talent, I started getting interested in you. I know that your parents work for a third-rate guild, and you have no backing. How about it? Work for me. I can provide you with all the necessary resources. Why are you smiling? Gerard stopped himself mid-sentence. The reason was that the student before him was smiling widely, almost as if he was watching the most amusing show of his life. Oh, I'm smiling. Startled, Ren touched his lips. Noticing this, Gerard became enraged as his voice echoed across the area. Yes, you were. Do you think I said something funny? Am I a joke to you? Ha, me and my shitty acting. Letting out a sigh, Ren brushed his hair up and silently cursed. This startled Gerard, who suddenly had an ominous premonition. Staring at Gerard, Ren slowly opened his mouth. I mean, how stupid would I be to work with the son of the guy who murdered Thobia's church and caused the downfall of the previous #1 pharmaceutical company? What? How do you know? Opening his eyes wide, Gerard froze on the spot. Impossible. How did he know such confidential information? Apart from me and my dad, no one should know about this. He must be bluffing, yes. If not bluffing, how else would he have known? Unless he was bluffing, things wouldn't make sense. How did I know? Smiling once again, Ren displayed a map to Gerard. Pinpointed on it was a certain location within Ashton City. Meet me here after the meeting is over. I'll let you know then. Oh, if you ever tell anyone about what I said to you, not only you will die, but I will slowly reveal everything to the world. Weakly pointing at Ren, Gerard shouted, You're just bluffing. Ha, do I look like I'm bluffing? Halting his steps, turning his head around. Suddenly an incomprehensible pressure bore down on Gerard as Ren's eyes slowly turned dull gray. Instantly the world around Gerard froze and his body trembled uncontrollably. Pressing his hand down, Ren's hoarse and cold voice echoed across the room. Kneel. Thud. With a large thud, Gerard kneeled on the floor. Without even questioning the decision, Gerard kneeled on the ground. An inexplicable sense of fear washed over him. No, what's going on? Isn't this like back in the arena? Gerard remembered this moment. This was the exact same scenario that happened during Ren's fight against Harris. At first, he thought it was some phony skill that Ren had used to deceive the opponent, but he felt it. He felt the true horror that was before him. It was like he was standing before a humongous black mass that looked down on him as if he was an ant. He needed to know his place. Thus, Gerard gave up any thoughts of fighting. It's good that you are not resisting. Please. I'm sorry, I give up. Don't kill me, please. Staring at Gerard's figure for a couple of seconds, Ren smiled. Slowly his eyes returned to their usual deep blue color. Patting Gerard on the shoulders, Ren warned. If you don't want such information to spread, I'll give you an option. Right after the meeting is over, you are to quickly come to the place I had previously shown you. Once again taking out his phone, Ren showed him the image of the location. After a couple of seconds, turning his head back to Gerard, Ren asked, Do you understand? Yes. Good. Satisfied, Ren patted Gerard on the shoulder a couple of more times before leaving towards the exit of the room. However, just as he was about to leave, Ren's feet halted in front of the door. Turning around, with a calm smile on his face, he opened his mouth. If you try anything stupid, I'll be the first one to know. As soon as you try to call someone for help, or send someone a message, I'll quickly spread everything that I know to the world. Whatever your father worked hard to accomplish will be quickly ruined overnight, and the people that you bullied and harassed will flock at you like mad hyenas. Pausing slightly, Ren nodded his head in satisfaction. At the moment, Gerard was sweating profusely as he imaged the scenario Ren had just spoken about. Without hesitation, he kept nodding his head. Good, it seems like you know what's best for you. Touching the handle of the door, Ren slowly opened it as his expression changed to that one of someone who had just been scolded. I hope you don't disappoint me. Clank. Those were the last words Gerard heard before the door closed, and silence descended upon the room. Not very far from the lock and on the outskirts of the central district resided an old factory, Thriven Industrial Co. The factory used to be an old toy factory, but was quite well known within Ashton City. Unfortunately, after a few board disputes and corruption cases, the company was forced to shut down. Ever since then, the company has been left abandoned with no one wanting to buy the land due to its fairly remote location and expensive listing price. It was precisely because of how remote the place was that I chose this place as the location for today's operation. It was perfect since there were no cameras around, and there were not a lot of people living nearby. Regardless of how much sound they made, nobody would notice anything. Grr. Suddenly the doors of the factory opened and a shuddering Gerard walked in. Thud. You're finally here. Smiling, I jumped off a machine I was sitting on and welcomed him with open arms. In response, Gerard shuddered even more as looked at me and took a couple of steps back. How did you know such information? How did you know about Church's death? Without hesitation, he got straight to the point. How did I know? Smirk. Staring at Gerard's flustered expression, the edges of my lips tugged upwards. How did I know? Simple really, it's because I am the author of this book. I naturally couldn't say it. Despite it being the truth, there was no way he would believe me. Answer me. Taking my smirk as a sign of me looking down on him, Gerard became enraged as he started shouting. If you don't answer me, I'll quickly send an emergency message to my father. Oh. Flashing out his phone, Gerard showed me the text message that was already written. With his thumb on the send button, he threatened. Yes. See this is my phone. If you as so much make a single move, and don't tell me about how you know that information, I will immediately. Coo. Click. A subtle clicking sound resounded across the factory. Coo. What? Clenching onto his chest, Gerard's eyes opened wide. Looking down on his hands, red blood gushed down on the ground. What just happened? I didn't see anything. Before he could even move or do anything, his body completely froze and he found himself bleeding profusely. Thud. Seconds after, with a large thud, his figure fell on the ground. Tapping on the grip of my sword, I shook my head. Sorry to break it to you, but I really have no use for you anymore. To be honest, he wasn't really my main target to begin with. He was merely a means to reach that goal. Oh well, let's get this over with. Staring at Gerard's dying figure, I felt no pity for him. After having investigated him closely and discovered all of the disgusting things he had done in the past, I felt that this type of death did not do him any justice. He deserved a more gruesome one. Let's see. Slowly walking towards Gerard, I calmly picked up his phone. With Gerard having already unlocked the phone, I didn't have a hard time accessing his stuff and finding his messages app. Dad, can you come to pick me up? I've got some fantastic news to share with you. Come to me directly. There's this restaurant that I want to try with you. And sent. Having investigated Gerard very carefully, I naturally also investigated his father. With this, I naturally found a lot of things that I could have exploited. In this case, I managed to find a very interesting piece of news. Yana Lim, Gerard's father, was a very doting father. Whatever Gerard asked of him, he would do it. It was because of this that for most of his life he managed to get away with most things scot-free. Me asking him to come here was actually part of my plan. If everything went according to what I've investigated, his father would be more than delighted to come. This fact was proven not long after as Gerard's phone vibrated. Ding. You want to have dinner with me? But of course, I'll come. I'll be coming soon. Wait for me. Bingo. With a smile on my face, I put the phone away. Was I worried about Gerard's father not coming? Not at all. Given Gerard's history, him going to such places to carry out his degenerate plans was not strange. Since his father had covered up for him multiple times, he would know by now how Gerard did things. He wouldn't find this strange. Moving back towards one of the machines, I leaned back and relaxed. Now all I have to do is wait. Yana Lim, the current head of WV Pharmaceuticals. He was of Malaysian descent and was 43 years old as of today. His life was tough. Inheriting his parents' company at a young age, Yana was born with a heavy burden on his shoulders. Despite this, after graduating from a rather prestigious academy, he quickly got to work and expanded the influence of his company, WV Pharmaceuticals, rapidly. Unfortunately for him, the road was filled with thorns. With competitors everywhere, reaching the top was tough. Still, using whatever method he had available, Yana managed to claim the #1 spot as the top pharmaceuticals company in the human domain. After years of constant struggles, he had finally ascended to the top. We're here, sir. All right. The car halted and a bodyguard opened the door. Nodding his head, Yana stepped out of the car. Looking at the abandoned factory before him, Yana was taken aback. Where in the world? Next to him, one of his two bodyguards frowned. Something feels off, sir. Yes, I think so too. Yana agreed. Although he wasn't strong, his instincts told him that something was definitely off about the situation. Without hesitation, Yana took out his phone and sent a message to his son. Son, I'm here, why don't you come outside? Ping. Within seconds he got a response back. Ah, Dad, you're here. Come into the factory. I've got something amazing to show you. You two follow me. If anything seems out of place, immediately call for backup. Roger that. Johanna's brows knit tightly. Nudging his guards next to him, he made his way towards the factory before him. Although he felt that something was odd about the situation, he was confident about his guard's strength. If anything truly did happen, without a doubt the guard before him would defend him. Grr. Opening the door that led to the warehouse, Johanna instantly saw countless old types of machinery. Gerard, Dad's here. Where are you? Looking around for a couple of seconds, Johanna raised his voice as he called out for his son. Johanna Lim, W.V., pharmaceutical CEO, father of one kid, and murderer of multiple people who were deemed as competition. Suddenly a cold voice echoed across the warehouse, startling Johanna and the guards next to him. Frantically looking around, Johanna shouted, "You, who are you? Show yourself." After looking for a while, suddenly, his eyes paused towards a certain machine in the distance. Sitting on top of it was a figure wearing a mask that only covered half of his face. With a smile on his face, the figure slowly opened his mouth. Who am I? Now why would I be stupid enough to tell you my name? Chapter 220. Where is my son? And who are you? Answer me. Staring at the masked figure before him, Johanna shouted out loud. His deep voice echoed inside of the factory. Apart from the masked figure, he could not see anything else. Where was his son? Who was he? Why did he target him? Johanna wanted answers. Sir, he is no threat. He is only ranked E. With his eyes squinted, one of the guards next to Johanna tapped him on the shoulder and reported what he was able to observe. Without a doubt, the masked man was only E rank. Phew, okay. Johanna instantly sighed in relief. Knowing that the opponent was only E ranked calmed him down a bit. His two bodyguards were both C ranked. A measly E ranked posed no threat to him. Staring at the masked figure before him, Johanna spoke in a more confident tone. I give you an option. Either tell me where my son is, or I will make you tell me where my son is. I am not sure if you can tell, but I have two bodyguards with me, both ranked C. With your measly strength there is no way you can fight them, so I suggest you give up. That is indeed true. Staring at Johanna before me, I smirked. What an idiot. What he said was indeed true. If it was just me by myself, I would without a doubt be taken down by his two bodyguards. Unfortunately for him, I was not alone. Lightly glancing at the top of the factory, I caught a glimpse of two yellow eyes staring at Johanna from above. They were the eyes of a predator. Good, it looks like Angelica is ready. Unaware of his predicament, Johanna crossed his arms in triumph. In response, I raised my hands up. Good, so you know your limit. Okay, now tell me. What have you done to my son? Sorry, but unless you hear me out, I cannot say anything. I see, so you want to play this way. This is fine too. This saves me a lot of trouble. Since you do not want to play it the easy way, I will let you experience the hard way. Pointing at the masked figure, Johanna ordered his guards. Get him. Nodding their heads, the two guards looked at each other as an overbearing pressure started exuding from their bodies. Clenching their fists, they prepared to move. However, spurt, spurt, blood spilled in the air, and the two holes appeared on the bodyguard's chest. With his eyes wide open, Johanna witnessed his two bodyguards get attacked from behind. It all happened so fast that he was unable to identify who the perpetrator was. What happened? Thud, thud. With two large thuds, the two bodyguards fell to the ground. They were dead. Staring at the corpses of his two bodyguards, Johanna's mouth hung wide open. What is going on? He was not able to see a thing. It all happened so fast that his bodyguards could react at all. We were talking about two C-ranked bodyguards. Some of the best of the best. Instantly Johanna's body shuddered as fear seeped in. Calm down, calm down. You have been through worse situation. Try to gauge what the masked guy wants. Johanna forcefully calmed himself down. I apologize for my previous behavior. Please tell me what you need of me. If there is anything I can do, I will try my best to please your needs. Bringing his hands together, Johanna bowed. Having been blackmailed for ransom before, he knew of the standard procedure. He was very clever. By acting this way, he was hoping for a negotiation without coming off as rude. Whoever the young boy before him was, he was not an opponent he could fight. By acting this way, he would be able to preserve his and his son's life. He knew when to attack and when to back down. Ho, all you want is money, right? I have got plenty of that. Whoever you are, even if you have someone strong backing you, you will not carelessly kill someone like me who has such a high status, right? I have already memorized your voice and frame. Even if you are wearing a mask, I will make sure to hunt you down once I return. Johanna Lim was gloating as he thought of the plan he had weaved. Smirk. Looking at Johanna before me, the edges of my lips curled upwards. Noticing my smile, Johanna, who took it as a positive reaction, thought that he had successfully managed to trick me. I did it. Now all he had to do was wait for the masked man before him to ask for the ransom. Once he successfully paid the ransom, or whatever demand he had, he would quickly mobilize all of the resources at his disposal and hunt him down. Hopefully by the time I come back he is still not dead. Ha ha ha, I will make you understand who you have messed with. Just the thought calmed his boiling heart. He was the kind of man that would never forget a grudge. For as long someone messed with him, he would make sure to pay them back 10 times. Very well, how about you transfer me the money first? Money. If I give you money, will you tell me where my son is, and will you let us go? Hee, just the usual thief that thinks he can take some of my money. Third rates. That is what Johanna called such thieves. It was not because they were weak but because they only wanted money and nothing else. Once their demands were pleased they would immediately flee as far as possible. Unfortunately for them, they had messed with the wrong person. With his power and connections, he would easily be able to locate the identity of the thieves. Yes, I will let you and your son go after you send me the money. How much? How much can you give me? 50 million. So that is how much you and your son's life are worth. Hearing the sum of money that was being offered, my voice became cold. Killing intent spread out from my body. He will really kill me. Feeling the killing intent, Yana quickly waved his hands frantically. No. I was only joking. 120 million is all the liquid assets I have. I cannot offer any more than as that would take months to gather. Yana was not lying. Most of his assets were long-term ones, meaning that they could not be turned into cash quickly. The only cash he had at the moment was 120 million. Look, see, I was not lying. Frantically tapping on his phone, he quickly showed me his bank account balance. 121,098,549 U. I slowly closed my eyes. At the moment, I was trying my best to keep a calm look on my face. 120 million U. With it I would no longer need to sell most of the items that I got from Imra. Opening my eyes once again, I nodded my head and took out my phone. Transactions in this world were easy. Just a tap on the phone and the money would be transferred. Moreover, since the phone I was currently using was one that Small Snake had given me beforehand, and was connected to a separate account, I was not worried about anyone trying to track me down. Okay, send that money to this account. Extending his hand, Yana was about to tap his phone against mine. Suddenly, he halted. How can I make sure you will let me go once I give you the money? You do not. I shook my head. In response, Yana quickly took his phone back. What? Are you messing with me? Yana was baffled. A negotiation where the other guy did not even let the other negotiator propose any terms. This was the first time Yana had come across someone this stupid. Why would he bother respecting the term if the other guy was not even willing to do the same? Do I look like someone who is joking? In response to Yana's attitude, my voice grew cold. Instantly, Yana's back became drenched in sweat as he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Gulp. He really is not joking. If he really did not agree to the terms, both he and his son would die. No, this is merely an act. I cannot let him influence me like this. Shaking his head, Yana clenched his fists. He could not give up that easily. This was merely a tactic the thief was using to take advantage of him. Staring at me, Yana took another mouthful of saliva before once again speaking. If you cannot guarantee me and my son's health, why should I send you the money? Smirk. I am not a man who goes against his promises, but since you do not seem to believe me, I have something else that is far more credible. Here, taking a black box from my dimensional space, I quickly threw it in Yana's direction. Catching it, Yana looked at the box with a trace of confusion in his eyes. What is this? Wanna know? Open it. Click. With his brows knit, Yana slowly opened the box. Suddenly his eyes shot wide open and his body trembled uncontrollably. A finger was in it. You demon. What have you done to my son? Nothing yet. But I sure as heck will do more if you do not send me the money. Pausing slightly, my eyes fiercely stared at Gerard before me. So, yes, I will do so now. Left with no choice, Yana could only take out his phone and comply with my terms. Clenching his teeth, Yana was enraged. This bastard. After I get out of this I will make sure to skin you alive if that is the last thing I will do. How dare you touch my son? I will make sure you die a miserable death. Ding. A loud chime resounded across the factory. The transaction was successful. With a large smile on my face, I bowed down slightly and thanked Yana. Thank you for your patronage. Okay, will you let me and my son go NKHH? Spurt. Before Yana could finish speaking, a hand penetrated his back. Staring at me, his eyes shot wide open. With a trembling hand, he weakly pointed at me. Why? You promised. I did not kill you though. Angelica, my subordinate did. Isn't that the same thing? Thought Yana as he slowly lost consciousness. Understanding what he was trying to say, I shook my head and explained. Well, you sir clearly do not watch a lot of movies. Whenever someone promises you that they won't kill you it generally means that their subordinates will. This was such a common occurrence that I really was not sure how he bought my words so easily. Well, I did not really care. I have got my payday, and removed a scum off the streets. Who is your subordinate? Kem. Let me correct myself. I meant partner. You are technically my subordinate since you're bound by contract, but I will let it slide for now. I was not someone who cared about the technicalities. As long as Angelica was pleased, I was fine. Could not have her throw a fit on me. She was a very useful subordinate after all. Shua. Stretching my arms, I looked at Angelica, who was holding Yana by the neck. His body was slowly getting thinner by the minute as demonic energy spread in the air. Are you done? Do not rush me, human. Angelica snapped her head in my direction and angrily barked. Raising my hands in defeat, I took out a black watch from my pocket. It was the bot's watch. All right, do your thing. Ping. Staring at the watch, Angelica suddenly asked, what are you doing? Me. Nothing, just checking how much they are worth. Since Yana was a prominent figure, he had to be worth something, no. At least to the monolith. Target. Name. Yana Lim. Rank. G+. Age. 43. Status. Dead or alive. Reward. 2,000 merit points. What? Only 2,000 merit points. That is far less than me. Opening the watch interface and pressing on the bounty list, my eyes opened wide. To think that the CEO of one of the largest companies in Ashton City was only worth this much. Even I, a 16-year-old student, was worth more than double of him. Fiddling with the watch in my hand, I thought to myself, I should probably check later what I can get from the merit points. From what I remembered, merit points were quite useful for getting some extremely rare materials or artifacts. Moreover, it was completely anonymous, so no one knew who got them. Is it wrong for me to call myself a part-time villain? By collecting merit points, I was essentially doing the monolith's dirty work. I was also getting paid for it in merit points. Calling myself a part-time villain was not exactly wrong. However, ugh, why did I call them villains? I frantically rubbed my head. That was so cringy. Why could I not have come up with a better name? Ha. Oh well. Angelica, let us go home, I am tired. Shaking my head, I stared at Angelica, who was holding the corpses of the bodyguards with her hand. Gerard's body was there too. With her hand on their bodies, demonic energy slowly seeped into them. This was naturally done under my instructions. Had to make it look like this was the work of a demon, else someone could have pinpointed this to me. Could not leave any trace of me behind. Supporting my head with my arms, I calmly walked towards the exit of the factory. Now that I have finished dealing with Gerard, everything else should come down naturally. Though I have only got rid of Gerard out of the 5 tyrants, this was enough. He was the only one I needed to get rid of to get all 5 of them. I should get the results by tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. At least within a day or two, the 5 tyrants would be no more. I made sure of that. Wham, I am tired. Putting on a thin skin mask to alter my face, I quietly left the factory. Could not let others see my face. Chapter 221. And this is your new room. Stopping before a door, a butler wearing a slick black suit turned around and handed me a white card. Without hesitation, I took the card and thanked the butler. Thank you. No problem. Welcome to the Leviathan building. Today was the day I moved into my new room. A couple of days have passed since I had killed Gerard and his father. During those days, a lot of things had happened. Like wildfire, the death of Gerard and his father spread all over the news. This was natural since Gerard's father was the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the human domain. The autopsy reports said that their deaths were due to an attack by a demon. This was easily discernible from the fact that demonic energy lingered on their bodies upon their death. After investigating further, it was later found that Gerard was being targeted by 4 individuals, 4 of the 5 tyrants. This was all due to the timestamps that I had asked Angelica to steal. Stealing them wasn't actually that hard. Given that they had to be redistributed around to the other members, they were put inside of a separate dimensional space that was given to a distributor who would redistribute them. Only after distributing all of the timestamps would the distributor give the remaining ones to the tyrant. The identity of the distributor was naturally a secret that only a few individuals knew, and only after spying on them for the past month or so was able to find their identity and have Angelica directly steal their dimensional space. That was how everything started. After that, I did what I did with Gerard and his father. And given the tyrant's background, putting the pieces together, the 4 of them became prime suspects. Although everything linked to the fact that it was a demon who had killed them, it wasn't uncommon for people to hire a demon to do the dirty work for them. Such was the case for Thobia's church. Taking advantage of the situation, all of the victims of their bullying and suffering came forward and reported everything to the authorities. As a result of this, the 4 tyrants were now under the heavy scrutiny of the public. And checkmate. Like a trapped king with no spaces to move, the 4 tyrants crumbled overnight as their crimes became public for the world to know. Their parents weren't exempted from public scrutiny due to their involvement in covering up for their children's crimes. In just one night, everything that they worked so hard for crumbled. I naturally profited from this as I had made arrangements months prior to this event. Just a little bit of stock manipulation. There's also the lock situation. Besides the 4 tyrants, the lock also started facing heavy scrutiny. With this event and the previous incidents added together, the lock became the prime target for the media and the public. Is the lock a safe haven like the government made us think it was? Problem after problem after problem, the truth about the lock. Can they really secure the future of our children? Papers and news outlets criticizing the lock began spreading everywhere. The more light was shed on the matter, the angrier the masses became. How could we let our children enter such an academy when they can't even keep them safe? What are all of those S-rank heroes in the academy doing? Are they getting paid to sit on their asses all day? Anger. That was what the public felt. They felt cheated. How could the top academy in the world allow for such things to happen? Just how dysfunctional was the academy? Where were all their taxes going towards? The public wanted answers. In response to this, the academy held a press conference and vowed to be stricter and increase the security even more. This naturally wasn't enough to appease the angry masses, but this was all they could do at the moment. With the headmaster currently being outside of the academy, they could only respond this way. You must also warn the guards beforehand about any possible outing in the middle of the night. Leaning against the wall of the hall, I absent-mindedly listened to the butler giving me a rundown of the rules of the building. Unfortunately for him, my mind was currently elsewhere. Things are going to get quite troublesome for the next few days. As the perpetrator of this whole incident, I knew that for a bit things were going to become troublesome. However, I didn't regret it. Not only did I manage to secure myself a lot of money, but I also managed to sort out the Manticore building situation. Leo and Ram should be doing better now. With the 5 tyrants no longer being a thing, they should have a better life. I didn't just get rid of the 5 tyrants, I also made sure to eliminate any possibility of more tyrants showing up. If I just got rid of the 5 tyrants, new ones would certainly show up. This was just how the world worked. Once the strong guys were gone, the next strongest guys would take the empty position and act like the next 5 tyrants. It was an endless cycle that could not be stopped. After a lot of consideration, making this public was the most appropriate method to get rid of the problem from its roots. Fortunately, it worked. With the lock enforcing stricter rules, there would no longer be any more 5 tyrants in the Manticore building. My plan was a success. I no longer needed to worry about Leo and Ram as I made my way to the Leviathan building, thus leading to my current situation. Taking out a timestamp from my dimensional space, I showed it to the butler before me. By the way, you said that there is a time regressor machine here. How does that work? Do I have to get timestamps, or is there another way to access them? This was the most important information I needed to know. With barely any time to train, I needed to use the time regressor machine desperately, especially since the tournament was coming up soon. I needed to increase the mastery of my arts, especially since my enemies were only going to start getting stronger from now on. I couldn't remain stagnant. In response to my question, the butler nodded his head and calmly explained. Good question, you don't have to worry. There is no need to use timestamps for the time regressor machine. You may use it whenever you want. However, do be careful. Usage of more than 5 hours can be very harmful to the body. As clank. As I was talking to the butler, I suddenly heard the sound of a door unlocking next to me. It must be my neighbor, I thought. Turning my head around, I tried to greet my new neighbor. However, once I turned around and found out the identity of my neighbor, my smile froze. Similarly, looking at me, Melissa, who had just returned from an exhausting day of researching, froze on the spot. A heavy silence descended the hall. The first to break the silence was the butler, who greeted Melissa with a smile. If it isn't Miss Hall, how was your day? I'm currently showing your new neighbor the workings of the building. If you haven't met him, allow me to introduce him. His name is Ren Dover, and just like you, he is a first year. Kiem. Nice to meet you, neighbor. Awkwardly coughing, I waved at Melissa. In response, Melissa's mouth opened widely. No words came out of her mouth. Is that who I think that is? Blinking a couple of times to make sure she wasn't seeing wrong, Melissa's mind blanked. She quickly shook her head. No. I must be hallucinating. Yes, this is because I've overworked myself. If not for that, I would have never been in such a nightmarish situation. Yeah, this must just be a horrible nightmare that I need to quickly wake up from. Assuring herself that this was all fruit of her imagination, Melissa shook her head and made her way into the room, completely disregarding me and the butler. Right, even if that guy was to come to this building, the chances of him being my neighbor should be slim to none. This is just me hallucinating. Definitely shouldn't overwork myself. Right as she was about to close the door, she took one last peek at her right side. Once again she froze. Hi. Amusingly looking at Melissa, I waved at her once again. This time, Melissa's eyes shot wide open as a blood-curdling scream escaped from her mouth. Why? It was early in the morning, 8 a.m. to be specific, and the lectures were about to begin. Sitting next to me, Kevin kept poking my arm. Why didn't you tell me that you were moving to the building? After Melissa's scream rang out in the building, almost everybody went out of the room to check out what had happened. Be it Kevin, Amanda, Emma, or Jin, everyone found out about the fact that I had moved in yesterday. I was trying to keep this quiet so that I could have a few days of peace, but Melissa ended up screwing everything up. Now that I thought about it, she was always screwing up my plans. Now I could no longer rest quietly in my room without anyone looking for me. Damn her. How could you move in without telling me? Still poking at my arm, Kevin kept repeating himself. Since it was getting annoying, I finally answered him. Did I have to? It's not like you wouldn't have found out. Of course you did. Why? So that we can celebrate the fact that you are moving in. What is there to celebrate anyway? Maybe because I had just moved into a new room a couple of months back, but I honestly wasn't that excited at the prospect of moving into the Leviathan building. Though it had everything I could ever wish for, it also didn't really feel that different from my old room. Just everything but more enhanced. Maybe it's because I didn't get a proper look. I wasn't sure. Perhaps once I actually took a proper look at the facilities available I would feel something. But as of right now, I didn't feel particularly excited. On the other hand, Kevin, who was next to me, thought otherwise. Smacking my back, he exclaimed, Ren, you're taking this too lightly. Entering the Leviathan building is something that is worth celebrating. It means that your efforts have paid off and the Academy has recognized you. This is without a doubt something worth celebrating. Sure, whatever you say. Turning my head, I replied in an unenthusiastic manner. What he said was far from the truth. The Leviathan building was just something used to split talented students from the less talented ones. It was sort of like separating commoners and nobles. Still, what they were doing was understandable. With the world currently under threat, who cared about equality and that nonsense? Strength and talent ruled above everything else. Clank. In the middle of my thoughts, the door of the classroom suddenly sprung open widely. Entering the classroom, a beautiful girl with orange hair entered classroom. Instantly the classroom descended into deep silence. Everyone's eyes were drawn towards the girl who had entered the classroom. She had a rather petite figure, and she looked to be about the same age as everyone. However, what set her apart from the regular students was the black instructor uniform that she was wearing. She completely looked out of place. Even then, no one pointed this fact out. There was a reason for this. A very good reason at that. And that was because she was Monica Jeffrey, the Sunset Witch, and 27th on the hero ranking. An existence that was deemed to be the next double S ranked hero, and had a celebrity-like status with almost everyone knowing who she was. Not bad. Noticing the silence in the classroom, Monica's lips curled up slightly. Arriving before the podium, Monica's cheerful and crisp voice entered everyone's ears. Nice to meet you, everybody. I will be your new instructor as of today. I hope that in the following months that I will be here we will learn and have a lot of fun together. Pausing, Monica looked at everyone in the classroom. Her eyes soon paused on a few individuals before she continued. I see that there are a lot of talented students here. During my brief stay here, I will try my best to make you all into elite heroes who will help humanity in the fight against the demons. She looked at me, didn't she? Staring at Monica, who was standing on the podium of the classroom talking. My mouth twitched as I noticed her eyes pausing on me for a couple of seconds. Crap. This was going to be troublesome. Chapter 222. Ding. This game is bugged. Bugged, I say. A sudden smartwatch notification clogged up the game screen at a crucial moment. Monica, who was resting on her sofa, roared and threw her phone across the room. You lost again. With her eyes on her laptop, Donna raised her hand and the phone stopped midair. Donna. The game bugged, I swear. Jumping on the sofa, Monica protested. Donna's face remained stoic. That is what you said last time. GHH. This time it is for real. Sure, whatever you say. This was the fourth time Monica said the same thing. At this point, it was plain to see that Monica was just a sore loser. Plaque. Closing the laptop, Donna leaned back on her chair. With her arms crossed, Donna skeptically looked at Monica. By the way, Monica, how did you get permission to teach the students so early? Even though Monica had told her she would be coming this week, she should have gone to an instructor training camp for the first 2 weeks. It was odd for her to suddenly show up unannounced inside of a classroom. Despite Monica's power, it did not matter if she was powerful or not. What was the point of being strong if you could not teach? You could not just have someone become an instructor without adequate training. Did I not tell you I was coming today? Calming down and putting her phone away, Monica slumped on the sofa and rested her feet on the tea table in front of her. You did, but you still did not go through training. I cannot have you teach the students without adequate training. Pausing, Donna's eyes narrowed. Do not tell me you have bribed some of the teachers. Do not know what you are talking about. Opening her eyes widely, Monica turned her head to the side and feigned ignorance. Her acting was terrible. As I expected, Donna massaged her forehead. Monica had obviously bribed someone in order to come to class today. She should have known better, especially given the fact that she knew Monica's character quite well. This was definitely something that Monica would have done. Ha. Monica, you know that you have to follow the rules, right? Ugh, stop being uptight. I am Monica Jeffrey, 27th in the hero ranking. What is there to teach me? Standing up, Monica clenched her fist in protest. Donna shook her head and ignored her pleas. This was for the safety of the students. Given how erratic Monica could be at times, Donna refused to let her anywhere near them without any adequate training. Until you have completed your training, I am not letting you anywhere near the classroom again. Do you understand? Fine. Lowering her head, Monica gave up. Out of all the people in the human domain, Donna was the only person that could force her to back down. If not for Donna, Monica would have been a loose cannon terrorizing everything. As long as you understand. Satisfied, Donna closed her eyes and leaned back on her chair. Not even a day had passed since Monica had arrived and she was already experiencing a headache. Just great. Donna, I forgot to mention this, but when I was in the classroom teaching today, a couple of students caught my interest. Recalling something, Monica's eyes lit up. Instantly she recalled the faces of some of the students that had caught her interest. I wonder what would happen once I get a closer look at them. In particular, there were a couple of students that she was really interested in, especially since her instincts told her so. She always trusted her instincts. Hearing Monica's comment, Donna's hand froze and her brows knit. Staring at Monica, Donna's voice became stern. I am warning you already, Monica. Do not have any funny thoughts about my students. No recruiting until they graduate. This was Donna's bottom line. Even if they were close friends, Donna could not tolerate others poaching her students. Not only would it distract them from working hard, but it could also cause them to slack off. With their future secured, why would they need to work hard? To make matters worse, it could also create further segregation within the academy. Donna did not want this. Hey, of course, I will not. Although they interest me, the union is not interested in recruiting newborn chicks. Monica instantly raised her hands. Although the students interested her, she was not here to recruit them. She just wanted to get a better look at them, because they looked really promising. Only once she got to know them better would she start poaching. Well, as long as you know. Though she did not trust Monica, Donna ended the conversation there. She did not want to worsen her headache. With her palm on her forehead, Donna thought to herself, I guess I will have to keep a closer watch of her. She could not allow Monica to roam freely, as that would only spell disaster. Staring at Monica, who was once again playing on her phone, Donna sighed. Ha, just who would be so stupid to agree to let Monica come here? She really wanted to know. Click, click. Laying down on my bed, I fiddled with a black watch in my hand. Let us see, it should be this. Pressing on a specific button, a large interface appeared before me. On it were many different listings with pictures depicting different things. Fire flower seeds, 300 merit points. Poison ivy, 500 merit points. Ice scroll. 1000 merit points. G ranked beast. Winged rabbit egg. 800 merit points. F flame fist. 10,000 merit points. Oh, they even sell skills. How generous of them. Scrolling down the list of the rewards that could be acquired by using the merit points, I was shocked by some of the things that I could buy, especially the skills. Given how rare they were, I thought that they would not give them away, but I was wrong. The Monolith was a far more generous organization than I thought they were. In fact, as I scrolled down, I saw more and more skills being listed on their interface. How many merit points do I have? With the merit points earned from killing Yana, added with the bot's points, I should have quite a lot. No. Without hesitation, I checked my balance. I wanted to know how many points I had with me. Do I perhaps have enough to purchase an F-ranked skill? Just the thought caused my heartbeat to quicken. Balance. 2,300 merit points. What? Staring at my balance, my mouth twitched. Just how incompetent was Professor Thibot? Since Yana's bounty was already completed, 2,000 of those 2,300 were from me. This meant that originally Professor Thibot only had 300 merit points. Just what did he do in the time he was here in the lock? He could have at least have left behind 10,000 points for me. Damn it, I guess I should work out more ways to earn more merit points. Plaque. Scrolling through the list for another minute, and not finding anything interesting, I tossed the watch away. So far all the things that interested me were too expensive for me to purchase. Therefore it was best if I did not look at it. If in the future there were people I killed, or had to kill that were on the bounty list, I should definitely report this to earn some points. Perhaps in the future, before I realized it, I would have enough merit points to purchase a strong skill. Ring. Suddenly my watch vibrated. Tilting my watch slightly, I realized that Small Snake was the one calling me. Without hesitation, I picked up the call. What is up? Ren, I have received the money. What do you want me to do with it? About that. Do not touch that money. Why? Because I am going to be spending it all in the auction that is happening in the next few weeks. You are attending the auction? Yeah, I have got the tickets. To be precise, every student in the academy got tickets. Not just me. I see, so do you have in mind anything that you want to buy? I in fact do have something in mind. It will be extremely useful for me in the future. The whole purpose of attending the banquet was to get that one item that I desperately wanted. If not, I would have never have attended such events as I hated crowds. In response to my answer, Small Snake sighed on the other side of the phone. I guess I will make do with the money that we will make from the stocks, though it will probably take around a month to arrive. Do you need money urgently? I in fact do. Especially since we need to recruit Ryan. Right. He did tell me that Ryan had contacted him. Small Snake had a point. We needed money to hold up our end of the deal, else Ryan would lose all trust he had with us. Actually, you do not really have to worry about the money. I have got it sorted. Massaging my forehead, I calmly responded. Small Snake's confused voice entered my ears. Why is that? You can just use some of my money. But are you not going to the auction? I am, but what I have is enough. I will give you 50 million. Give it back to me after you have sorted the stock thing. The stock manipulation was going to take a while for it to bear fruit. Therefore, at the moment the only cash available was the one that I could provide. After a month, once everything was sorted, Small Snake could give me the money back. Noted. All right, goodbye. Tack. Turning off the call, I took out a couple of things from my dimensional space. They were the items that I had acquired from Imura. Let us see, what should I sell? Given that I was about to give Small Snake about 50 million U, the item should be around the price range. I guess I will go with this. After contemplating for a couple of minutes, I chose to sell the seduction itcher and a couple of other items. The reason why I was selling the seduction itcher was because I had no use for it. My charm was enough. By selling those items I would be able to make up for the money I sent to Small Snake. Thank God everything worked out just fine. If not for my plan working, I would have been in a serious predicament with regard to money. This would have been especially troublesome in the future when recruiting new members, as they were an endless pit of money. The more I expanded, the more they sucked the money away from me. Alright, now that everything is sorted I can peacefully rest. Having sorted everything out, I decided to go to bed. Tomorrow morning I had to wake up early and practice with Donna. Chapter 223. It was 6 a.m. in Ashton City, and the sun was slowly starting to rise from the horizon. Refreshed from my good night's sleep, I headed towards Section B. Just the usual private training with Donna. Navigating my way through Section B like it was my own backyard, I slowly made my way towards the private training grounds and opened the doors. Clank. Good morning. Covering my eyes I waved at Donna, who was already in the room. With how bright the ceiling lights were I needed a bit of time to adjust my eyes to the lights. Oh, you are here. Morning. With her hands behind her head, Donna tied her hair into a ponytail. Are we doing the usual? Yep. Letting loose of her now tied ponytail, Donna picked up a metal staff. Alright, let us get started. Donna abruptly cut her sentence short. Her brows suddenly knit tightly as she looked towards the entrance of the training room. What is up with her? Noticing Donna's odd behavior, I looked towards the direction she was looking at. A strange sound escaped from my mouth. Peeking from the small glass window on the door that led to the training room, a familiar face flashed by. Although she was covering herself with a mask and sunglasses, I was easily able to see through her terrible disguise. Monica Jeffrey. The Sunset Witch. Monica, I know it is you. Come in. Donna massaged her forehead. Glaring at the door, her cold voice echoed across the room. Flinching, the masked figure awkwardly opened the door to the training ground. Clank. Hee, I did not expect for you to see through my disguise. You are indeed formidable, Donna. Removing her disguise, Monica awkwardly laughed. To think that my disguise was seen through that quickly. Donna truly is my arch nemesis. Monica once again told herself to never mess with Donna. Your hair color and stature gave you away. Staring at Monica, I inwardly facepalmed. Even though she did not say what she was thinking out loud, her facial expression gave away what she was thinking. The number of people that had the same colored hair and were the same size could only be counted with one hand. Seeing through her disguise was not hard at all. What are you doing here, Monica? Cum. Well, I was just passing by and noticed that the lights were on. You were following me, were you not? Before Monica could finish speaking, Donna cut her mid-sentence. In response, Monica turned her head to the side. I have no idea about what you are talking about. Ha. Monica, you have got to improve on your acting skills. I can easily see through your lies. Donna let out a sigh. If not for the fact that she was used to Monica already, she would have long given up on her. GHH, enough about that, Donna. If I did not follow you, I would have never been able to find out that you were doing something so exciting. Exciting? What are you talking about? Him, of course. Snapping her head, Monica pointed in my direction. Me. Yes, you. With hawk-like eyes, Monica crossed her arms and observed my body carefully. Suddenly her eyes lit up. Oh, UK. Arriving before me, Monica put her hands on my body as her eyes twinkled. Hee, what an amazing figure. You must have trained a lot, eh? Being touched all over, I tried to move away, but as if rooted on the spot I could not move. It was then that I realized who was before me. Monica Jeffrey, one of the strongest people in the human domain. Do not move and let me examine your body. This is sexual harassment, I say. With her hands feeling my arms and legs, I felt extremely uncomfortable. The way she talked made her sound like a sexual predator. No, her eyes also looked like that of a sexual predator. Monica, what are you doing? Noticing that the situation was getting out of control, Donna knew that she had to act quickly. Taking one step forward, Donna arrived before Monica. GHH, Donna, wait. What if someone suddenly comes in? Grabbing her by the armpits, Donna flung Monica away. Or at least tried. But as if she was an octopus, Monica's hands remained stuck on my body. Donna, no. It is fine. If someone sees us they will just think it is normal since I look his age. No. Even if you look his age, you are 28, act your age. Do not expose my age like that, Donna. What? It is something that everyone knows. Monica's had a celebrity-like status. Most of her personal information was known to the public. Her age included. Regardless of whether she tried to hide it or not, everyone knew her age. Humph, then you will not mind me saying that you are also 28. You. Donna's eyes opened wide. Instantly she started exerting more strength. Humph. Since you disclosed my age, it is only natural that I do the same. Ha. All right, I give up. Can you please stop sexually harassing my student? Struggling for a couple of more seconds, Donna eventually gave up as a loud sigh escaped from her mouth. I am not sexually harassing him. Sure. Donna stared at Monica, who was still all over my body, and apathetically nodded her head. As if anyone would believe you. With her all over my body, no one would believe her. No, really. Donna, you know my abilities best. You know I would not do something like this unless something really interesting happened. Feeling wronged, Monica finally let go of me and started explaining. As she listened, Donna's brows knit tightly. All right, there was something like this. Donna almost forgot. Monica did in fact have a special ability that allowed her to detect certain things. Although she did not know the specific details, her previous behavior started to make more sense. That is true, but that still does not justify your actions. You cannot be acting like that in my presence. Please do not act like this again, okay? Regardless, Donna still needed Monica to calm down. She could not just do as she pleased like in the Union. She was at the lock right now, her domain. Fine, I am sorry. Monica lowered her head and apologized. Snapping her head in my direction, she suddenly pointed at me. You must be rend over right. Yes, you are practicing a 5-star sword, are you not? I can feel it. With the energy your body is releasing and your muscular structure, I can tell that you have been practicing a 5-star sword art. I am right, are you not? The edges of my mouth twitched. Shit, does she have no filter? This was the reason why I wanted to avoid Monica at all costs. She had a terrifying ability that allowed her to identify what great art they were practicing. In the novel, she exposed Kevin this way. If there was one good thing, it was that Monica was not a blabbermouth. Even though she worked for the Union, she knew what lines to cross and which ones not to cross. This became even more glaring now that Donna was with her. There was no way Donna would allow Monica to reveal such information. So, am I right or not? Monica leaned forward and poked my arm. Feeling Monica's intense gaze, I remained calm and kept my mouth shut. Regardless of whether I answered or not, the cat was out of the bag. Monica was sure about the fact that I was practicing a 5-star sword manual. It did not really matter if I did not answer. I will take the silence as a yes. 5-star. By the side, Donna's brows were knit. Although I knew that he was hiding something, to think that it was a 5-star sword art. I see everything is starting to make sense now. Even she, a ranked hero, only had a 4-star sword manual. Putting the 2 and 2 together, Donna now understood why I always acted the way I did. Donna, you will not mind me taking over, right? Monica looked at Donna with unusual seriousness in her eyes. A slim sword suddenly appeared on her right hand. Ha, do whatever you want. Putting her staff away, Donna nodded her head. Not many people knew this about Monica, but she also practiced a 5-star sword manual. Despite the witch in her nickname, Monica was actually a formidable swordsman, so strong that many hailed her as one of the strongest swordsmen in the human domain. Since Monica specializes in swords just like Ren, it is only right that she teaches him. Donna was not really good with swords, so she was not the best person to look for when learning swords. She could at most help with scene control, but that was about it. However, at this point, just scene's control was not enough to raise my strength. Donna understood that, hence why having Monica teach me was more appropriate, at least for the sword part. Regarding scene control, she would still do the teaching. Furthermore, now that she knew that I practiced a 5-star sword manual, it was only natural that she let Monica do the teaching. Oh right, Donna, I think you should get that Kevin kid to join the training session, Monica suggested as she swung her sword around. Kevin, why him? Just like Ren over here, he is also practicing a 5-star sword art. What? Are you sure? This time, Donna could not retain her composure and her voice increased a few pitches. Monica nodded her head. Yes, I am more or less sure of it. When she scanned the classroom, she felt peculiar energy coming off from Kevin. At first, she did not think much of it, but being in the classroom for a full hour, she was eventually able to notice something odd about Kevin. It was then that she caught sight of me and compared our energies. From there, she was able to conclude that we both practiced a 5-star sword art. What an annoying ability. Standing by the side, I inwardly shook my head. In a way, it was a pretty strong ability. With more experience, Monica would be able to determine what sort of art her opponent practiced, and from there come up with a counter for that art. Seriously, what in the world is happening? Donna muttered. She was completely shocked by Monica's revelation about my sword art. Since when did 5-star manuals become so easily accessible? It would have been understandable if the owners were Jin, Emma, or Amanda. With their backgrounds, such things would not be strange. They had enough funds and power to acquire a 5-star sword art. But Kevin and Ren, Donna shook her head. She could not believe it. Untying her ponytail, Donna secretly thought to herself, to think that the two students with the lowest background in my class ended up being the ones with the 5-star sword manuals. The irony. Alright, if what you said is true, we should also get Kevin to join the practice sessions. Donna looked at Monica and suggested. Monica's eyes lit up as a result. Oh, that is a brilliant idea. If Kevin joins, I will be able to observe 2 amazing sword arts. Is no one going to ask about my opinion? Standing by the side watching Donna and Monica converse, I was left speechless. Not once did they ask about my opinion. Donna and Monica just suddenly decided to train Kevin and me out of nowhere. Though I was not against the idea of Monica teaching me, since she was indeed the best possible teacher I could ask for, I was not exactly comfortable with the prospect of someone knowing about one of my hidden cards. But, oh well, sometimes one had to lose some in order to gain some in the long run. Such was life. I could only bear with it for now. Right, why do you not show me your sword art so that I can come up with an appropriate training method for you? Having reached an agreement with Donna, Monica turned her head in my direction. With twinkling eyes, she fervently looked at me. My brows knit. Now, yes, show me your sword art. I want to see which one you are practicing. Just show her. We will not reveal anything to the world. You can trust me. With her back against a wall, Donna reassured me. I know. Knowing Donna's character very well, I knew that she was someone that kept her words. I knew I could trust her. All right. Nodding my head, I moved towards the center of the training ground. Both Donna's and Monica's full attention was on me. Here goes nothing. Click. Placing my hand on the grip of my sword, a subtle clicking sound resounded across the training ground. Not long after, silence descended the training ground. Chapter 224. Who were the top 10 strongest people of all time? This was an age-old question. Ever since the emergence of mana, humans had begun evolving. Things like splitting rocks apart with bare hands, or casting fireballs, and spells were no longer the fruits of pure imagination. Decades have passed ever since humans were able to gain superpowers, and slowly they began to adapt to mana. A more organized system began to emerge, and humans with tremendous powers began to appear all over the world. Grandmaster Keiki was one such person. The one-man army was what they called him. With his deadly one-hit kill style, that no one could see through, Grandmaster Keiki killed countless demons without even moving or lifting a finger. For those who witnessed this sight, they could only look back at it as if it was a beautiful memory. Amongst historians, there was a general consensus. The consensus was that Grandmaster Keiki, the wielder of the Keiki style, alongside 9 other few, was one of the 10 strongest humans to have ever lived in this age where mana existed. This was an undisputed fact that even the current heads of the Union did not disagree with. Whoever had witnessed Grandmaster Keiki's prowess in the past could tell just how much of a fearsome figure he was, especially his sword art. A 5-star sword art that made Grandmaster Keiki known throughout the world. Unfortunately, around 3 decades ago, Grandmaster Keiki disappeared from the world, and so did his legacy and sword art. With Grandmaster Keiki gone, the sword art was lost with no hopes of ever appearing again. This was common knowledge. It was what everyone learned in history class. The Keiki style would never appear again. This was what everyone said. Yet, click. With a subtle clicking sound, a magnificent arc drew in the air as the sharp tip of a sword split the air apart. Not even half a second flew by before the sword was back into the scabbard. So fast yet so deadly. Inside of the expansive training ground, deathly silence descended. Standing by the side, Donna's mouth hung open. How is this possible? Without a doubt that was the keiki style. Right before her eyes, Donna witnessed the once-forgotten art style. How could she not be shocked? Keiki style. The first one to break the silence was Monica, whose breathing quickened. As if teleporting, her figure appeared right before Ren. Grabbing him by the shoulder, she asked him an endless amount of questions. Was that the keiki style? Do you know Grandmaster Keiki? Is he still alive? Where did you learn it? How much of it have you mastered? How long? Monica, calm down. Snapping out of it, Donna raised her voice. Letting go of Ren, Monica also snapped out of it. Sorry. I was just too excited. It's okay. Bitterly shaking his head, Ren waved it off. From the moment he performed the sword art before Donna and Monica, he had been prepared for this. Ren, is Grandmaster Keiki still alive? By the side, Donna asked. She wanted to know if such a legendary figure was still alive. If so, it would be something worth celebrating. Although the world looked peaceful, Donna knew that it was only a matter of time before the balance that the humans created would break. Humanity needed another powerhouse to bring more stability. No, he's dead. At Donna's question, Ren shook his head. Grandmaster Keiki was without a doubt dead. As the author, he knew best. I see. Donna was a bit disappointed with the answer, but she didn't have much hope to begin with. It was already good enough that the keiki style was not lost. Monica, you must keep this a secret, understood? Turning her head and looking at Monica, Donna's voice became serious. Monica nodded her head in response. I know, Donna. Although I work for the Union, you know that I can keep a secret, okay? Especially on these kinds of matters. I know, but just in case. We can't let others know about his sword art. Yeah, I agree. If the world found out that Ren practiced the keiki style, he would without a doubt become the prime target of the demons and humans. Donna could not let anyone know about his sword art. If the sword art landed in the wrong person's hands, it could prove fatal. Humanity could not afford such a situation. Not at this moment. Therefore, it was her duty as a teacher and hero to help Ren keep his sword art a secret. At least not until he is strong enough. Only once Ren was strong enough to stand on his own would she be okay with the world knowing about the fact that he practiced the keiki style. Till then, she did not want anyone to know about this. Alright, I'm already starting to get itchy. Now that I know what art you are practicing, let's start training, shall we? Snapping Donna out of her thoughts was Monica's bright voice. Checking her watch, Monica smiled from ear to ear. Sha. Swinging her sword around, Monica looked at Ren provocatively. We've got 3 more hours to go. Show me what you've got. I really want to see the full extent of your abilities. Clank. Ha. I'm finally free. Stretching my arms, I exited Section B. I was more exhausted than I had imagined. After revealing my sword art, I was subjected to endless amounts of questions by Monica and Donna. After that, I was put under their gruesome Spartan-like training. Although I somehow knew this beforehand, Monica's style of training was even rougher than Donna's. My whole body was bruised. I should have expected this. Bitterly smiling, I shook my head. The keiki style was just that iconic. Despite there being a lot of famous 5-star martial manuals, the keiki style was one of the most easily recognizable ones. The quick draw style that could kill an opponent before they could even figure out what was going on was not something that other swords art could do. The number of arts out there that had as much of an impact as the keiki style were very limited. Donna's and Monica's reactions were understandable. Still, it's not like the situation turned out bad. I had now gained 2 valuable allies. With Donna and Monica trying to keep my secret a secret, I could now breathe more easily. In a way, this turned out for the best. Right, I need to tell Kevin about the practice sessions. I suddenly recalled something. Taking out my phone, I quickly sent Kevin a message. Kevin, I've got some news to share with you on behalf of Donna. During my training session, Donna had asked me to tell Kevin about the training sessions. And sent. Whilst waiting for Kevin to reply, I put my phone away and headed back to my dorm. I needed to take a quick shower before going to class. Inside of a white world, an old man with a sturdy body stood in the middle of the white world. Gripping tightly onto a large broadsword, the old man lifted the broadsword up with one hand. Shush. He slashed down. Shoo. After the first slash, lifting the broadsword up, the old man once again swung the sword down. Sha. Swish. He repeated the process 8 times. With each slash, a different sound resounded across the white space. The first slash was nothing particularly special. It was a simple fast and heavy sword swing. However, swoosh. With each and every slash, the sword became faster, heavier, and sturdier. The back muscles of the old man tensed even more with each passing slash. Alongside his back muscles, his other muscles became more prominent with each swing. Cracka. It was the 15th slash. This time as the old man swung his sword, the air split apart and the ground shook. Without a doubt, this sword slash was incomparable to the previous ones. It was much stronger. Without taking a breather, the old man once again lifted the broadsword up. As he lifted the sword up, the old man's biceps bulged. The veins around them wiggled. Hugh. Turbid air escaped from the old man's mouth as put both hands on the grip of the broadsword and prepared to slash down once more. Ever since the first swing, this was the first time the old man put both hands on the broadsword. It was evident that the next swing was going to be even more powerful. Ring, ring. Right before the old man could slash down, the white world slowly started to crumble as an annoying chime repeatedly rang. It's that dream again? Kevin murmured as he opened his eyes. Ever since he had learned the Levisha style, every once in a while he would get strange dreams inside of his head. In it was Grandmaster Levisha performing his sword art. As Kevin's proficiency with the sword art increased, he found out that the dreams became more vivid as a result, and from the dreams, Kevin was able to gain a better understanding of the Levisha style. From the breathing technique to the muscle movements, slowly but surely, as Kevin mimicked the old man's movements, he was learning more and more about the Levisha style with each passing dream. However, Kevin knew that the dreams were not as simple as that. As the dreams became more vivid, Kevin was able to pick up more details. Rage and despair. For whatever reason, whenever Kevin looked at Grandmaster Levisha swing his sword, he was able to see and feel incomparable rage and despair mixed within his eyes. Directed towards the endless white world, Grandmaster Levisha poured his boiling emotions with each swing. Every time Kevin tried to look in the direction Grandmaster Levisha was looking at, he was only able to see a black obscure figure. No matter how much he tried to see the identity of the obscure figure, Kevin could only see a black mass. Nothing else. It became apparent to him that he was still too weak. Only once his mastery increased would he be able to figure out the entity that Grandmaster Levisha was trying to fight. Wham! What time is it? Yawning, Kevin lethargically lifted his body up from his bed and checked his watch. Friday, 12:13 p.m. Oh crap, I'm going to be late. Kevin was immediately startled awake. Jumping off his bed, revealing his shirtless figure that was only wearing a pair of gray boxers, Kevin quickly dashed towards his wardrobe and took out his school uniform. Quickly dressing up, he dashed towards his bedside drawer where his phone was. Ring. At the exact moment Kevin picked up his phone vibrated. What is it? With his brows furrowed, Kevin looked at who messaged him. It was Ren. Kevin, I've got some news to share with you on behalf of Donna. What is it? Tapping on the notification, Kevin sent a quick reply. Basically, every Wednesday and Friday from 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. you are to come to Section B for private training. Private training? Looking at the message, Kevin's brows knit even further. He quickly sent a reply back. Private training? What are you talking about? It's Donna's orders. She wants to personally teach you alongside Monica. Monica? Why her? I don't know how to break it to you, but Monica figured out your sword art. What? Startled, Kevin's voice raised. Quickly tell me the details. He quickly sent another message. Don't worry, she only found out the grade. Just. Reading the message, Kevin massaged his forehead. That just pretty much meant that she knew that he practiced a 5-star sword art, something that was highly rare and coveted by many. How could Ren talk about it so lightly? Not that I don't trust you, but did she find out herself? Or did you tell her? Calming himself down, Kevin sent another message. No, I would never sell you out like that. Monica figured it out by herself. I only revealed to them what sword art you practiced. So this is why she was staring at me so much in class. Reading the first half of the message, Kevin nodded his head in understanding. Kevin already had a hunch about this. Ever since the last class with Monica, she would always glance in his direction. Under normal circumstances, he wouldn't have thought much about it since he was used to the stares, but under Monica's eyes, Kevin felt as though his secrets were completely laid bare before her eyes. Her behavior made much more sense now. Kevin's brows suddenly knit. Putting his phone closer to his face, Kevin once again read the message. More specifically, a certain section. Monica figured it out by herself. I only revealed to them what sword art you practiced. I only revealed to them what sword art you practiced. Ren you. Clenching his phone, Kevin cursed out loud. What part of I didn't sell you out did you actually mean? Reading the message, Kevin knew that Ren had without a doubt sold him out. Chapter 225. So this is the Leviathan building time regressive machine. I muttered as I looked ahead of me. Right before me stood a large metallic capsule. By its side were thick wires that stretched and connected to the side of the walls. Option 1. Option 2. On the panel by the side of the machine, I was presented with 2 options. Without hesitation, I pressed on the first option. The difference between option 1 and 2 was the time, with option 1 lasting 1 hour and option 2 lasting 5. Still not used to the machine, I chose option 1. 1 hour was about 1 day inside of the time regressive machine, so it was plenty enough. Didn't want to overwork my brain. Shua. Moments after pressing on the first option, the pod slowly opened up. Steam rose in the air. Here goes nothing. Shua. Just as I was about to enter my capsule, the capsule next to me opened up. Emerging from the capsule was Jin. Stepping out of the capsule, Jin looked at me and our eyes met. For a short period of time, neither one of us spoke. After a while, I was the first one to break the silence as an awkward greeting escaped from my mouth. Sup? Jin did not answer me. He just coldly looked at me. Well, this is kind of awkward. Being stared at by Jin, I wasn't sure what to do. After a while, I shrugged my shoulders and proceeded to look at the panel on the time regressive machine. Since you're not going to talk, I'm just gonna do my thing. Sorting out a few things, I put my foot in the capsule. You better not fall behind me. Moments before I entered the capsule, Jin finally opened his mouth. As his cold words echoed across the room, my brow raised. Oh, interesting. Fall behind you. Me. You wish. Smirking, I looked Jin straight into the eyes. So you're challenging me. To think that the Cold Prince was openly challenging me like this. Normally I would have avoided such a challenge, however, I was starting to become curious. Just how much did you improve whilst I wasn't looking? Staring at Jin, who was incomparably different compared to how he was in the novel, I wanted to know. Just how different was the current Jin from the past Jin? Now's not the time. Staring at me for a couple of seconds, Jin shook his head. Putting his hands in his pockets, he turned around. My brows knit as a result. Then when is the time? You'll know eventually. Just before he left the room, Jin muttered in a voice audible enough for me to hear. He soon left the room. Clank. The hell was that? Staring at Jin's departing figure for a couple of seconds, I shook my head. Although I wasn't really sure of what Jin meant by his last statement, I was ready. He wasn't the only one who had seen a large increase in strength over the past few months. I was now only a step away from breaking through to D- rank, and almost all of my arts were near the greater realm of mastery. Whatever he was going to throw at me, I was ready. I can't wait to see what you have in store for me, Jin. I softly muttered as I finally entered the capsule and pulled the lid down. As the author of this world, I couldn't help but get excited at the future that awaited Jin. Could he perhaps surpass Kevin? I wasn't sure. But one thing was for sure. The current Jin had the potential to reach even greater heights than he did in the novel. Since you said don't disappoint me, I can't disappoint you, can I? My small interaction with Jin right now triggered something within me. I couldn't explain it, but I was now itching to train. Ding. Pressing on a small monitor before me, I slowly started losing consciousness. Inside of a large world with an azure blue sky and a plain and expansive grass field stood a figure. Hugh. Extending my sword forward, I took a deep breath. As I slowly traced my sword in the air, a translucent yellow ring appeared before me. Snap. Closing my eyes, I snapped my fingers. Immediately after, a translucent blue humanoid figure appeared a couple of meters ahead of me. On its right hand was a long sword. This was one of the features of the time regressor machine. During my training here, whenever I wanted, I could call for an opponent to face me. Furthermore, the humanoid's rank was made to be equal to mine. More precisely, both of our ranks were lowered to G. This was so that during the sparring session was only skill-based. Let's see how much I've progressed. In the plain grass field, I stood before the humanoid figure. Opening my eyes, I evened my breathing and remained still. Attack me. Pushing the ring I had created to the side, I commanded. Swoosh. Instantly the humanoid figure dashed towards my direction. In a matter of seconds, the figure was right before me. Raising the sword in its right hand, the humanoid figure slashed downwards. The slash was neither too fast nor too slow, however. It was extremely accurate and powerful. Calmly staring at the falling sword, I remained still. Whoom. Suddenly, a humming sound resounded across the space, and the sword halted right before my nose. Drip, drip. Blood slowly spilled on the ground as the tip of my nose bled. Feeling the stinging sensation on my nose, I didn't care. Staring at the sword that had stopped right before me, the edges of my lips curved upwards. Good. Suddenly clenching my fist, a ring appeared next to me. Whoom. Right as the ring appeared, the sword that had stopped right before me moved towards the direction of the ring and smashed against it. Almost as if the ring was a magnet. Clank. You're wide open. In the brief moment where the sword moved to the ring, an opening appeared on the humanoid figure. I naturally took advantage of this. Clenching my fists and tensing my back, I punched forward, right towards the abdomen of the figure. Boom. An explosion rang. Coo. Following the large boom, a small shockwave swept the surroundings. Crossing my arms, I covered myself as a gust of wind brushed past me. As the dust cleared, the first things I saw were yellow particles flying in the air. I had one. Ha. I've finally broken though. Staring at the particles, I moved my hand forward and tried to touch them. Unfortunately, they didn't feel like anything. Oh well, I should be content enough with my breakthrough. Having spent around 20 hours completely focused on training my sword art, I finally managed to push Ring of Vindication to the greater realm of mastery and unlock its new feature, gravitational pull. A feature in which for a brief moment in time I could create a small gravitational pull towards the ring. With this, my strength had now seen another considerable boost. The first weekend of June, right as summer was about to come. Ring. Standing in front of a mirror, I fixed the collar of my blazer. Suddenly, my phone rang. Without looking at the ID, I knew that it was Kevin. Hello. Picking up the phone, I responded. Ren, where are you? We are all waiting for you in the lobby. Give me a minute, I'm still changing. Today was the day that of the Ashton City Grand Auction. Ever since I broke through to the greater realm of mastery for Ring of Vindication, 2 weeks had passed. To say that my days were peaceful during those days would be a lie. Now that Donna and Monica had found out about my sword art, the training sessions each week became even more demanding. I was getting beat up more than ever before. To make matters worse, the training sessions increased from 2 times a week to 3 times a week. Despite all of the potions that I was consuming after each training session, I still could not get rid of my muscle soreness. I was now starting to regret my decision of revealing my sword art. If there was hell, this was hell. Fortunately, not everything was bad. Apart from the obvious rise in strength, there was something else that kept me going during these hellish days. And it was Kevin. Kevin had now joined the training sessions. I no longer had to suffer alone. Whenever he got beat up by either Monica or Donna, I would instantly feel better. The same went for Kevin, who gloated whenever I got beat up. This irritated me quite a bit, but it also made his beatings that much more satisfying to watch. In the end, that's how I spent the last 2 weeks. Just training. Regarding the auction that I was about to attend, weeks prior, I had made arrangements with Kevin to go with him and the others. I would have normally have refused, but given their VVIP status and their perks I could not refuse. What are you, a girl? Not even Emma and the others take so long to change. That's pretty sexist of you, I calmly rebutted as I fixed my tie. What law said that guys couldn't change slowly? Fortunately, unlike last time, this time I had bought an already made tie. This saved me a lot of trouble. If not for the already made tie, I would have probably taken longer. Just hurry up, Melissa is getting really mad. Oh, Melissa is getting angry. Another reason for me to drag this out. Tell that mad scientist to drink some hot water. I heard it helps. After a lot of research, I had come to the realization that hot water was a great way to resolve Melissa's anger. I heard it was a great remedy for girls who have reached that time of the month. Melissa seemed to be on her time of the month every day. In response to my joke, I was met with silence. Kevin, Ren, piffed. Is Kevin laughing? Though I may be wrong, I was pretty sure I heard Kevin laugh. I had a sudden ominous premonition. I'm sorry to break this to you, but I was on speaker. Melissa heard everything. After a short pause, Kevin calmly responded. I was instantly at a loss for words. Who in their right mind would answer a call on speaker? Coom. Melissa, how have you been? Awkwardly coughing, I greeted Melissa. Once again I was met with silence. Ren, you better hurry up. Melissa's face is quite frankly terrifying at the moment. Shortly after, Kevin once again responded. This time his voice was quite grave. To be honest, now that you've said that, I don't feel like coming anymore. Stop joking around and hurry up. We are about to leave without you. All right, coming. Shrugging my shoulders, I buttoned up my shirt. Tack. Hanging up the phone, I once again looked at myself in the mirror. Brushing my hand over my hair, I added some finishing touches. All right, seems like everything is here. Looking at myself in the mirror, I nodded in satisfaction. After the banquet incident where I had my suit torn apart, with my 2-year warranty, I was able to get a new suit. Thank God for warranty. Checking to see if I had everything with me, I once again nodded my head in satisfaction. All right, how could I forget? I suddenly recalled something. Making my way towards my desk, I took a small red book. Today was the day that was going to be a very eventful day. With Kevin coming along, it was only natural that I brought the book with me. Since I had such a cheat with me, why not use it? Okay, this time I'm sure I have everything, right? I muttered as I took one last look at my room. After another quick check and seeing that I had everything with me, I decided to leave. Plaque. Making my way out of my room, I closed the lights and exited the room. It was time for the Ashton City Grand Auction to begin. To be continued. Hope you liked today's video. Join the community by subscribing and dropping a like. I'll be back with another update as soon as possible. See you then.